Chapter 522. Bebe, how exactly did you recognize me? It was the question that Xiao Qin was most concerned about. If Jean Bebe could recognize him, could other people recognize him too? It's very simple, Jean Bebe said while looking at Xiao Qin. I've seen the shoes you're wearing before. Xiao Qin was dazed for a moment. He lowered his head and looked at his feet. It was true that he could wear Yang Tan's clothes and pretend to be Yang Tan, but he had neglected the detail about the shoes. Even those who were familiar with Xiao Qin would not notice the detail or think about it at all. After all, it was really difficult to tell the size of the shoes from the outside. Also, it was possible that they were wearing the same clothes. It was impossible to say that other people could not buy the shoes that he had bought. Therefore, it was not a loophole at all. Instead, Jean Bebe took it as a mark of identification. Xiao Qin was somewhat confused. Oh, although it can be used as proof, I can't be so sure, can I? Yes. Didn't I touch your face? Jean Bebe, however, said, although your face has changed into something else, it feels exactly the same. I can tell that it's you the moment I touch you. That explains a lot. Xiao Qin was greatly enlightened. No wonder Jean Bebe was so sure. She had touched him. However, it was true that she had observed him carefully. I can't hide it from you every time. I'm Detective Bei 007. Jean Bebe said. You must be mentally deranged from watching TV, Xiao Qin said with a smile. Cousin-in-law, are you leaving Songning City? Asked Jean Bebe. Yes. It's not convenient for me to show up in Songning City. My current identity is Yang Tan. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau has arranged a mission for me in Lan City. I'm going there with Song Huawu, said Xiao Qin. Song Huawu? Cousin-in-law, do you like her? Jean Bebe keenly thought of something. We're just working partners. I'm quite close to her. She's a nice person too. Xiao Qin said, don't overthink. Tell Yi Xiaoya that I'm leaving secretly when you're free. Let her train herself. As for the eldest daughter, don't mention her. What? Cousin Menjing will be worried about you. Jean Bebe was confused. Just now, I was engaged to her as Xiao Chang. I'm a bit embarrassed. Xiao Qin always felt uneasy when he was with Cheng Menjing. Cousin-in-law, you're sorry? I feel that you should say goodbye to cousin Menjing before I leave. Otherwise, if she finds out, she'll be mad at you. She's mad at you for knowing what happened between you, Sister Jingxian, and Yi Xiaoya. Jean Bebe blinked and said. Then Xiao Qin felt a headache coming on. Actually, he also wanted to meet the first young mistress before he left, but he had some misgivings. Now that Jean Bebe said that, he suddenly felt that he had let the first young mistress down. Bebe. Xiao Qin to Yen. Xiao Xiaobing, he said. Xiao Chang. Chang said. Xiao Qin, okay. Xiao Qin took a deep breath and agreed. After returning to the dining room, Xiao Qin sat back in his seat. Qing Tianqiu said with a smile, come on, young Master Xiao. Let's have a few more drinks. We won't go home until we're drunk. Forget it. It's getting late. I should leave now. Xiao Qin waved his hands and refused. He had achieved his goal and did not want to stay here any longer. Qing Tianqiu and Shen Zhenghao were similar. They were both powerful people who valued strength. However, Xiao Qin would not say anything. After all, it was for the sake of his family. It was understandable. Menjing is going back to her villa too. Why don't you go together? Why don't you go to the villa and have a chat? Qing Tianqiu suggested with a smile. I think it's a good idea. Cousin Menjing, let's go together. Jean Bebe said, let me tell you, my cousin-in-law is actually a nice guy. That's right. You should marry him. Qing Menjing frowned. She was a little confused. What kind of magic potion did Jean Bebe drink today? Why did she speak up for Xiao Chang like this? Could it be that Jean Bebe fell in love with Xiao Chang at first sight? Oh, okay. Jean Bebe said, you said it yourself. I said it. Cheng Menjing stood up and greeted Qing Tianqiu and the others. Then she strode out. She wanted to get rid of Xiao Chang and make him back off. She believed that he should be able to tell her attitude. If she continued to pester him, she would be shameless. Cheng Menjing felt that although she did not like Xiao Qin, she would not like anyone else either. That was it. Xiao Qin and Jean Bebe followed her out. Xiao Qin came by taxi and did not drive. When he saw Jean Bebe's car parked in the parking lot of the Qing family's villa, he walked over, opened the door and naturally sat in the driver's seat. Cheng Menjing wrinkled her nose. She thought that Jean Bebe had told Xiao Chang the location of the car. Otherwise, how could he know? Seeing Xiao Chang sitting in the driver's seat casually, Cheng Menjing was even more annoyed. Get off. Okay. Xiaoqun thought for a while. He wanted to talk to Missy. It was not a bad idea to sit in the back row with her. Therefore he got off the car. Jean Bebe obviously thought of this too. She sat in the driver's seat. Cheng Minjing wanted to sit in the front passenger seat, but she found that Xiaoqun was blocking the door of the front passenger seat. In a fit of pique, she sat in the back row. However, she did not expect that Xiaoqun would directly turn around and sit in the back row. This time, Cheng Minjing was about to explode. She was just about to get off the car, but she did not expect Jean Bebe to start the car. She immediately shouted angrily, "Bebe, stop the car." "I can't stop." Jean Bebe swerved the car and drove out of the Cheng family's villa quickly. Xiaoqun, on the other hand, glanced at the annoyed first young mistress. He smiled faintly and moved closer to her. "Hey, what are you doing?" Cheng Minjing was shocked and dodged to the side subconsciously. However, she was already beside the car door and there was no space left. She could not help but say, "How can you be so shameless?" "Missy, I have to go." Xiaoqun did not answer her. Instead, he returned to his original voice and said in a somewhat heavy tone, "Huh?" When Cheng Minjing suddenly heard this voice, she was a little startled. After a while, she suddenly turned her head in surprise and looked at Xiaoqiang in disbelief. "You, Xiaoqun smiled slightly. He stopped his transformation and turned back to the appearance of Xiaoqun. "You are so infuriating." Cheng Minjing was so angry that she gritted her teeth. When she saw Xiaoqun, she was surprised and delighted. She stretched out her hand and punched Xiaoqun. However, when she thought of his strength, she did not stop there. She directly opened her mouth and bit Xiaoqun's neck. "Ah!" Xiaoqun was caught off guard. "Missy, why are you biting me? This is what you get for lying to me." Cheng Minjing was extremely angry. "Is it fun to lie to me? You even came to my house to get engaged to me? You are very proud, right?" "This?" Xiaoqun was speechless. Don't think that I will agree to the engagement just because you are Xiaoqun. Let me tell you, no way. You are my servant." Cheng Minjing glared at Xiaoqun and shouted, "Did you hear me?" "I heard you," Xiaoqun said weakly. "That's more like it." Cheng Minjing was happy. "Hey, even if you are Xiaoqun, you can't be so close to me. What are you doing?" Cheng Minjing lowered her head and saw that Xiaoqun was sitting very close to her. She could not help but say this. "Nothing." Xiaoqun moved his body. "Minjing, I am leaving. I am leaving Songning City." "En?" Cheng Minjing suddenly remembered what Xiaoqun said previously. "You are leaving? Where are you going?" "My current identity is Yang Tan. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau has a mission for me to go to Lan City. I am going there," Xiaoqun said. "The Supernatural Investigation Bureau has not cancelled my arrest warrant. If I want to cancel it, I must use the identity of Yang Tan to deal with it. So, I cannot lose this identity for the time being." "Yang Tan? The Yang Tan in school is you?" Cheng Minjing's eyes widened after hearing that. "That was your disguise?" "En?" Xiaoqun nodded. "Jean Bebe." Cheng Minjing was furious. "You knew it long ago, didn't you? Why didn't you tell me? No wonder you were acting weird today and called him cousin-in-law the moment you met him. You knew he was Xiaoqun long ago, right?" Although she was angry, Cheng Minjing finally understood Jean Bebe's way of doing things. No wonder. If it were someone else, Jean Bebe would not be so easy to talk to and be so intimate with them. "I am the fiery golden eyes shell," Jean Bebe said proudly. "Cousin Minjing, you can't blame me if you couldn't tell. You are really infuriating." Cheng Minjing was speechless. Indeed, who was to blame for not being able to tell? However, she was puzzled. How did Jean Bebe see through it? In fact, this was also because Cheng Minjing was not careful. She would not pay attention to Yang Tan or Xiaoqiang at all. She did not even bother to take a look at them. How could she observe so carefully? Even the white fox was Shin Jingshuan's boyfriend. Why did she stare at him? Thinking of Shin Jingxian, Cheng Minjing felt suffocated. "Xiaoqun, you and Jingxian?" "Yes." Xiaoqun did not hide it. He nodded because there was no way and no need to hide it. "You are actually together?" Cheng Minjing felt suffocated. "When did this happen? Why didn't I know?" "It was that time when Xiao Yuliang went to the beach with us. Jingxian and I went out to sea together. Then, something happened between us on the island. It probably started from then." Xiaoqun said, "I don't know how to tell you. I feel a little sorry for you. You are my fiancé, but I am pursuing your best friend. However, I really like her." "Oh." Although Cheng Minjing had accepted this fact, she was still not very happy. However, she appeared very calm on the surface. I know that you have always liked her. She is your goddess. There is nothing for you to feel sorry for. We have already broken off the engagement. You are only my servant. I have no right to interfere with who you are with. Chapter 523. Missy, aren't you angry? Xiaoqun felt that Qing Minjing shouldn't speak in such a calm tone. Who should I be angry with? Jingxian? She's my best friend. I won't fall out with her because of a fight for a man. Qing Minjing smiled and said, as for you, I won't be angry with you. I don't like you, so why should I be angry? Our engagement is always a combination of interests. This time is no exception. Don't think that I like you just because my grandfather agreed to you. These are two different things. Although I feel that marrying you might be better than marrying someone else. After all, we are familiar with each other, but that's just a helpless choice. Hee hee. Xiaoqun smiled and didn't explain. The car went all the way back to the villa and stopped in front of the villa. Qing Minjing suddenly felt that the road was so short. However, she said, are you leaving directly or are you coming to the villa to sit? Let's go sit. As Xiaoqun spoke, he returned to his appearance as Xiao Chang. The car's glass was not transparent, but he had to pay attention when he got out of the car. Are you going to see Yi Xiaoya? Qing Minjing asked. Sweat. Xiaoqun slapped his forehead. Take a look at my room too. Pack up your things and then say goodbye. Oh. Qing Minjing didn't say anything else. They entered the villa together. Yi Xiaoya was just about to take a look at the flower bed when she saw Qing Minjing coming back. Seeing a man she didn't know beside them, she was a little annoyed. She mocked, Xiaoqun just left and you found another man to come home? You're really fickle. So what? This is the fiancé that my grandfather arranged for me. What's wrong with me bringing him back? It's still better than some people sneaking around. Every day they take off their clothes and dual cultivate. I don't know what they are cultivating. Be careful not to get pregnant. Qing Minjing snickered in her heart. She could finally hold her head high. Isn't your fiancé Xiaoqun? Yi Xiaoya asked with a frown. None of your business. Qing Minjing snorted, then walked into the villa arrogantly, sat on the sofa and waved to Xiaoqun. Fiancé, come and massage my legs. Okay. Xiaoqun nodded conditionally. He was used to being Qing Minjing's servant, so he didn't feel anything, so he sat beside Qing Minjing and massaged her legs. Of course, Xiaoqun didn't think it was bad. Instead, he enjoyed it. Chao Yuliang didn't even have the chance to massage the young Miss legs. How despicable. Someone touched your leg and you still look like you're enjoying it? Yi Xiaoya sneered in disdain. I'm not as despicable as you. Taking off your clothes and dual cultivating with others. Qing Minjing glanced at Xiaoqun and said. Xiaoqun broke into a sweat. How did Qing Minjing know? Did Yi Xiaoya say it herself? However, it was also possible that my identity as a white fox was exposed, so the girls in the villa chatted unscrupulously, and then it was leaked. I did it with one and you did it with several, said Yi Xiaoya. Which eye of yours saw it? Asked Qing Minjing. Isn't it now? You and Xiaoqun before, said Yi Xiaoya. Oh, young hero Xiao, look up and show him who you are, ordered Qing Minjing. Xiaoqun was a little speechless, but he still returned to his previous appearance. Then he greeted Yi Xiaoya. Little Yi, long time no see. I miss you very much. Huh? Yi Xiaoya looked at Xiaoqun in disbelief. You are Xiaoqun? Some people have bad eyesight and they still make irresponsible remarks. This was the first time that Qing Minjing had defeated Yi Xiaoya in an overwhelming manner, so she was very happy. Did you see it clearly? This is my fiancé. Some people do dirty things secretly and they dare to say it in front of me. Aren't you afraid that I will kick you, the mistress, out of the villa? Yi Xiaoya glared at Qing Minjing. Let him cooperate with you to act and lie to me. It's no big deal. It's just Xiaoqun who spoils you. Try another person. After that, Yi Xiaoya ignored him and pulled Xiaoqun. You're back? You're fine now? Then come upstairs and accompany me for dual cultivation. After that, he looked at Qing Minjing with a smug expression. You, the mistress, are going too far. Xiaoqun, you're not allowed to go, said Qing Minjing. Alright, stop fooling around. I have to leave tomorrow morning. Xiaoqun waved his hand helplessly and said, I'm back to see you. I might not see you for a long time. Qing Minjing's expression changed slightly, and the smugness from before disappeared. Yi Xiaoya was also stunned. You're back and you still want to leave? Yes, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's arrest warrant hasn't been lifted. Yang Tan was indeed killed by me. I'm now disguised as Yang Tan. I have to find a way to stay in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for a period of time before my arrest warrant is lifted. Xiaochen explained simply. So, I'm going to Lan City to carry out a mission? Oh. Yi Xiaoya didn't have the interest to continue quarreling with Cheng Menjing. She looked a little lonely. Then be careful. Keep in contact with the Warrior Guild app. If there are any missions from the Warrior Guild, you can look for me to do them. Yes, when I get there, I might register a new identity in the Warrior Guild. Although this identity of White Fox is nothing, it won't be good if you're suspected when you go on missions with me. Xiaochen said, I will use the previous identity called Xiao Chang. I will register a new one. Xiaochen, did you forget about me, the hostess, when you went to look for Yi Xiaoya? Cheng Menjing asked. Of course not. You're welcome to play in Lan City when you're free. Xiaochen said with a smile. That's more like it. Cheng Menjing said, you're the one who said it. I'll eat and drink as you please. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau should have a salary, right? Definitely. Xiaochen thought that he had to think of a way to get Yang Tan's salary card. However, he had to go to the bank to get a replacement card. However, he definitely couldn't verify the bank's camera system. It seemed like he had to use other methods from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. The few of them chatted casually. In the middle of the night, Cheng Menjing couldn't take it anymore. She went to bed with Jean Bebe. However, Yi Xiaoya was looking at Xiaochen. The desire in her eyes made Xiaochen's hair stand. Xiao Yi, you do dual cultivation with me? We won't be able to do dual cultivation for a long time in the future. I must squeeze you dry today. Yi Xiaoya said while gritting her teeth. Can you not be so cruel? You made me misunderstand. Xiaochen said. We're so familiar with each other. It's okay to make a joke. Besides, didn't we agree that you'll run for the Demon Gate's leader? Yi Xiaoya said, then I'll marry you. I won't be cruel then. Are you serious? Xiaochen looked at Yi Xiaoya. What do you think? Yi Xiaoya asked. Xiaochen looked at Yi Xiaoya, who had a faint smile on her face. He didn't know if it was real or fake, but he still went upstairs with her. This was the last night of dual cultivation, and Xiaochen was very serious. He didn't have any distracting thoughts in his mind, and he just wanted Yi Xiaoya to benefit more from it. The next morning, Xiaochen prepared breakfast for Cheng Menjing, Jean Bebe, and Yi Xiaoya. He went to the room to pack up and then left the villa. Before he left, he went to see Tang Tang. With Xiaochen's current cultivation, he could enter the Yu family's compound without alerting the Yu family. When he arrived at the door of Tang Tang's villa, Xiaochen unlocked the door with his primordial qi and then entered the villa quietly. Tang Tang was sleeping. Suddenly, she felt that someone seemed to be lying beside her. She was startled. She woke up immediately. Turning around, she found it was Xiaochen. When did you come? You scared me. Tang Tang patted her chest. Xiaochen looked at her trembling little vest and drooled. Why are you staring at me as soon as you come? Tang Tang didn't know whether to laugh or cry. You Xiaochuan said that you killed Yang Tan, but he didn't seem to be dead. But your wanted list hasn't been cancelled? Yang Tan is dead. I'm just pretending to be Yang Tan now. Xiaochen said, so it's not good for me to show up. I can only stay in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau for a while. Xiaochen briefly told Tang Tang what had happened. Tang Tang was a little silent after hearing it. After a while, she smiled and patted Xiaochen's shoulder. That's good. You can go out and gain experience. When you can settle the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and let everyone know your strength, you can take me away from the Yu family. I think the Yu family and the Tang family won't say anything at that time. Yes, I think so too. Xiaochen nodded. I came to see you and I'm leaving. I'll rush to Lan City early this morning. So soon? You're leaving now? Tang Tang was a little reluctant. Yes, I'm sorry, Tang Tang. I was in Cheng Menjing's villa last night and didn't come to see you until this morning. Xiaochen was a little apologetic. It's okay. She's your fiancée after all. Besides, we're so close. I won't be picky about your stuff. Tang Tang smiled and said, I thought you could accompany me for a little longer. Let me tell you, my period just left. Xiaochen's heart moved slightly, but he thought about the time and gave up. He didn't want Tang Tang's first time to be spent in a hurry, so he would wait until he came back. There's not enough time. Next time, I don't want to be in a hurry. Then I'll help you. Tang Tang said and got into the quilt. After coming out of the Yu family courtyard, Xiaochen called Lu Shuangshuang. After all, he had a relationship with Lu Shuangshuang. He had to tell her that he was leaving. Lu Shuangshuang saw that it was an unfamiliar number. She picked up the phone with some complaints. It was so early in the morning, it was affecting her sleep. Hello? Lu Shuangshuang asked in a daze. Lu Shuangshuang, it's me, Xiaoqun said. Ah. Lu Shuangshuang woke up immediately and was not sleepy at all. Xiaoqun, are you okay? You're wanted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. They said you killed the leader of Team C Yang Jianan and Qin Yuhan from the Extreme Ice sect. There's even a wanted poster in the Warrior Guild. Chapter 524. Yes, so I have to leave Songning City for a while. This is my new number. If you need anything, contact it. Xiaoqun said, I won't be here for a while. Be careful, but it won't affect you because you have connections with the Hong Chamber of Commerce. Hongzhu was reliable and someone Xiaoqun trusted. He wouldn't do anything to Lu Shuangshuang, so Lu Shuangshuang's business in the Warrior Guild wouldn't be affected even if Xiaoqun left. Then be careful. I'll wait for you. Lu Shuangshuang said. I won't dare to call you if I have nothing to do. It'll affect you again. It's fine. No one will notice you. Xiaoqun smiled. Don't be so nervous. I will have a new identity. It's fine even if we meet. Really? Lu Shuangshuang was a little happy after hearing that. Of course. Although Xiaoqun didn't say that he was disguised as Yang Tan, he should have time to rest during the mission in Lan City. Okay. Then you must be careful. Lu Shuangshuang said nervously. I know. Xiaoqun felt that Lu Shuangshuang was actually a little woman. At this moment she was like a husband who repeatedly told him to go out. After hanging up the phone with Lu Shuangshuang, Xiaoqun went to Little Hong's pharmacy. Grandma Nanshan should have already placed the spiritual jades there. Besides bidding farewell to Hongzhu, Xiaoqun took the spiritual jades away. In fact, before he left, Xiaoqun wanted to look for Lu Shuangshuang. However, after thinking about it, he gave up. His relationship with her was very strange. He didn't know what to say if they met. In his heart, Xiaoqun hadn't completely fallen in love with Lu Shuangshuang, but he couldn't give up. This was a very strange feeling. He could only take it one step at a time. Little Hong's pharmacy had just opened. Hongzhu was fixing the big iron door outside. When he saw Xiaoqun walk over and stop, he couldn't help but feel a little strange. The person in front of him looked a little familiar, but he hadn't seen his face before. He couldn't help but ask, "You want to buy medicine?" There were also people who woke up early in the morning to buy medicine, and Hongzhu had seen them before, so he did not find it strange. Let's talk inside. Xiaoqun didn't use a fake voice. He still used Xiaoqun's voice. Hongzhu was a little surprised. After a moment of surprise, he nodded his head and calmly turned around to enter the pharmacy. After that, he casually closed and locked the door of the pharmacy, pretending that he had not yet fully opened for business. After doing all this, Hongzhu said, "Your illusions are really too powerful. I can't see any problems at all. Can you teach me?" "Yes, but you have to become my wife." Xiaoqun casually said, "This is a secret method that I won't pass on." Fine, I'll marry you. Do you dare to marry me?" Hongzhu asked with a smile. "Forget it," Xiaoqun quickly said. The Hong Clan Chamber of Commerce was too big. Xiaoqun didn't want to get involved with them, otherwise he would definitely get into endless trouble. Although his strength was superb, it was still relative. The Hong Clan Chamber of Commerce probably wouldn't take a liking to him. When the time came, rather than being hunted down by the Hong Clan Chamber of Commerce, he might as well cut ties with them as soon as possible. Coward. Hongzhu covered his mouth and laughed. "All right, let's get down to business. Has anyone sent me anything recently?" Xiaoqun asked. "Sent? You?" Hongzhu was slightly taken aback. No. No two experts, one old and one young, sent me ancient jade?" Xiaoqun asked curiously. "No." Hongzhu shook his head. "Are you sure no one came?" Xiaoqun's heart skipped a beat. How could that be? Granny Nanshan didn't seem like someone who would go back on her word. Could she be deceiving him? Did she not want to give him the spirit jade? But that was unlikely. Listening to their conversation before, it seemed like they wanted to send it to him. At that time, they hadn't recognized him yet, so it was impossible for them to lie in front of him. However, Hongzhu shouldn't lie to him. Xiaoqun felt that there was no deception in his relationship with Hongzhu. It was impossible for Hongzhu to embezzle his spirit jade and not give it to him. "No," Hongzhu said with certainty. "Xiaoqun, when are you talking about? Haven't they come yet?" Xiaoqun frowned. However, Jiduan City was not far from here. With Granny Nanshan and Ling Er's skills, they should be here soon. Could it be that they were delayed by something? Thinking of this, Xiaoqun said, Then help me pay attention. Someone should be sending me something. If they come, let me know and I will give you the new phone number. And it's fine for now. After a while, I will have to leave and this place will have to be taken over by someone else. Hongzhu said, but don't worry. If someone sends this thing, I will let someone tell me. When I speak in the Hong Chamber of Commerce, no one dares to disobey me. Okay, then I'll trouble you. Xiaoqun could only think that Granny Nanshan was delayed by something. Otherwise he really couldn't find any reason. Are you in a hurry to leave? Hongzhu asked. Xiaoqun told Hongzhu about his plan. If there is anything in the future, contact me by phone. Okay, let's meet again if fate wills it. Anyway, I have to leave. Hongzhu wasn't too sad. Even if Xiaoqun didn't leave, she would have left anyway. See you later. Xiaoqun nodded and left Little Hong's pharmacy. Then he stopped a taxi and quickly went to Song Huawu's residence. It was time for him to leave. Song Huawu and Xia Shibin were already prepared. They didn't have much luggage, so they each had a small bag. Song Huawu drove her own car, while Xia Shibin drove Yang Tan's car. Xiaoqun got in the car, and the two cars headed for Lan City one after another. Xiaoqun left his things in Xia Shibin's car and sat in Song Huawu's car. Xiaoqun sat in the front passenger seat and was looking out the window at the scenery along the way. His phone rang. It was the phone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, and the caller ID was Xia Zhili. Hello? Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Xiaoqun quickly answered and said politely. Xiaoqun, go to your mailbox. I've sent you the mission request. I've also sent you the information. Take a look and reply to me so that I can report it to the headquarters. Xia Zhili's voice came from the phone. Xiaoqun was stunned for a moment and immediately said, Okay, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia. Song Huawu, Xia Shibin and I are on our way to Lan City. I'll take a look first and reply to you immediately. Okay, I'll wait for you. After Xia Zhili finished speaking, he hung up the phone. Xiaoqun frowned. He didn't know Yang Tan's email address, but he didn't ask. He could only ask Song Huawu. If he behaved strangely on the phone, Xia Zhili would definitely be suspicious. Xiaoqun felt that this person was an old fox. It was best not to talk in front of him. Xiaoqun, Deputy Bureau Chief Xia is looking for you? Song Huawu asked as she drove. Yes, he asked me to enter the mailbox to collect a document, but I don't know how to enter Yang Tan's mailbox. Do you know? Xiaoqun asked. That's easy. You can use your phone and click on the mailbox sign on it to enter, Song Huawu said. Okay. Xiaoqun nodded and clicked on the mailbox. There was a prompt. This is your first time using the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's internal mailbox application. You need to set up a password before you can use it. Please enter the password. Xiaoqun was stunned for a moment, then he immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, this phone was newly applied. Otherwise, even if he took Yang Tan's phone, he wouldn't know the password. After Xiaoqun entered a new password, he successfully entered the mailbox and saw the email that Xia Zhili had sent to him. Xiaoqun clicked on the receive button and opened it to read. This email was a mission request from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Xia Zhili had sent it to Yang Jianan. If Yang Jianan agreed to accept this mission, he had to reply to the email to express his acceptance. After opening the email, Xiaoqun looked at it carefully. This mission was not difficult, but it was not easy either. Among the three of them, two were responsible for secretly protecting the safety of the research base, and the other was to infiltrate New Moon College in Lan City to protect the daughter of the person in charge of the research. In the email, other than the description of the mission, there was also a photo of the person being protected. Xiaoqun glanced at it and suddenly widened his eyes. He was a little surprised. This girl was actually a rare beauty? Of course, he didn't know if it was because of the photo, but in any case, not many people would believe the photo. With a pose and a facial expression, even an ugly girl could become a star. Below the photo was the girl's information. Su Chuxia, female, 19 years old, 169 meters tall, New Moon College 3rd year class 9 student, campus belle, hobbies. Watching movies, playing video games, eating snacks, shopping, fitness center. Her hobbies were wide. Xiaoqun had a headache. You're already so dangerous, can't you just stay at home obediently? Compared to her, the young mistress was an obedient little girl. Other than her hobbies, there were also introductions from her friends. Fortunately, Su Chuxia didn't have many friends, and her social connections weren't complicated. This made Xiaoqun feel a little better. If she went out with random friends all day, it would be a headache for Xiaoqun. There were a lot of miscellaneous things and there were a total of 3 pages. In the back there were some photos of Su Chuxia's life, which made Xiaoqin feel very good. If the previous photos were photoshopped, many of the later ones were randomly taken. Moreover, they were probably taken without Su Chuxia knowing. Therefore, after looking at the photos, Xiaoqin had to admit that Su Chuxia was very beautiful. Her big eyes were very lively. However, although this girl had a wide range of hobbies from her circle of friends, it could be seen that she wasn't a girl who liked to interact with people. Although she was beautiful, her face was written with an expression that said no one should get close to her. This was something that gave Xiaoqin a headache. This Su Chuxia was probably a girl who was difficult to approach. It would be difficult to get close to her to protect her, which would make it a lot more difficult. Chapter 525. The most troublesome thing was that Xiaoqin couldn't reveal his identity. He could only think of a way to get close to Su Chuxia and protect her. However, he couldn't do it too abruptly. Since Su Chuxia's personality was like this, if he suddenly appeared beside her, it would definitely arouse the suspicion of other forces. When that happened, things would be messed up like before. This wasn't something that Xiaoqin wanted to see. However, since he had already accepted the mission, Xiaoqin could only accept it. It would be more troublesome for him to deal with the people there, and he might even be exposed. Xiaoqin, why are you frowning? I heard that the person you're protecting is a beauty, a campus belle. You should be happy. Song Huawu looked at Xiaoqin and asked with a smile. Sai, I have a lot of beauties around me. I don't lack beauties. This mission isn't easy. Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. If it wasn't for the fact that I have no other choice, I wouldn't do it. By the way, I've applied for a mask for you. You can wear it or you can transform it yourself. Song Huawu said. This mask is a professional human skin mask. Ordinary people won't be able to see through it, but it'll be more uncomfortable to wear it. I'll just wear the mask. Xiaoqin didn't want to waste his energy every day. Moreover, it would be very troublesome when Xia Jinglin asked for the video. It would be much easier to explain if he wore the mask. Alright, I'll get it for you when we get to Lan City. Song Huawu said. When we get there, we won't be able to see each other every day. Xia Shibin and I have to eat and live in the research base, and you can only rent a room near the protected girl in case something unexpected happens. Alright, I understand. Xiaoqin nodded. This job wasn't easy. Being a bodyguard was much more difficult than being a servant. Moreover, he couldn't expose his identity. It would be best if he didn't let Su Chuxia know, because if she knew, it would be very likely that he would be exposed. The car drove into Lan City and drove all the way to the suburbs. Xiaoqin thought that this was probably the location of the research base. Sure enough, there were no other cars along the way. Occasionally, a few cars would pass by, all with special license plates. There were even some heavily armored vehicles. It seemed that this was the scope of the research base. The two cars had changed to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau's license plates, so no one would be surprised if they drove here. Finally, they arrived at the gate of a watchtower. Two men in black suits with headphones on and bulging waists walked over. It turned out that they were here to check their documents. Xiaoqin and the others took out their IDs one by one. Xiaoqin's ID was reapplied with his cell phone. He randomly found a 1-inch photo of Yang Tan and reapplied for a new ID. The previous one was lost with his cell phone. After the inspection was completed, the car was allowed to enter the research base. Of course, even they could not really enter the interior of the research base. They all lived in the periphery. Song Huawu had obviously done her research beforehand. She brought them to a building that looked like a terrace house, parked the car and got out. Along the way they still went through a lot of interrogation. However, it was obvious that the people who were interrogated were very polite to them after seeing their IDs. After entering, they came to the door of an office. Song Huawu knocked on the door and a come-in voice came from inside. Song Huawu and the others entered the office. So it's Team Leader Yang and Deputy Team Leader Song. Welcome. A capable-looking man was in the office. Team Leader Yang, this is the leader of the security team of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau at the research base, Zhang Qingkue. Song Huawu said with a smile. Zhang Qingkue was slightly stunned. He knew Yang Jianan. Although the two of them were not familiar, they had met in the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. However, thinking about it, this was considered a formal meeting. It was normal for Song Huawu to introduce him. Hello, Captain Zhang. Xiaoqin shook hands with him and said, due to the mission, I won't say much. Huawu, prepare for me. I will report to New Moon Academy in Lan City. You and Hibin will stay here and assist Captain Zhang in taking care of the security here. I dare not say assist. It should be help. Both of you are masters of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's great that you can help us. Zhang Qingkue was not talking nonsense. These people were generally masters of the inner energy level 5. After all, they were just ordinary field agents of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and not core members. They thought that it was more than enough to protect the research base. However, they did not expect that a small research base would cause so many disputes. He did not know how the news got out. In short, Zhang Qingkue was under a lot of pressure. Now his savior had arrived. Okay. Song Huawu nodded and said to Zhang Qingkue, Captain Zhang, the car I asked you to prepare and the communication with New Moon Academy have been settled, right? Also, the human skin mask that was mailed from the headquarters should have arrived, right? Yes, Deputy Team Leader Song, it's all done. Zhang Qingkue quickly said, I didn't dare to make the car too ostentatious. It's just an ordinary Jetta, but it has been modified. It only has the appearance of a Jetta, but the inside is completely different. As for Team Leader Yang's admission procedures, they are all here with me. It's already been arranged. Team Leader Yang can go to New Moon Academy and look for Head Chiu directly. He knows that you were arranged to enter through the higher-ups, but he doesn't know your identity. Because one more person knowing means one more danger. He thinks that you just have some other background. That's for the best. Xiaoqin nodded. His purpose of going to New Moon Academy was to protect Su Chuxia. Therefore he would naturally try to keep a low profile. It would be best if no one paid attention to him. As for the mask, it's here. I don't have the authority to open it. Team Leader Yang should open it himself. As he said that, Zhang Qingkue took out a package from the cabinet on his desk. There was a special seal from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau on it. Xiaoqin nodded. He opened the package and took out the mask inside. He could not help but be slightly surprised. This mask was actually somewhat similar to the Xiaochang that he had transformed into. If one didn't look carefully or wasn't familiar with it, they would really think that Xiaochang was this mask. Seeing Xiaoqin holding the mask and examining it, Song Huawu could roughly guess his surprised thoughts, so she said, Team Leader Yang, I chose this mask for you. I feel that it matches your style. Not bad. Xiaoqin nodded and directly put the mask on his head. At this moment, his appearance was similar to the previous Xiaochang. He felt that the mask was well made. Xiaoqin didn't feel that there was anything wrong with it, so he nodded and said, if that's the case, I'll leave first. It's better to report to the academy as soon as possible. Okay, Team Leader Yang. Zhang Qingkue said, then I won't send you off. Otherwise it will be too eye-catching. This is the car key. The car is parked at the door. The license plate is AS909. The car number is not the number of our Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It is a civilian number. However, the only advantage is that the car's license plate is actually confidential. It is on file with the police station. If you exceed the speed limit or violate the rules, no one will stop you. It is also convenient when you carry out your mission. Not bad. Xiaoqin nodded to Song Huawu and Xia Shibin and left Zhang Qingkue's office. He didn't want to have too much contact with Zhang Qingkue. If he spoke too much, he would slip up. He wasn't Yang Tan at all. He didn't know much about the internal affairs of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It wouldn't be good if he slipped up. Xiaoqin walked out of the office and went all the way to the parking lot outside. He pressed the remote control in his hand. Not far away, a Jetta turned on its lights. Xiaoqin walked over. The Jetta was silver gray. It was very common. From the appearance, it didn't look special at all. Xiaoqin was very satisfied. He often drove sports cars in Songning City. He didn't care about these things at all. After adjusting the navigation map, Xiaoqin came to Lan City's New Moon College. This was a relatively large college in Lan City. It integrated junior high, senior high, and university into one. It was one of the best schools in the area. Xiaoqin was now going to the New Moon College's affiliated high school. When he arrived at the location, Xiaoqin parked the car in the school's parking lot. There were some rich people in the school. There were some luxury cars in the parking lot. Of course, it could also be the teachers' cars. Xiaoqin got off the car and entered the school. When he entered the teaching building, he was stopped by the security guard. What are you doing? Why are you here at this time? Show me your student ID. Xiaoqin was dressed like a student at the moment. Because he didn't wear the school uniform, he was stopped by the security guard. The students here were either wearing the school uniform or a badge, but Xiaoqin didn't have either. Hello, I'm here to report. I'm a transfer student. Xiaoqin showed the admission file in his hand to the security guard. I'm here to look for Director Chiu to handle the admission procedures. Oh, your first day here. The security guard glanced at Xiao Chen's student file and nodded. Director Chiu is on the 4th floor, office 410. You can go up. Okay, thank you. Xiao Chen nodded and quickly went upstairs. Standing at the door of office 410, Xiao Chen knocked on the door. An old voice came from inside. Please come in. Xiao Chen pushed the door open and entered. The first thing he saw was a bald man who looked like a pedant. Xiao Chen secretly frowned. This kind of person should be more inflexible. He was not like Director Su, who was easier to talk to. Hello, Director Chiu. I'm a transfer student. I'm here to look for you to handle the admission procedures. Xiao Chen said. Oh, show me the procedures. Director Chiu said without lifting his eyelids. He continued his work as if he didn't care about Xiao Chen at all. Xiao Chen smiled and didn't care. He quickly walked over and put the admission procedures on Director Chiu's desk. Then he stood aside respectfully. Chapter 526. Director Chiu put down the pen in his hand and picked up Xiao Chen's information to have a look. He couldn't help but frown. You're about to graduate from grade 12. I don't know why you transferred here at this time. I really don't understand you young masters. You were specially approved by the principal, so your family must have some power. But here you better be obedient and study hard. Otherwise I'll teach you a lesson. If your results drag me down, I'll suggest to the principal to send you away directly. Xiao Chen was speechless. This Director Chiu was too powerful. He even dared to refute the principal? However, Xiao Chen didn't care. He was a straight-A student. At most, he would put in more effort during the exam and get a good result. This Director Chiu would probably have nothing to say. Okay, Director Chiu. Actually, I transferred here because someone in my family transferred. In fact, I study very hard. When I was in Songning No. 2 high school, my results were also among the best. Xiao Chen wasn't bragging. He was referring to Xiao Chen's identity, not Yang Tan. Well, that's good. Just in time, there's a monthly exam in 2 days. I want to see your performance. Director Chiu listened to Xiao Chen's words and nodded with satisfaction. It could be seen that he was the kind of old pedant who especially liked students with good results. Everything depended on results. However, this way Xiao Chen had some confidence. Although this Director Chiu didn't seem to be easy to talk to, there shouldn't be a problem if he catered to his preferences. Director Chiu signed on Xiao Chen's paperwork and then said to him, Okay, go to grade 12 class 9 to report. Okay, thank you, Director Chiu. Xiao Chen took the signed paperwork and left the office. He didn't know where grade 12 class 9 was, but he didn't ask much. It was better to find it himself. At this time the bell rang. Xiao Chen planned to walk around the teaching building to familiarize himself. There were many students, so he didn't stand out. There were no classes on the 4th floor. Basically, it was all teachers' offices. There was only the so-called grade 4 preparatory class. The grade 4 preparatory class was actually a class for students whose grades were not good enough to enter university. One more year of study, and those whose results caught up, could directly enter New Moon Academy. In fact, it was equivalent to studying for one more year. Going down, the 3rd floor was for year 3 students, the 2nd floor was for year 2 students, and the 1st floor was for year 1 students. It was very orderly. Xiao Chen returned to the 3rd floor and saw a girl not far away. His eyes lit up. It was Su Chuxia. At this moment, she was wearing a beige windbreaker with both hands in her pockets and a yellow headband on her head. She looked pure and cute, but her big eyes were cold and unapproachable, which didn't match her image. Beside her, there was a girl who was dressed very fashionably, or rather, sexy. She was wearing a short skirt, black stockings and a tight vest. She looked like a hot girl on the street. Xiao Chen knew that this girl's name was Tian Soran. It was a very cool name and she was Su Chuxia's best friend. Xiao Chen remembered her at a glance. Tian's sour skin color was not as fair as Su Chuxia's. Instead, it was a darker shade of wheat. Girls with this skin color were rare. Some celebrities liked to dye their skin color like this because it looked sexy and had a wild beauty to it. If he didn't know that Tian Soran was a girl with no problems, Xiao Chen would have thought that she was a delinquent at first glance. However, these two beauties were clearly in trouble. Tian Soran, mind your own business. I'm pursuing Chuxia. What does that have to do with you? A boy was holding a bouquet of flowers and stood in front of Su Chuxia, blocking her way and not letting her go. What's going on? Xiao Chen was stunned. *CK, could this man be an enemy in disguise? His main goal now was to protect Su Chuxia. As long as nothing happened to her, he would be able to think of a way to cancel the arrest warrant. Therefore he couldn't ignore any danger that Su Chuxia was in. Of course, if it was an ordinary student, Xiaochen wouldn't be too concerned. The main thing was that this boy had a faint martial aura which shocked Xiaochen. If a martial artist didn't deliberately suppress or hide it, they would unconsciously release a martial artist's aura. Although their strength couldn't be seen, it could be felt. Thinking of this, Xiaochen rushed to the boy's side and directly dragged him to a corner. He scolded, "I Xiaobai, I finally found you. You're the B***starred who knocked me last time, right?" "Who are you?" Kai Wuliang was stunned. He staggered from Xiaochen's pull and the flowers in his hand fell to the ground. He was instantly furious. "Let go of me if you don't want to die. I you dare to threaten me?" Xiaochen directly slapped him, making a crisp "pa" sound. "Last time at the school gate, King bumped into me and ran away. Don't you remember?" How would I remember? If you don't let go of me, I won't go easy on you." Kai Wuliang was furious. As a school bully, he had bumped into many people at the school gate. How would he know which one you were? However, with a beauty in front of him, it wasn't appropriate for him to make a move. He heard that Su Chuxia hated boys who fought. Although it wasn't confirmed by Su Chuxia, Tian Xiaoring said it, so it must be credible. Su Chuxia frowned in confusion. She had never seen Xiaochen before, so she didn't know who he was. Why did he suddenly come to cause trouble for Kai Wuliang? Moreover, there was no one in the school who dared to cause trouble for Kai Wuliang. However, since someone interrupted her, she was naturally happy to be able to get rid of Kai Wuliang's pestering. Hence, she quickly left with Tian Wangsu. Xiaochen let go of Kai Wuliang when he saw that Su Chuxia had already left. Intuitively, he felt that although Kai Wuliang was a martial artist, he shouldn't be from any hostile forces. Therefore, he didn't bother with him anymore. He just casually said, "If you don't remember, then forget it." After that, Xiaochen let go of him and left. "Wait a minute, are you trying to act cool with us? If I don't kill you today, I'm not Kai Wuliang." After Su Chuxia left, Kai Wuliang didn't have to pretend to be polite anymore. His domineering nature was completely exposed. At this moment, the bell for class rang. Xiaochen turned around and directly walked into grade 12 class 9's classroom. Kai Wuliang didn't expect Xiaochen to turn around and leave. He couldn't help but be stunned. However, class had already started. He couldn't chase after him into the classroom and beat him up, right? New Moon Academy was different from other schools. Although it was a school tyrant, it was only within a limited range. Take Headmaster Chiu for example. If he caught you causing trouble in class, regardless of your background, he would immediately scold you, give you a warning, and expel you 3 times. Being merciless, this was also why New Moon Academy was so outstanding. This was because New Moon Academy had a very powerful background. Their shareholders were also very powerful. They didn't have to act according to other people's wishes. Kai Wuliang snorted coldly and turned around to leave. He was a 4th-year preparatory student. He had transferred from another school and was preparing to directly enter New Moon Academy in the 4th year of high school. As soon as he arrived, his target was Su Chuxia. When Xiaochen walked into the classroom, the students in the classroom were very surprised because they had never seen Xiaochen before. When they saw him walk in, they were all guessing what he was doing. Because Xiaochen didn't have a seat, he could only stand at the side of the podium and wait for the teacher to come. "Chuxia, look, isn't that the guy who was looking for trouble with Kai Wuliang just now? Why is he standing at the door of our class?" Tian Xiaoring's eyes were sharp, and he immediately recognized Xiaochen. "Oh." Su Chuxia glanced at Xiaochen, and there was no special expression on her face. She only nodded lightly. "Do you think he likes you and purposely helped you just now to be your escort?" Tian Xiaoring's eyes rolled as he said. "I don't know, but what does that have to do with me?" Su Chuxia clearly had no interest in Xiaochen. She didn't even look at him again. "Haha, this is going to be fun. There's a new pursuer. However, this guy doesn't look special. He's just a small guy. I think he'll be dealt with by Kai Wuliang soon," Tian Xiaoring said. At this point, Su Chuxia raised her head and looked at Xiaochen. Then she said to Tian Xiaoring, "Xiaoring, then tell him to stop pursuing me. Otherwise, he'll be sent to the hospital. Don't do this kind of stupid thing." "Ah, okay." Tian Xiaoring nodded. She had a good heart, so she felt the need to remind Xiaochen. Previously, Su Chuxia had many pursuers, but now they either hid it and didn't dare to express it, or they were all sent to the hospital. Of course, this was all thanks to Kai Wuliang. When Kai Wuliang came, he got rid of those pursuers. After a while, the homeroom teacher of grade 12 class 9, Teacher Chin, walked into the classroom. Obviously, she had already received the notice from Teacher Chiu that there was a transfer student. Student Xiao Chang, right? Teacher Chen looked at Xiao Chen and asked. Teacher Chiu said there's a transfer student. I guess it's you. Yes, Teacher Chen. I'm Xiao Chang. This is my admission information. Please take a look. Xiao Chen handed the information in his hand to Teacher Chen and said. Teacher Chen looked at the information and then said to Xiao Chen, you can sit in the last row first. The seats in the class are chosen according to your test results. Tomorrow is the monthly test. If your results are good, you can choose the seat you like according to your ranking. Next, introduce yourself and then we'll start the class. Okay. Xiao Chen didn't care about the seats. He nodded and went up to the podium. He said to the students below, hello everyone, my name is Xiao Chang. I used to study in Songning City. Today I'm transferring to Lan City. I hope everyone can take care of me. Xiao Chen's introduction was very short. He didn't act like Yang Tan at all. His only purpose in coming to school was to protect the school bell, Su Chuxia. As for other matters, they didn't have much to do with him. Chapter 527. With that, he walked to the last row and sat down. Although he was a little far from Su Chuxia, he could still see her. Xiao Chang's appearance was not very outstanding. He was a little ordinary and his self-introduction was very simple. Therefore, most people treated him like air and did not pay attention to him. They went about their own business. It was time for class. This was Teacher Chen's language class. Xiao Chen was a straight A student, so he already knew these things by heart. He did not need to pay much attention, so his attention was on Su Chuxia. Su Chuxia did not feel anything, but Tian Souring, who was beside her, was a sensitive girl. She felt that someone was staring in their direction, so she turned around and met Xiao Chen's gaze. She immediately glared at Xiao Chen. Then she turned around and said to Su Chuxia, Chuxia, that Xiao Chang is peeking at you from behind. Oh, how do you know he's not looking at you? Su Chuxia asked nonchalantly. Guys are like this. In their eyes, a delinquent girl like me is the feisty type. Only those hooligans and ruffians would like me. An innocent beauty like you is the killer of these otakus. Tian Souring said. Who told you to dress like this? Su Chuxia said. I'm mixed blood. My skin color is like this. It's not good to dress up like a lady. Tian Souring said, Aya, don't talk about me. I think this guy is really infatuated. He actually transferred thousands of miles here just to see you. Is it as scary as you say? Songning City is very far away, right? How could it be for me? Su Chuxia shook her head. Why not? Just now, he was saving the damsel in distress at the class gate. Kai Wuliang was pestering you, so he stood up for you and said that Kai Wuliang bumped into him at the school gate. How is that possible? He transferred here from another city, and it was his first day at school. When he came, the class was probably not over yet. Where did Kai Wuliang bump into him? Tian Souring analyzed. Is that so? Su Chuxia pouted slightly. It seemed to make sense. Does this Xiao Chang like me? But, Kai Wuliang was probably going to send him to the hospital. Then after class, go and remind him that it's impossible between him and I. Don't let him think about these unrealistic things and get taught a lesson by Kai Wuliang again. Okay, I love doing this. Unlike Su Chuxia, who had a cold personality, Tian Suruan was a bold girl who loved excitement. After one class, Xiao Chen was bored to death as he took out his mobile phone. He planned to tell Song Huawu and the others that he had successfully enrolled in school. Unexpectedly, a fragrant wind assaulted his nostrils, and a small waist appeared in front of him. Xiao Chen looked up and saw that it was Tian Suruan. This girl actually sat on his table. Looking at the short skirt and black stockings in front of him, Xiao Chen swallowed his saliva. How could this girl be so bold? How dare you sit on the table dressed like this? Aren't you afraid of being exposed? Hey Xiao Chang, right? Tian Suruan looked down at Xiao Chen from above. She saw that he was holding a phone that she did not recognize. It was obvious that it was a counterfeit phone. She could not help but shake her head and said, You like Su Chuxia, right? Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He was a little curious as to how Tian Suruan came to such a conclusion. Stop pretending. Tian Suruan said, Sister Suruan, I know a little otaku like you too well. One look from you and I can tell how many times you masturbated at night. Cough, cough, cough. Xiao Chen thought that this Tian Suruan was really tough. He did not know how Su Chuxia became good friends with her. The two of them had completely different personalities. Alright, Sister Suruan is very busy. I came to you mainly to tell you something. That is, give up on Chuxia as soon as possible. Otherwise you will die a very very tragic death. Tian Suruan looked at Xiao Chen with a horrified expression and said, "Do you remember? When you have time, you can look at Sister Suruan more and fantasize about masturbating. Sister Suruan doesn't mind, but please don't have any ideas about Chuxia." Xiao Chen was a little speechless. He did not know what to say. He looked at Tian Suruan and said, "Remember, I won't have any ideas about her. Can I have any ideas about you?" In any case, Xiao Chen thought that it would be good if he could get close to Su Chuxia. Since Su Chuxia was not easy to get close to, he could get close to Tian Suruan. It seemed that Tian Suruan was easy to talk to. "Can you afford a big plane? Can you afford a big villa? Can you bring your sister Suruan to the gold-consuming commercial building to buy some goods?" Tian Suruan looked at Xiao Chen and said, "So, don't even think about it. Young man, just focus on masturbating. Stop daydreaming." Xiao Chen looked at the valiant Tian Suruan and was speechless. He thought to himself, "I won't bring you there even if I can afford it. You're too arrogant. Sister Suruan, let's go. I'll show you my back." Tian Suruan jumped down from the table and went back. But looking at her from the back, Tian Suruan's figure was really good. But Xiao Chen didn't think of hitting her. What Xiao Chen was thinking was that Tian Suruan looked like she was easy to get along with on the surface, but in reality she was the kind of girl who kept people at arm's length. A few words from her would be enough to kill off any pursuers. If not for the fact that Xiao Chen had everything, he would probably be devastated. He would go home and cry for a while before turning on his computer and masturbating. "Suruan, did you talk to him?" Su Chuxia asked when she saw that Tian Suruan had returned. "Yes, I did," Tian Suruan said. "Then he agreed?" Su Chuxia asked. "Yes, he agreed. I told him to go home and masturbate by himself." "Otakus are all like this. They have the heart but no guts," Tian Suruan said. "Oh." Su Chuxia blushed slightly and did not say anything else. After the third period, it was the exercise break. The students all walked out of the classroom to do the exercises. Xiao Chen did not know how to do the exercises. The exercises in New Moon Academy were different from those in Songning. He followed the crowd outside and planned to put on an act. He did not expect to be stopped by someone when he reached the classroom door. It was Kai Wuliang whom he saw in the morning. At this moment, there were two thugs behind him who were dressed like ruffians. They were staring at Xiao Chen like a tiger watching its prey. "Brat, wait up. Don't go." Kai Wuliang had a toothpick in his mouth and looked at Xiao Chen with a cocky expression. Xiao Chen was a little speechless. Why did he come looking for trouble? Why did a school bully come looking for trouble when he went to a school? He could not even keep a low profile and be a quiet pretty boy. He was really speechless. "What's the matter?" Xiao Chen asked. "F***CK, you're still asking me if I'm fine? You ruined my good time this morning and you're still asking me?" Kai Wuliang's face darkened. He glared at Xiao Chen and said to his two thugs, "Hold him up and take him to the rooftop. I'll let this country bumpkin know who has the final say in this school." Kai Wuliang also had an insider in grade 12 class 9. He found out that Xiao Chang was a new transfer after asking around. Kai Wuliang did not care about this kind of student at all. These silly losers thought that they could turn the tables on the goddess just because they were in the same class as Su Chuxia. Kai Wuliang wanted to let them know that the goddess did not belong to losers. At this moment, Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan happened to walk out of the classroom. When they saw Kai Wuliang's two thugs going to hold Xiao Chang, Tian Suruan immediately rushed over. He gave Xiao Chen a look and said, "Kai Wuliang, what's the meaning of this? Are you bullying our classmate?" "Tian Suruan, this has nothing to do with you. This is a personal grudge between us." Kai Wuliang saw that Tian Suruan was here again and felt depressed. F***CK, if not for the fact that I don't want to leave a bad impression on Su Chuxia, I would have found a place with no one around and F***CK you. Look at your slutty face, you're definitely not a good person. I don't know what Su Chuxia is thinking to actually be best friends with you. Kai Wuliang knew that Su Chuxia had a background. Previously, when Xiao Meng from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was exposed, it was thanks to Kai Wuliang. Kai Wuliang wanted to direct and act out a hero saving the damsel in distress. Xiao Meng thought that there was an accident, so he rushed out and beat him up. Kai Wuliang realized that Su Chuxia actually had bodyguards protecting her in secret. He knew that he could not use force on this girl. Kai Wuliang, Xiao Chang has already said that he will not pursue Su Chuxia. When he gets home tonight, he will fantasize about Sister Suruan masturbating so he won't get in your way. After Tian Suruan finished speaking, he patted Xiao Chen and said, "Right?" "Right." Xiao Chen didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Although he wasn't afraid of this Kai Wuliang, since Tian Suruan helped him out of trouble, there was no need for him to fight to the death with Kai Wuliang. "Alright, since you admit defeat, then apologize to me. I'll forget about what happened this morning." Kai Wuliang saw that Tian Suruan had already said so he didn't say anything else. "Forget about the apology. I don't have the habit of apologizing to people." Xiao Chen said indifferently, "Since the matter has been settled, I'll go to the exercise break." After he finished speaking, Xiao Chen turned around and left, ignoring Kai Wuliang. Su Chuxiao frowned and felt a little unhappy. She felt that Xiao Chang was too good at pretending. Tian Suruan had already helped him out of trouble, and he just needed to apologize and everything would be fine. In this case, all that was said before would be for nothing. Kai Wuliang would definitely teach him a lesson. "Not bad, kid. You sure run fast. This is a school building. I'll let you off for now. If you have the guts, don't leave the classroom at noon," Kai Wuliang said fiercely as he watched Xiao Chen run away. Then he turned his head and looked at Su Chuxiao. "Chuxiao, let's go to the exercise break together?" "I'll go by myself." "I thought you guys don't go to the exercise break in the 4th year of high school?" Su Chuxiao said coldly and pulled Tian Suruan away. A look of desire flashed across Kai Wuliang's face. "You will be mine sooner or later." Su Chuxiao took 2 steps and said to Tian Suruan, "Didn't you tell Xiao Chang? Why is he like this?" "Who knows? Heroes have a weakness for the charms of a beautiful woman. Maybe he was confused when he saw you." Then he started to pretend again in the heat of the moment. Tian Suruan said, "How troublesome. Sister Suruan, I've already done my best. If he gets beaten up again, I can only help him call an ambulance." Chapter 528. That's not very good. After all, it started because of me. Although Su Chuxiao felt that Xiao Chen was very good at pretending, she was a little worried when she thought that it might be because of her in the end, so she said, "Why don't you go and take a look at noon?" "Alright, Sister Sour, I'm a little hero who puts out the fire." Tian Sour said weakly, "I originally wanted to go out and eat delicious food at noon. I heard that an open-fire barbecue shop opened near the school. It looks good, don't look at me. I don't have money." Su Chuxia said. Hee, Chuxia, I heard that you just received your pocket money this month?" Tian Sour looked like she was drooling. "No, I want to buy review materials, watch movies and play video games. It's not enough. Every time you go to eat barbecue, you eat hundreds. If you want to eat, I'll take you to the 38th place barbecue buffet next time." Su Chuxia said vigilantly. "The buffet is not delicious. What can I eat at 38? It's all chicken and duck meat. I'll get sick of it if I eat too much." Tian Sour said discontentedly. "Then you can spend your own money," Su Chuxia said. "Sai, it's not like you don't know Sister Sour's current situation. I'm down and out." Tian Sour looked miserable. "Back then Sister Sour drove a Ferrari. You were rich and willful." Su Chuxia rolled her eyes at Tian Sour. "Whose sister are you? You're a few months younger than me." Hee, I'm used to it." Tian Sour smiled and said, "I heard that the open-fire barbecue is really delicious. The advertisement outside looks tempting. There's the best snowflake meat." "The best doesn't eat anything." Su Chuxia knew that the plate of the best snowflake meat was usually 98 or 180. Tian Sour, this little girl, could eat 4 or 5 plates by herself. If she went with her, she would go bankrupt directly. "Alright." Tian Sour could only give up. "Sai, tell me, how good would it be if you agreed to Kai Wuliang? That silly rich guy's family has money. I can eat and drink every day. I can ask him to give you a Ferrari and drive it for me every day. Then you agree to it?" Su Chuxia interrupted Tian Sour. "Is there a best friend like you? Exchanging me for money?" "I'm just joking. That Xiao Chang today seemed to be quite honest, but he didn't seem to have much money, so I couldn't bear to cheat him." Tian Swan said sourly, "Otherwise I'll ask him to treat me to a meal and secretly tell him some information about you. When the time comes, I'll just spout some nonsense. When he treats you to dinner and Kai Wuliang sees it, he'll beat him to death. Don't cheat him." Su Chuxia shook her head. Xiao Chen walked to the back of the line of grade 12 class 9 students. The people in front of him probably had a fixed position every day, so he did not want to stand around randomly. Just as he stood still, Xiao Chen saw a ball rolling towards him. Of course it was a meatball. Why did he call it a meatball? Because this person was really too fat, running from afar he looked like a ball. Xiaochen was shocked and quickly dodged to the side. He was afraid that this fatty would not be able to stop in time and crash into him again. However, what surprised Xiaochen was that although this guy was fat, he was very agile. In front of Xiaochen he stopped with a creak. He looked at Xiaochen and chuckled, "Brother, you're new, right?" "And yes." Xiaochen nodded and was a little puzzled. "Didn't I introduce myself before?" "Oh, I went to the toilet. I didn't go to class. I just finished." The fatty scratched his head and said, "What's your name? What are you doing here? Why did you transfer to class 9? Are you here to chase after Su Chuxia?" Xiaochen was stunned by the fatty's words. "What? Are all the people who transfer here to chase after Su Chuxia?" "Almost. More or less. If they wanted to take the exam, they wouldn't have come to class 9. Class 9 is considered an average class. When they first entered the school they were randomly assigned. There was nothing they could do about it. But after they transferred over they had the right to choose their class. Most of the students who wanted to take the exam would go to class 5 or 7. Those two are recognized as good classes." The fatty shrugged and almost lost his head. "So, you are most likely here to chase after Su Chuxia." "Okay." Xiaochen did not deny it. Thinking that his mission was to get close to and protect Su Chuxia, he simply admitted it. "Yes, you are right. Then do I have a chance?" "No." The fatty shook his head directly and dealt a blow to Xiaochen. "What?" Xiaochen asked with a smile. "Because Su Chuxia didn't want to have a boyfriend in high school," said the fatty. Xiaochen was a little speechless. "What kind of reason is this? How do you know?" "Hey, you don't know, right? I'm Su Chuxia's brother." The fatty looked at Xiaochen proudly and said, "What? You are her brother?" Xiaochen looked at the fatty in shock. Why didn't the information say this? Logically speaking, Su Chuxia has a brother in the same class. Shouldn't the information mention it? Hee, how is it? Do you want to please me?" The fatty nodded. When he smiled, his eyes were gone and he looked more like a ball. "May I ask what is this brother's name?" Xiaochen probed. "This person's information is not in the information, but he said that he is Su Chuxia's brother. Is there a problem?" "My name is Li Yuanqiu," said the fatty. "Sure enough, you live up to your name." Xiaochen sighed. "My name is Xiao Chang." "Same here. I am a ball and you are Xiao Chang. We are both the same." Li Yuanqiu said, "But I am the Yuanqiu that means Yuanqiu." "And who would be called Yuanqiu?" Xiaochen smiled, but he thought in his heart, "I have never heard of this person." "Li Yuanqiu? Su Chuxia's brother? Cousin?" As they were talking, Kai Wuliang came over with his 2 underlings. Although it was not good for him to make a move during the interval exercise, he could still scare Xiaochen. "Maya? Where is the interval exercise? Go. This is the last time. You won't be able to move tomorrow." Kai Wuliang bit the toothpick and looked at Xiaochen with a playful face. "Enjoy it. Tomorrow you will feel that moving is a luxury." "Kai Wuliang, what do you mean?" Li Yuanqiu looked at Kai Wuliang and said, "Give me some face. This brother is now my friend. I have already told him that there is no hope between him and Su Chuxia." He also agreed. "Why are you still looking for trouble with him?" "Li Yuanqiu, if you don't know what is going on, then shut up." Kai Wuliang pointed at Xiaochen and said, "This little guy was acting cool with us. I asked him to apologize to me but he turned around and left. If I don't kill him, how can I, Kai Wuliang, survive in school? When the time comes, won't others think that my words are useless?" "Kai Wuliang, don't talk about that. Do you still want to pursue my sister? If you want to pursue her, then give me, your brother-in-law, some face." Li Yuanqiu said, "My face is useless, so what?" "Fatty Li, you really don't have much of a reputation." "Your sister? Ask Su Chuxia if she recognizes you as her brother? Didn't you grow up in the same courtyard as her? When she called you brother when she was young, do you really think that you are her brother? Don't be shameless." Kai Wuliang spat a mouthful of phlegm and said, "Let me tell you, Li Yuanqiu. I occasionally give you some face because you can help me provide some of Su Chuxia's hobbies. But if you want to follow others, you are still far from it." Li Yuanqiu's face was a little red. Obviously, Kai Wuliang didn't give him face and made him feel a little embarrassed. In school, he still had some power because of his identity as Su Chuxia's brother. He didn't expect Kai Wuliang to not give him face today. "Forget it, Li Yuanqiu. I will see what he can do to me. He thinks that he is the Prince of Lollipop just because he has a toothpick in his mouth." Xiaochen waved his hand indifferently. "This." Li Yuanqiu looked at Xiaochen strangely. "Is this guy not afraid of being beaten up? Why is he so calm?" However, since things had come to this point, Li Yuanxiu also knew that his words were useless. He could only say, Kai Wuliang, then just teach him a lesson. Hit him lightly. Okay, I promise not to beat him to death. Kai Wuliang laughed, turned around and left. After Kai Wuliang left, Li Yuanxiu said with some depression, I say brother, are you stupid? Do you know who this Kai Wuliang is? Oh. Xiao Qin said strangely, isn't he just a school bully? He is a school bully, but his family is very powerful in Lan City. It is an aristocratic family in Lan City. Do you know about aristocratic families? Said Li Yuanxiu. I have heard of them. Xiao Qin nodded. He didn't expect Kai Wuliang to have some power. However, Xiao Qin didn't put an aristocratic family in his eyes. Even if it was the Jianghu aristocratic family, Xiao Qin didn't care. Then do you know that Kai Wuliang has been practicing martial arts since he was young? His skills are very good. Li Yuanxiu said, brother, look at you. You should have learned a few moves, right? But compared to those who have been practicing martial arts since they were young, we can't do it. You listen to me. When the time comes, it won't be embarrassing to apologize to him. It's better than being put in the hospital. Thank you for your kindness, but I don't think he can beat me to death. Xiao Qin smiled. AI, why don't you listen to me? Li Yuanxiu shook his head helplessly. It seems that I have one less friend. What about your previous friend? Asked Xiao Qin strangely. Just like you, he was sent to the hospital. He hasn't come out yet. He has been lying in bed for half a year. Li Yuanxiu said, I think you and I hit it off quite well. I didn't expect you to be a bad asteriskus. Xiao Qin felt that this Li Yuanxiu was a good person. It was just that he was a little worried. After finishing the exercises and returning to the classroom, Xiao Qin found out that Li Yuanxiu was sitting next to him. Their desks were separated by an aisle. This class was physics. Xiao Qin also knew it. He casually read a book, reviewed it, and mixed in with the class. After class, Tian Suanen came again. Xiao Chang, I heard that you just provoked Kai Wuliang again? Tian Suanen sat on Xiao Chen's desk and looked at Xiao Chen condescendingly. In front of Xiao Chen's eyes were two beautiful legs, swaying back and forth. Chapter 529. Xiao Chen glanced at Li Yuanxiu. Seeing that he was holding his phone, Xiao Chen guessed that Li Yuanxiu was probably texting Tian Suruan. No, he wanted to have a duel with me at noon, a duel at the top of the school, Xiao Chen said. I saw that he was quite sincere. He looked for me a few times, so I reluctantly agreed. Xiao Chang, will you die if you don't show off? Your sister Suruan won't fall for this. There's no use in bragging. Tian Suruan said, Li Yuanxiu is right. If you don't want to be beaten to death, you should talk to Kai Wuliang. The two of us will help you. Thank you, but I've already agreed. I can't go back on my word. Why don't you talk to Kai Wuliang and ask him to admit defeat? Xiao Qin said with a smile. You. Tian Suruan was so angry that she wanted to kick Xiao Chen's crotch. She glared at him and said, Oh right, what does your family do? Do you have some background? I do some small business. Xiao Qin said, What's wrong? Nothing. Why don't you treat me to barbecue at noon? I'll give you a chance, but it'll cost a few hundred. Do you have money? Tian Suruan said after thinking for a while. Sure, I'll treat you after I beat Kai Wuliang. Xiao Qin felt that Tian Suruan was a good person. He was quite helpful, and he also wanted to get close to Su Chuxia. Tian Suruan was speechless. Why was this person so stubborn? She jumped down from the table and went back. How is it? Su Chuxia asked. He won't listen to me. He's so stubborn. Tian Suruan sighed. Sister Suruan can only help him this much. Sigh. Su Chuxia sighed. She had no right to ask others not to like her. She could only try to reduce the damage. However, he didn't listen, so she couldn't do anything. To be honest, this Xiao Chang was so silly. Why didn't he listen to her? Go and keep an eye on him at noon. Don't let Kai Wuliang hit him too hard. My words don't carry much weight. Why don't you go as well? Tian Suruan said. Okay. Su Chuxia nodded. In the blink of an eye, it was lunchtime. Kai Wuliang was afraid that Xiao Chen would run away, so he had been waiting at the entrance of the classroom. When he saw that Xiao Chen was still there, he laughed. Xiao Chang, let's go to the rooftop. Oh, all right. Let's go. Let's finish this quickly. Then I'll treat Tian Suruan to a meal, said Xiao Chen. You still want to go eat? Let's go to the hospital to eat. Kai Wuliang burst into laughter the moment he heard that, and the two lackeys behind him also laughed wildly. Xiaochen ignored him and walked out of the classroom, heading upstairs. The rooftop of the school had to be accessed from the 4th floor. The entrance was in the restroom on the 4th floor. You could only go up when there was no one around. Otherwise, if you told the teacher that you were looking for trouble, you wouldn't be able to go up. Since there was no one around, Xiaochen went up first. Kai Wuliang followed behind him with his 2 lackeys. Tian Soran, Su Chuxia and Li Yuanxiu also followed up. Tian Soran climbed up, but Su Chuxia was a lady and wasn't very good at climbing walls. After much difficulty, Li Yuanxiu, who was following behind, didn't dare to move after taking 2 steps. His size and weight were too big. Xiaochang, right? How about it? Kneel down and kowtow to me twice and I'll consider not sending you to the hospital. Kai Wuliang was still speaking when he suddenly discovered a big foot kicking over. He hadn't even finished speaking when he was sent flying into the air. Xiaochen couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. This person seemed to be at least a stage 3 inner force martial artist. Although he couldn't tell if he was a martial cultivator or a demonic cultivator, he definitely wouldn't fall to his death from the height of the 4th floor. Xiaochen didn't wait for him to finish talking and kicked him down. Thud. A loud sound came from downstairs. Kai Wuliang landed directly on the ground, smashing a small hole in the field. He couldn't get up for a long time. Although Kai Wuliang had already used his inner force to protect his body, this was the 4th floor. Who could recover from such a sudden fall? He was in a daze from the fall and his head was a little muddled. Kai Wuliang's 2 lackeys were a little dumbfounded. They couldn't care less about Xiaochen anymore. They hurriedly ran down from the rooftop to check on their boss. In the end, Li Yuanxiu, who had just climbed halfway, was kicked down again. *CK. Li Yuanxiu was so angry that he cursed. You 2 bastards, are you crazy? Kai Wuliang doesn't want to chase after Su Chuxia anymore, right? Usually these 2 lackeys were quite respectful to Li Yuanxiu. After all, Kai Wuliang would occasionally look for Li Yuanxiu to ask about Su Chuxia. However, they couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him now. The 2 of them quickly ran down. Su Chuxia originally wanted to mediate, but she looked at Xiaochen in disbelief. You kicked him down? Yes. Xiaochen nodded. You're in trouble. Su Chuxia was a little annoyed. If anything happened to him, you wouldn't be able to stay in Lan City anymore. Why are you so reckless? Tian Shaoring looked down and said, thank goodness he's not dead. It seems like Kai Wuliang is fine. But, you ambushed him once. What about the next time? I don't know what to say about you. There are really such daring idiots in this world. Let's go. I'll treat you guys to that barbecue, Xiaochen said. Really? Tian Shaoring was stunned. He didn't expect Xiaochen to really remember this. Really? Xiaochen nodded. That's great. Let's go then. You're not bad. Sister Shaoring didn't worry about you for nothing. Don't worry, next time Kai Wuliang gives you trouble, I'll help you mediate. I promise he won't beat you to death. Tian Shaoring said happily. However, Su Chuxia frowned. She pulled Tian Shaoring and whispered, that's not a good idea, right? He doesn't have much money. He said his family runs a small business, so he should take advantage of it. Besides, he has a chance to treat the goddess to a meal. This is a once-in-a-thousand-years opportunity. He has to thank me. Tian Shaoring said. I'm not going. Su Chuxia shook her head. Don't. If you don't go, what will he treat me to? It's not like he's wooing me, Tian Shaoring said hurriedly, afraid that this matter would fall through. Then go. Su Chuxia said helplessly, I think that Xiaochang looks like a good person. He's quite honest, just a little reckless. Don't take advantage of him. Yes, I got it. Tian Shaoring nodded. Although Su Chuxia and Tian Shaoring's voices were relatively soft, Xiaochen could still hear them clearly. He couldn't help but find it a little funny. Why did it seem like he was the reckless one in the eyes of these 2 girls? However, Su Chuxia looked like a good girl. She wasn't unruly or willful. Other than her slightly cold personality, there wasn't anything bad about her. What made Xiaochen most relieved was that Su Chuxia didn't seem to hate him. In that case, getting close to her wouldn't backfire. The difficulty of the mission had been greatly reduced. The few of them prepared to go down the rooftop. In the end, Li Yuanxiu finally climbed up. He squatted on the ground and panted. Although he ran fast, he wasn't good at climbing. It was too heavy and the wall ladder was too difficult to climb. I'm exhausted. How's Xiaochang? I saw those 2 guys running down. Did they beat someone to death? Did they run away? Li Yuanxiu said after panting for a long time. I scared them away. Let's go get something, Xiaochen said. Ah, brother, are you okay? Li Yuanxiu looked at Xiao Chen in surprise. They didn't hit you? Did you show them your background and scared them away? No, I kicked that Kai Wuliang down. Xiao Chen pointed to the edge of the rooftop. What? You kicked him down? Li Yuanxiu ran to the edge of the rooftop and saw Kai Wuliang's two subordinates helping Kai Wuliang up and slowly walking forward. That's why Sister Saoring said that he's reckless. Li Yuanxiu, don't play with him anymore. He's too reckless and will easily implicate you. Tian Saoring said gloomily, who would do that? Luckily Kai Wuliang practiced martial arts before, so he's fine. If it were a normal person he would have fallen to his death. You would have become a murderer. You're too reckless, aren't you? Brother, you're awesome. That was a sneak attack, right? Li Yuanxiu sized up Xiao Chen. And how did you know? Xiao Chen asked. That Kai Wuliang is an expert. He's from our school's mixed martial arts team. Last month he represented our school in the competition and won first place in the high school group. Li Yuanxiu said, if you didn't sneak attack, the one who fell down would be you. Oh, then I'll continue to sneak attack next time. Xiao Chen smiled. AI, there's no solution now. This is the only way. Try your best to sneak attack. Li Yuanxiu shook his head. The two of you already have a deep hatred. I won't mediate anymore. If you get beaten up, I'll help you call an ambulance in time. You still dare to follow me? Aren't you afraid of implicating me? Xiao Chen asked curiously. He won't dare to really hit me. I, Li Yuanxiu, am not someone to be trifled with. My family is from a military compound, and I have a brother in the special forces. If he really dares to touch me, my brother will bring a few brothers back. If we really fight to the death, he will have to think twice. Li Yuanxiu said, but my power is still lacking. I can't protect you. Xiao Chen was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Li Yuanxiu to have some power. No wonder he dared to compete with Kai Wuliang. It seemed like it wasn't just because of his identity as Su Chuxia's brother. They were all from a military compound. It seemed like Li Yuanxiu's family also had people working in the research base just like Su Chuxia. It's fine. I'm pretty good too. Xiao Chen said indifferently, let's go eat that barbecue. Tian Suruan was the happiest to eat barbecue. Su Chuxia didn't mind. It was true that she loved delicious food, but she didn't like these big meaty things. She preferred to eat delicate and small things. The four of them came down from the rooftop. Kai Wuliang was already gone. Tian Suruan brought Xiao Chen out of the school and came to a place called Giant Cauldron Open Flame Barbecue. At the entrance of the shop, there was a poster with all kinds of delicious pictures. There were seafood, beef, lamb chops, and so on. Tian Suruan was drooling when he saw it. Xiao Chang, do you have money? Tian Suruan couldn't help but ask for confirmation before entering. Yes. Xiao Chen looked at the price. It was okay. This was only a mid-range restaurant. It couldn't be compared to those big restaurants. Chapter 530. That's good. I can eat without worry then, Tian Soran said happily. Su Chuxia on the other hand frowned. What if Xiao Chang pestered her when the time came? She couldn't think of anything and could only follow him in. After sitting down, Tian Soran ordered a lot of delicacies. Li Yuanxiu might be fat but he couldn't eat much. He scanned the menu for a long time and asked, are there any vegetarian dishes? There are roasted mushrooms, roasted potato slices. The waiter said. All right, we'll have that then. Li Yuanxiu nodded. You don't eat meat? Xiao Chen was a little curious. Sai, my childhood sweetheart told me to lose weight or she wouldn't want me anymore. I have to suffer because of love. Li Yuanxiu sighed. Xiao Chen asked, why didn't he lose weight then? Or did this guy get fat even when he drank cold water? Su Chuxia ordered a bowl of exquisite wonton noodles and a plate of barbecued pork. It was obvious that her taste was more southern. Xiao Chen randomly ordered one and the waiter went to serve the dishes. Tian Soran ordered the most. She was surrounded by dishes and the waiter even had to add a trolley for her. This girl talked a lot, but once she started eating she became speechless. Xiao Chen looked at Su Chuxia who was eating in a refined manner. She looked very beautiful and artistic when she ate. No wonder so many people liked her. It was obvious that Su Chuxia was a very well-behaved girl. Even girls like Missy and Xin Jingxian didn't have Su Chuxia's manners. Watching her eat was a kind of enjoyment. If it was in the past, Su Chuxia would definitely be a noble young lady. Su Chuxia, what does your family do? Xiao Chen asked casually. Su Chuxia was slightly stunned. Then she looked at Xiao Chen cautiously. Nothing much. I'm just a normal salaryman. We're all from the military compound. Her parents are both in the military factory. Her father was a technician but he was transferred later. I think it's a similar job, Li Yuanxiu explained. Su Chuxia frowned. She seemed to be blaming Li Yuanxiu for being a busybody, but she didn't say anything and continued eating. Xiao Qin furrowed his brows. Li Yuanxiu sure had a lot to say. To him, some things might not be a big deal but Su Chuxia's identity might be exposed because of this. However, there were some things that Xiao Qin couldn't say. He could only pretend that he hadn't heard. He nodded and said, "Oh, what about Kai Wuliang's family?" I fainted. Tian Suruan stuffed a piece of snowflake beef into his mouth, then slapped his forehead and said, "Xiao Chang, I'm telling you, don't cause any more trouble. Do you think I don't know that you are trying to find out about Kai Wuliang's background? There's no harm in telling you that the Kai family is very powerful in Lan City. Have you heard of the Surge Club?" "What's that? A place for surfing?" Xiao Qin asked. "It's a martial arts club run by the Kai family." Tian said sourly, "It's called a dojo but it's actually a gang. The students inside are gangsters if they pick up knives. Don't provoke them." Xiao Qin thought of Lu Jinming. However, an opponent of this level was no longer worthy of Xiao Qin's attention. He was now guarding against those who were against Su Chuxia. This Kai Wuliang was obviously just a pursuer, so there was nothing to be afraid of. As long as he didn't use force, Xiao Qin couldn't be bothered with him. After the meal, Xiao Qin paid the bill. It cost a total of more than 1,000 yuan. It was really a high-cost place but Xiao Qin didn't mind. He didn't know if Kai Wuliang had gone to the hospital or something. Xiao Qin didn't see him for the entire afternoon and couldn't be bothered with him. In the blink of an eye, it was time for school to end. Xiao Qin saw Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan leave the classroom. He quickly picked up his bag and followed them. Although it seemed like he was shamelessly pestering Su Chuxia, who knew if those people would make a move today? He could only follow behind and protect them in secret. Fortunately, the school was relatively safe, so Xiao Qin didn't have to follow so closely. However, what surprised Xiao Qin was that he wasn't the only one following behind Su Chuxia. There were a few other boys but they seemed to be doing something. They were either reading books, talking on the phone, or chatting with their friends. However, in reality their eyes were drifting over to Su Chuxia. Others might not be able to tell but Xiao Qin's sixth senses were sharp. He immediately knew what these people were up to. They were probably a bunch of losers who had a crush on their goddess but didn't dare to confess. They could only look at her every day on the way home from school. Another possibility was that they were afraid of getting beaten up. After all, Kai Wuliang was very domineering. When they left the school, no one followed Su Chuxia anymore. Only Xiao Qin was left. Xiao Qin thought about it and didn't drive. The parking lot was on the other side of the school. If he drove back, Su Chuxia would probably be gone. Su Chuxia followed Tian Suruan and walked in front. After walking for a while, Tian Suruan seemed to have eyes on the back of his head. He suddenly turned his head and whispered to Su Chuxia, "Chuxia, that Xiao Chang is following you." Su Chuxia was stunned. Then she was a little stunned. "No way? Why is he so bored?" He. Tian Suruan shrugged his shoulders. "I guess it's a chi deviation? Look at what he did today. This person is too ferocious. However, he's honest and seems quite good. Why don't you consider him? If you get along with him, he will definitely treat you well." However, Su Chuxia shook her head and said, "I've never thought of getting a boyfriend. Moreover, I don't think we're compatible. With his personality, he's too impulsive and likes to cause trouble." "Suruan, tell him not to follow me. If he wants to follow me, then follow me. Anyway, he's just a bodyguard." Tian Suruan said, "This Xiao Chang is so ferocious that even Kai Wuliang is no match for him." Su Chuxia sighed helplessly and didn't say anything else. When they reached the intersection, she parted ways with Tian Suruan. The two of them weren't going in the same direction. As for Xiao Qin, he naturally wouldn't follow Tian Suruan. Instead, he continued to follow Su Chuxia. Since Tian Suruan had already seen him, he would definitely tell Su Chuxia. Hence, he decided not to sneak around and followed her openly. Su Chuxia obviously knew that Xiao Qin was following her. After walking for a while, she saw that Xiao Qin was still behind her. She suddenly stopped in her tracks helplessly. Seeing that she stopped, Xiao Qin also stopped in his tracks and looked at Su Chuxia. Su Chuxia really didn't know what to do. How could this person be so thick-skinned? She had already discovered him, but he didn't have any intention of retreating at all. He was still following her. She stopped, he would also stop. How could there be such a person? After waiting for a while, seeing that Xiao Qin still hadn't left, Su Chuxia couldn't wait any longer. She quickly walked forward and even increased her pace. However, no matter how fast she walked, Xiaochen could still keep up with her. Su Chuxia arrived at the bus stop. Obviously she was going to take the bus home. Meanwhile, Xiaochen also followed her to the vicinity of the bus stop. After a while, a Route 82 bus drove over. After Su Chuxia waited for the bus to stop, she followed the crowd by the roadside and got on the bus. Meanwhile, Xiaochen quickly followed behind her. It was rush hour, so there were many people on the bus. Fortunately, Route 82 was a suburban route. Although there were many people on the bus, it wasn't too crowded. Su Chuxia saw that Xiaochen had followed her. She felt a little helpless. She could only walk to the back of the bus and find a gap to stand still. Then she held onto the window to guard it. Looking out the window at the scenery that kept passing by, she was really a little annoyed. Previously, her impression of Xiaochang was not bad. Although she didn't like him, at least she didn't hate him. She felt that other than being impulsive, this person didn't have any bad intentions. However, she didn't expect that this guy would follow her after school. This was simply something that a pervert would do. Therefore, all of a sudden, Su Chuxia's impression of Xiaochang plummeted. She even kind of regretted having lunch with him in the afternoon. After Xiaochen got on the bus, he didn't follow Su Chuxia to the back of the bus. He only needed to be able to see Su Chuxia. He didn't need to get too close to her. Even if someone wanted to harm Su Chuxia, they would probably kidnap her instead of dealing with her directly. This was because they wanted the information in Su Chuxia's father's hands, not Su Chuxia's life. Killing Su Chuxia would have no meaning or benefit to them at all. The bus went on and off. After a few stops, the number of passengers on the bus gradually increased. The bus also became slightly crowded. Xiaochen subconsciously moved to the back of the bus just in case. At this time, a young man with greasy hair and a powdered face who had just gotten on the bus squeezed his way towards Su Chuxia. This person's actions were very rude. The people on the bus were about to complain when they were squeezed. However, when they saw the young man's gangster appearance, they knew that he wasn't a good person, so they didn't dare to say anything. Xiaochen frowned. This person's intentions were too obvious. He was coming towards Su Chuxia. However, Xiaochen wasn't sure if this person wanted to take advantage of Su Chuxia or if he had other intentions. However, no matter what, since Xiaochen was a bodyguard, even if this person wanted to take advantage of Su Chuxia, he couldn't just sit back and watch. Hence, Xiaochen directly squeezed his way to Su Chuxia's side and stood behind her. He stretched out his arms and held onto the handrail in front of him. Xiaochen was tall and strong. He directly covered Su Chuxia with his body. Su Chuxia obviously noticed something. When she turned around, she realized that it was actually Xiaochang. She couldn't help but become even more annoyed. This person was actually starting to take a mile after giving her an inch. Although Xiaochen didn't touch her, the way he was standing was almost the same as those couples. If the car swayed, she might lean into his embrace. What a good plan. When that happened, Xiaochang would probably say that this had nothing to do with him because the bus was moving. Moreover, she took the initiative to lean into his arms because the bus shook. It wouldn't be good to argue, right? Thinking of this, Su Chuxia wanted to ask Xiaochen to move away. However, she didn't expect that someone would speak before she did. Chapter 531. Kit, move aside. I'll go over. The young man didn't expect someone to beat him to it, so he was a little unhappy. He was a well-known public transport wolf in this area. He often did indecent things on the bus. He was about to get his way with a little beauty, but he was stopped by someone else. How could he be happy? Xiaochen didn't bother with him at all. He couldn't even be bothered to talk to this kind of idiot. When the young man saw that Xiaochen was ignoring him, he became even angrier. He grabbed Xiaochen's clothes and tried to push him to the side. Move your claws away. Don't look for trouble. Xiaochen turned his head coldly and looked at the young man as he warned him coldly. *CK, I thought you were deaf. I told you to move aside, didn't you hear me? The young man didn't let go at all. Instead, his actions became more barbaric. It was obvious that he didn't listen to Xiaochen's threat. When Su Chuxia heard the dispute behind her, she couldn't help but turn her head. When she saw Xiaochang arguing with a young man, she was stunned. However, she only needed to take a look to understand what was going on. Su Chuxia knew the young man who was arguing with Xiaochang. He was always loitering on the 82 bus and was a famous pervert. She was almost taken advantage of by him several times. Most of the time, Su Chuxia would hide far away when she saw him. If she couldn't, she would get off the bus and take the next bus. Today, the reason why she didn't guard against him was because Xiaochang was on the bus. She didn't want to look at him. She was afraid that if she looked too much, Xiao Chang would misunderstand something. But now, Su Chuxia knew that this young man must have wanted to take advantage of her and was discovered by Xiao Chang. Then Xiao Chang's action of protecting her before was understandable. This time, Su Chuxia didn't feel as disgusted with Xiao Chang as before, but she felt a deep sense of helplessness. This guy really thinks he's a flower protector? And he seems to be addicted to it. The key was that she didn't need it at all. If it wasn't for him, she would have been careful. Let go. Xiao Chen gently swung his arm and shook the young man's hand to the side. *CK. Su Chuxia was speechless. Why was he putting on an act again? Although this person was a pervert, he was a member of a thief gang nearby. If you offended him, I'm afraid there would be a lot of trouble. Yeah? Pretty cool, huh? Are you going to move aside or not? This young man was also anxious. In this area he was also a reputable person. Usually his main profession was a thief, and his side profession was a pervert. Now that he had met someone who obstructed him, he was naturally unhappy. Although the people in the car also saw the conflict here, many people didn't understand what was going on. Of course, even if they knew what was going on, it was estimated that very few people would come forward. After all, it had nothing to do with them, and this young man didn't look like a good person at first glance. It was hard to say if he had a weapon on him. There are too many people in the car. I don't want to kill you, but if you want to die, don't blame me for being rude. Xiao Chen's eyes sharpened, and he stared at the young man coldly. All right. You're good. Let me see who wants to die. Being threatened by Xiao Chen, the young man immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. He took out a switchblade from his pocket and opened it with a pa sound, pretending to stab Xiao Chen. Scram right now. If I don't kill you, the young man used the switchblade. When the other passengers saw this, they immediately dodged to the side in fear. Although it was a little crowded in the car, they still made a large space for Xiao Chen. Su Chuxia turned around and slapped her forehead. Oh my god. Do you know how to use a knife? She didn't know how the switchblade ran directly into Xiao Chen's hand. The young man was stunned. Just as he was about to scold someone, he realized that the knife in his hand was gone. He was instantly shocked and he looked at Xiao Chen with some fear. However, Xiao Chen didn't care about him. He grabbed the young man by the neck, casually opened the window not far away, and with a swoosh, he threw the young man out of the moving bus. With a bang, he landed in the middle of the road. Behind him was an emergency brake and the young man was almost killed. The young man was so scared that his face turned pale. He finally knew what a ruthless person was. He actually dared to throw people out of the bus. He was simply a fugitive. The young man escaped from death and scrambled away, but his heart was a little unwilling and full of hatred. Xiao Chen didn't care about this young man's life or death at all. He didn't care if he would be hit by a car if he fell down. Anyway, he deserved to die. Moreover, Xia Zhili would definitely help him settle it since it was Yang Tan who killed him. Su Chuxia didn't know what to say. How could this Xiao Chang be so fierce? It was a miracle that he hadn't been sent to prison because of an accidental injury. He had done something like a tiger twice in one day. First, he kicked Kai Wuyang off the roof of the school building, and now he directly threw the pervert out of the bus window. These were all things that could kill people if they weren't careful. When that time came, he would be charged with murder no matter what. Su Chuxia couldn't imagine what kind of shocking things he would do if he continued to follow her. Looking at Xiao Chang, Su Chuxia wanted to say something, but in the end she didn't. She felt that she wasn't as eloquent as Tian Suruan. Tian Suruan's words didn't work, so what she said would be useless. She could only glare at Xiao Chang. Xiao Chen didn't care much about Su Chuxia's gaze. He didn't really want to pursue Su Chuxia. He was just a bodyguard. He didn't care what she thought. As long as he completed his mission, it was fine. Xiao Chen wanted to cancel the wanted order and quickly return to Songning. That was his home. The previous incident made the people on the bus very respectful of Xiao Chang. As for the bus driver, seeing that nothing had happened, he naturally couldn't be bothered to care about Xiao Chen. He didn't want to get into trouble. The bus drove for a few more stops before Su Chuxia arrived at her stop. She was about to get off when she turned around and saw that Xiao Chen was still hugging her and standing behind her. She was stunned. Previously, the bus was swaying back and forth, but Xiao Chen didn't touch her at all. She thought that Xiao Chen had already moved to the side. She didn't expect him to still maintain this position. This made Su Chuxia a little surprised. This wasn't something that could be done easily. It was easy to take advantage of her, but it wasn't easy to not do so. I want to get off. Su Chuxia looked at Xiao Chen and said coldly. Oh. Xiao Chen retracted his hand and moved aside. Su Chuxia quickly got off the bus but Xiao Chen followed her. Previously, Su Chuxia was still comforting herself that Xiao Chen just happened to be on the same bus as her. He was just going the same way. However, now that she saw him getting off the bus, she couldn't help but frown. She stopped and turned around. She stared at Xiao Chen with her big eyes. Do you want to go home with me? Oh, I'm going this way too. It's just on the way. Don't worry, I'm not going to your house. Xiao Chen said with a smile. Really? Su Chuxia obviously didn't believe Xiao Chen's words, but after listening to him she could only say, okay then I'll see where you are going. After that, Su Chuxia walked away angrily. Xiao Chen still followed behind her unhurriedly. After walking for a while, Su Chuxia came to the entrance of a community. She suddenly turned around and shocked Xiao Chen. Why are you still following me? Su Chuxia asked. I live here. Xiao Chen said innocently, I rented a house here. Really? Su Chuxia was stunned. She looked at Xiao Chen suspiciously, but seeing that he said it so confidently, she couldn't say anything more. She turned around and walked away quickly, ignoring him. Su Chuxia entered the community and came to the door of a unit. She opened the unit door. When she saw that Xiao Chen hadn't followed her, she closed the unit door with a bang. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. I don't have the key. I can't open the unit door no matter what. I want to see where he lives. Su Chuxia ran upstairs quickly, and Xiao Chen directly opened the unit door. This was a piece of cake for him, but he didn't follow her upstairs. Instead he listened from below. Based on Su Chuxia's footsteps, he could roughly tell that Su Chuxia lived on the 4th floor. As for which room upstairs he didn't know, but it wasn't important. Xiao Chen turned around and left the unit directly. He went out of the community and directly entered a real estate agent. Sir, are you buying or renting a house? The proprietress saw Xiao Chen walking in and quickly solicited business. I'm renting a house. Xiao Chen said, in this community, what kind of houses are available for rent? In this community? There are some. What are your conditions? Asked the proprietress. It's best if it's the 3rd or 4th floor of building number 5, or the 4th floor of building number 6 opposite building number 5, or the 4th floor of building number 6, said Xiao Chen. Su Chuxia's house was on the 4th floor of building number 5, so Xiao Chen proposed these conditions. Okay, let me see. The proprietress entered Xiao Chen's conditions into the computer and began to search. After a while, the proprietress said, there is only one house that meets your conditions. It's room 401 in building number 4, but room 401 is finely renovated. The rent is more expensive than other houses. How much? Xiao Chen. He didn't care if it was finely renovated or not. Anyway, he was on a mission. He could ask Xia Zhili for reimbursement later, so he didn't have to pay out of his own pocket. 3,000 a month, starting at half a year. The proprietress said, it includes property fees, heating fees, broadband fees and cable TV fees. This community wasn't considered a high-end community, and the location wasn't particularly good. 3,000 a month was a relatively high price, and the worst part was that the starting rent was half a year. Could Xiao Chen stay for half a year? However, it wasn't Xiao Chen who was paying anyway, so Xiao Chen directly nodded and said, okay, then let's take a look at the house and then we can sign the contract. Okay, give me the house key and entrust me with full responsibility. I'll bring you there now. The proprietress directly prepared to close the store and bring Xiao Chen there. But I have to say in advance, if you want to rent it, you have to pay me a referral fee of 1,500 yuan, which is 50% of the room price. Of course, this is a one-time payment. When you renew the lease, you don't have to pay me anymore. Chapter 532. Sure, replied Xiao Chen. No wonder the proprietress was so enthusiastic. She didn't hesitate to close the door and take him to see the house. The proprietress brought Xiao Chen to room 401 of building number 4. Xiao Chen was very satisfied with this house. It had all the household appliances. He could move in directly. Therefore, Xiao Chen signed the contract with the proprietress on the spot and gave her 20,000 yuan. 500 yuan was the deposit for water and electricity. Xiao Chen settled down for a while. He stood by the window and looked at the window on the 4th floor of building number 5. Although Xiao Chen's sixth sense was very sharp, he couldn't see clearly from such a distance. He wasn't a clairvoyant. After thinking for a while, Xiao Chen went downstairs. He planned to go out for dinner and find a place to buy a telescope. Now, he was a little regretful that he didn't ask Lu Shuangshuang for a telescope before he left. He still had to find a place to buy it. Xiaochen found a snack bar and ate a bowl of noodles. It was really F***king disgusting. Moreover, it cost 15 yuan. It was much more disgusting than the noodles at Kerlin's house. Suddenly Xiaochen thought of Kerlin. Speaking of which, he hadn't seen her for a long time. He wondered how she was doing. She didn't even know that he had come to Lan City. However, thinking about it, his relationship with her was very strange. This little girl always seemed to be afraid of him. After paying, Xiaochen decided not to eat this restaurant's noodles anymore. He walked around and found a literature and education shop that sold telescopes. Xiaochen bought a better telescope and returned to the neighborhood. However, he didn't go upstairs directly. Instead, he walked around the neighborhood and found a flower bed. Then he planted 2 devil spear fruit seeds. These seeds were obtained from the herb garden in the ancient ruins. At that time there were devil spear fruits there too. However, Xiaochen didn't pick them because they would lose their effectiveness soon. Xiaochen didn't know when he could leave or if he could make it in time. Therefore he only collected some seeds and planted them here. After digging the hole, Xiaochen infused some yuan qi into it. Then he went upstairs and returned to his rented apartment. The first thing Xiaochen did when he returned was to look across the building with the telescope. He set up the telescope at the window. Why did Xiaochen feel that he was a little dirty? It seemed that many otakus had such things in their homes to peek at their goddesses. Xiaochen took a look at room 401 and saw an old man and an old lady dancing in front of the TV. This was probably not Su Chuxia's house. So, Xiaochen turned to look at room 402 and really saw Su Chuxia. At that moment, Su Chuxia was already in her home clothes. She was sitting in the living room watching TV. She had a glass of juice and a bag of popcorn in her hands. She was enjoying the show. Xiaochen glanced at the television screen and realized that he was actually watching it with Qing Menjing and the others. It was still the very popular school drama. He could not help but feel puzzled. Why were there so many girls watching this television? After observing for a while, Su Chuxia was very restrained. Although she could continue watching it on the TV box, she only watched 1 episode before returning to her room. Xiaochen quickly pointed the telescope in the direction of Su Chuxia's room. He saw Su Chuxia open her bag and take out a few books. She sat in front of her desk and started reading. She would occasionally scribble and draw on the side. It was obvious that she was revising. At around 8 p.m., Su Chuxia put down her textbook, stood up and walked out of her room. Xiaochen looked from the living room and saw that she had gone to the bathroom. She had been gone for quite some time. Xiaochen thought that she had fallen in or encountered some kind of danger. Half an hour later, Su Chuxia came out with her hair dripping wet. It was clear that she had just taken a hot shower. However, she was still wearing her home clothes. There was no sign of her being exposed at all. What am I thinking? After returning to her room, Su Chuxia didn't continue reading. Instead, she picked up the music player on her desk and lay on the bed to listen to some music. Then she got up and closed the curtains. She turned off the lights and went to sleep. What a girl with a regular lifestyle. Previously, Xiaochen felt that Su Chuxia was very disciplined in everything she did. She wasn't like the young mistress who did everything randomly. After she went to sleep, Xiaochen lost interest in continuing to monitor her. He laid down on the bed and could not help but sigh. This day was like a dream. He was still in Songning City a moment ago, but in the blink of an eye he came to Lan City. How was it? Did the mission go well? It was a text from Song Huao. Xiaochen glanced at it and replied to her, "It was all right. But I offended the school bully. I don't know if he will bring people to beat me up tomorrow." Don't kill people. Song Huawu warned. If you kill him, you won't be able to stay here anymore. I know, but I'm a man. It's more or less inconvenient for me to secretly protect Su Chuxia. What if she goes to the bathroom or takes a shower? What am I going to do? Xiaochen said after a day of protecting Su Chuxia. I'll see how it goes. If there's nothing else here, I'll see if I can apply to accompany you. We'll protect her together, Song Huawu replied after some thought. That's for the best. Xiaochen heaved a sigh of relief. Xiaochen basically spent the night cultivating. So the next morning he woke up early and went to the window to look at Su Chuxia's room. Su Chuxia only got up from 5 to 6 o'clock. She opened the curtains and the window to breathe in the fresh air outside. Seeing Su Chuxia's intoxicated expression, Xiaochen felt that it was quite amusing. However, the weather outside was already very cold. Su Chuxia took a breath, closed the window and drew the curtains. After a while, when she opened the curtains again, she was already dressed. It was a very simple jacket. It was obvious that she was a cautious person. She never opened the curtains when she changed. After that, Su Chuxia went to the kitchen. She baked 2 pieces of bread and squeezed a cup of soy milk for herself. She turned on her tablet and watched the news for a while. After breakfast, she grabbed her bag and prepared to go to school. This kind of routine surprised Xiaoqun. He didn't know how she developed this habit. Xiaoqun went downstairs and happened to see Su Chuxia walking out of her unit. Su Chuxia also saw Xiaoqun from afar. She was a little shocked. Her eyes widened in disbelief. When Xiaoqun came over, she asked, "You really live here?" "Yeah, didn't I tell you yesterday?" Xiaoqun said with a smile. Su Chuxia felt that something was wrong. But no matter how she thought about it, she couldn't figure out what was wrong. She shook her head and walked to the entrance of the residential area to wait for the bus. After a while, the 82 bus arrived. Xiaoqun and Su Chuxia got on the bus together. In the morning, the smell of the bus was a little unpleasant. It was filled with the smell of all kinds of food. Chives boxes, beef buns. The smell was simply amazing. Su Chuxia found a seat by the window to get some fresh air. Even when Xiaoqun was chased out of the Xiao family, he had never taken a bus before. Now that he was experiencing the life of an ordinary person, it was really a tough morning. However, what surprised Xiaoqun was that Su Chuxia's family should be quite wealthy. Since her father was the person in charge of the research institute, and the research institute was related to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, how could she not have a private car? Or did Su Chuxia not like to be ostentatious and just wanted to be an ordinary girl? Finally, they arrived at New Moon Academy. Xiaoqun and Su Chuxia got out of the car. Su Chuxia looked at Xiaoqun, who was following her, and felt a headache coming on. "Xiaochang, you go ahead. I'll just follow behind you," Xiaoqun said. "No, listen to me." Su Chuxia stomped her feet and was a little annoyed. "What I mean is, I don't want to be in a relationship during high school. It's pointless for you to follow me. Moreover, if you follow me like this, Kai Wuliang will definitely be unhappy. He will teach you a lesson." "Oh, it's fine. Then I won't be in a relationship. It's just on the way. If he wants to teach me a lesson, I can only try not to beat him to death. If I fail, there's nothing I can do," Xiaoqun said. You do whatever you want." Su Chuxia turned around and walked away quickly. Xiaoqun smiled and followed. However, just as he reached the school gate before he could enter, he was stopped by a few people in black suits. "Who are you? Why are you stopping students at the school gate?" The security guard at the school gate saw this scene and immediately walked over and asked the man in black. "Don't waste time. Go away." The leader of the group, a man in sunglasses, pushed the security guard hard. The security guard staggered and almost fell to the ground. This man in sunglasses was still shirtless in the winter. He wore a tight vest and the muscles on his arms were bulging. He didn't look like a good person at first glance. "Xiaochang, right?" Xiaoqun nodded. "You're looking for me? It doesn't seem to be a big deal. This idiot kicked young Master Kai yesterday?" The man in the vest said to the people around him with some disbelief. Young Master Kai said that it was a sneak attack. A man with slicked back hair next to the man in the vest said, "Oh, a sneak attack." The man in the vest nodded and said, "Okay, come with us." "Where to?" Xiaoqun frowned. Although it was fine to go with them, his current mission was to protect Su Chuxia. If he left and Su Chuxia was in danger, it would be troublesome. Thinking of this, Xiaoqun subconsciously looked at Su Chuxia. When Su Chuxia heard the quarrel behind her, she also turned around and saw the scene just now. When she saw Xiaoqun looking at her, she couldn't help but be a little annoyed. "Why aren't you pretending now? Seeing these burly men, you know that you're no match for them, right? You even asked me for help." However, even if Su Chuxia thought so, she still couldn't sit back and do nothing. After all, the root cause of this matter was her. If Kai Wuliang didn't like her, so many things wouldn't have happened. Chapter 533. Su Chuxia had no choice but to walk over and ask the leader, "Did Kai Wuliang ask you to come? Who are you?" A man with triangular eyes glared and scolded, "Get lost if you have nothing to do with me." *CK off. The leader slapped the man's head, and his triangular eyes immediately turned into panda eyes. "This is the girl that young Master Kai is interested in. Are you blind? With triangular eyes you're just blind. Watch carefully next time before you speak." Yes. The man with triangular eyes covered his eyes and quickly replied. Su Chuxia frowned slightly and said, "Since Kai Wuliang asked you to come, you should go back. This is my classmate." I can't let him go with you. I'm sorry, sister-in-law. Young Master Kai specifically asked me to bring him back. If I don't go back, I won't be able to explain myself. Although the man was very respectful to Su Chuxia, he was not obedient at all. Su Chuxia was a little anxious. She turned her head and saw that Xiaoqin didn't care. She couldn't help but say, Xiaochang, don't go with them. This is the school gate. They won't dare to do anything to you. That Kai Wuliang wants to see me. Let him come himself. Xiaoqin thought about it. He still couldn't go with them. What if it was Kai Wuliang's trick to lure him away? That's not up to you. The man in the vest said as he reached out to grab Xiaoqin. *CKU. Xiaoqin kicked the man in the tank top and sent him flying. With a whoosh, he flew to the road in front of the school. At this moment, a car happened to pass by. As a result, the man in the tank top hit the front of the car with a bang and was sent flying again. The driver was obviously a powerful person. He drove a Maserati to school and knocked someone flying, but he didn't even look at it. He drove the car into the school parking lot. The man in the vest was hit until his face was covered in blood, but he didn't die. Xiaoqin sneered in his heart. With his stage 2 inner force cultivation, he wouldn't die at this speed. The man with the slicked back hair and triangular eyes were dumbfounded. They pointed at Xiaoqin and said, "You're sneaking up on us again. It's a sneak attack. What can you do?" Xiaoqin smiled and said, "Pay attention, I'm going to sneak attack again." After saying that, Xiaoqin kicked again, sending the triangular-eyed man flying. He smashed into the man in the tank top who was struggling to get up from the ground not far away. With a bang, he was smashed back. When the man with the slicked back hair saw that the situation wasn't right, he didn't dare to clamor anymore. He turned around and ran to check on the triangular-eyed man and the man in vest. "Alright, see, I didn't leave with them, did I?" Xiaoqin smiled at Su Chuxia. "I'm going to faint." Su Chuxia slapped her forehead, not knowing what to say. The two of them entered the school. Suddenly, Su Chuxia saw Tian Suruan not far away. She was a little surprised and quickly walked over. Xiaoqin also followed closely behind. At that moment, Tian Suruan was looking around the Maserati. As she looked, she muttered, it's over. Sister Suruan, I'm so unlucky today. I bumped into an idiot who hit my car. It's over. It wasn't easy for me to borrow it, but the car's already broken on the first day." Xiaoqin's eyes widened. It turned out that Tian Suruan was the one who sent the man in vest flying. How dare she say she's a tiger? This girl is really a tiger. "Suruan, did you hit someone with your car just now?" Su Chuxia asked. "Yes, Sister Suruan was scared to death." "Is that person dead?" "I ran away quickly." "Don't blame it on me, I can't afford it," Tian Suruan quickly said when she saw Su Chuxia coming. "He's not dead. Even if he's dead, it's not your fault." "I kicked him into the car," Xiaoqin said. "Ah, you're here too?" Tian Suruan saw Xiaoqin and was stunned. She said, "So, you're the one who damaged my car?" "No, Xiaochang, you have to compensate me. This car is very expensive. I just borrowed it and it's already broken." "Okay, I'll fix it for you." Xiaoqin didn't deny it because it was really him who damaged the car. "That's more like it." Tian Suruan finally felt relieved. "I can finally report back." Su Chuxia frowned slightly, but she didn't say anything. She felt that she shouldn't have too much to do with Xiaoqin. However, Tian Suruan damaged the car, so she really couldn't afford it. "Suruan, where did you get this car? Why do you drive such an expensive car? Isn't this just for fun?" Tian Suruan said, "This car was begged by Li Yuan." "Begged by Li Yuan? When did he buy such an expensive car?" Su Chuxia was a little surprised. She looked at the car. It was still new and didn't have a license plate. This was a Maserati CO. The market price was about 1.5 million yuan. Hey. Sister Suruan hasn't finished yet. This car belongs to Li Yuan's fiancée," Tian Suruan said. Su Chuxia was a little speechless. "Suruan, you're talking too much. Although it's very familiar, it's not good to damage it. Fortunately, someone is responsible for it." Tian Suruan said, "I'll contact 4S to repair the car in a while." The man in the tank top and the others limped back. At this moment, Kai Wuliang was sitting in the Inspur Club waiting for them to come back. However, they did come back. However, the tragic state of these people made Kai Wuliang stunned. "Did you guys get into a car accident?" "Yes, young Master Kai, how did you know?" The man in the tank top nodded. He was indeed hit by a car, but he was a little puzzled as to how Kai Wuliang knew. Damn, there really was a car accident. Kai Wuliang was stunned. I just guessed it casually. What happened? Young Master Kai, don't mention it. I tested him. That kid Xiaochang has some strength. He's not an ordinary person. The man in the tank top said. Not an ordinary person? What do you mean? Kai Wuliang narrowed his eyes and asked. This kid has some skills. Although it was a sneak attack, he definitely has some ability. I suspect he's also a martial artist. The man in the tank top said carefully. Martial artist? Stop bullsh asterisk ting. Just anyone who transferred here is a martial artist? He doesn't look like one. Did you feel that he has inner force? Kai Wuliang didn't believe it. I don't think so. After thinking about it, the man in the tank top shook his head. That's it. In my opinion, this kid has some brute force. His hands are quite agile and he's good at sneak attacks. Kai Wuliang said, how about this? Later you find a few more brothers. After school at night, don't talk nonsense with him. Go up and beat him up. Don't give him a chance to sneak attack. With so many people, I want to see how he can sneak attack. I'll beat the old master to death with random punches. Alright, young Master Kai. I'll go and gather some people. The man in the tank top nodded and limped away. Looking at the back view of the man in the tank top leaving, Kai Wuliang pinched his chin and muttered to himself, I wonder where this Xiaochang came from. Could he be from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? But it doesn't seem like it. The people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau aren't as high profile as him. This kid seems to have a screw loose in his head. Moreover, he only has brute force. Shaking his head, Kai Wuliang got up and prepared to go to school. He was late almost every day. Today was the 12th grade monthly test. Although it was called a monthly test, in fact, the 12th grade had a big test every 3 days and a small test every 2 days. It wasn't a monthly test. After the test papers were distributed, Xiaoqin wrote quickly. Xiaoqin had already learned these things very well when he was trying to win a scholarship in number 2 high school. Therefore, he had no difficulty answering the questions. Before the end of the test, Xiaoqin had already handed in his paper. However, he didn't leave after handing in his paper. Instead, he continued to sit in his seat and looked at Su Chuxiao from time to time. Chuxiao Xiaochang is so weird. He handed in his paper and still looked at you in his seat. Tian Shaoring whispered to Su Chuxiao. Who cares about him? Su Chuxiao was a little helpless with Xiaoqian's behavior. He wouldn't listen no matter what she said, so she could only let him be. This guy was getting more and more troublesome. He even beat up people from Kai Wuliang's family's club. There was no way to resolve this feud. Do you think Kai Wuliang will deal with Xiaochang again after school today? Tian Shaoring asked. Do you still need to think about it? Su Chuxia shook her head. Definitely, but things have already come to this point. We can't help him anymore. That's true. Sai, looks like I have to get him to give me the money at noon. If he ends up in the hospital at night, who will fix my car? Tian Shaoring sighed. Can't you think of something better? Su Chuxia was helpless. Alright, for this exam, let me get first place. Tian Shaoring said. The whole day was spent on exams. After the exams were over and school was over, Xiaoqin packed his things and prepared to follow Su Chuxia. What surprised him was that Kai Wuliang really brought people over. This time he brought quite a lot of people. Could be said that there were more than 10 people. There were 20 to 30 people in total. When they saw Xiaoqin coming out, they immediately surrounded Xiaoqin. There were 3 circles inside and 3 circles outside. Kai Wuliang couldn't see Xiaoqin anymore. He had no choice but to stand on the gymnasium at the side and shout to the middle of the crowd, Xiaochang, aren't you good at sneak attacks? Why don't you sneak attack me again this time? Do it. Su Chuxiao and Tian Shaoring reacted, but it was too late. Xiaoqin was already surrounded. They couldn't even find him. Li Yuanqiu saw the situation and ran over while panting. Chuxia Shaoring, what's going on? What are these people doing? Xiaochang is surrounded in the middle. Tian Shaoring said. Li Yuanqiu directly took out his phone. Are you going to call for help? Tian Shaoring looked and asked quickly. I'll call an ambulance. Li Yuanqiu said. At this time the fight had already started. Dust flew everywhere and they couldn't see the situation inside clearly. They didn't know who was fighting who, but they could hear the continuous screams. Kai Wuliang sat on the side of the gymnasium and looked proudly at the people not far away. How dare you challenge me, Kai Wuliang? I'll beat you to death. The sirens of the ambulance could be heard. Dust was still flying up from the fight, and Kai Wuliang couldn't see clearly. But he guessed that it was about time, so he shouted, All right, it's about time. Don't really kill him. Chapter 534. Oh, alright. Xiaochen walked out from the cloud of dust. He had purposely created that cloud of dust so that these people couldn't see each other clearly. That way he would be able to beat these people up. And beating them up was really satisfying. Xiaochen felt that he was about to have a breakthrough. It seemed that beating up more people was also beneficial to his cultivation. Ga? Kai Wuliang's eyes widened. He looked at the unharmed Xiaochen and almost thought that he had seen a ghost. What about me? Didn't you say that it's about time? That's why I didn't beat them to death. I guess they'll just have to lie in the hospital for half a year. Xiaochen shrugged. At this time the dust had also dispersed. In fact, it was Xiaochen's illusion that had dissipated. Kai Wuliang looked at the large pile of people lying on the ground and was so shocked that he wanted to cry. How did all his people die? That's impossible, right? No matter how good Xiaochang was at fighting, it was impossible for him to beat everyone down. Isn't this too exaggerated? Su Chuxia also had a look of disbelief. Is this for real? Ah damn. Tian Wangsua exclaimed. Chuxia, this Xiaochang isn't just a tiger. He's simply a wolf. He's too ferocious. One against a group. I really underestimated him. What's so good about fighting? Su Chuxia shook her head. No matter what, Xiaochang's way of doing things was wrong in her opinion. He transferred to another school but didn't study properly. Instead, he got into a few fights in just 2 days. Thinking about how he handed in his paper not long after the exam today, it was obvious that he didn't answer the questions well. He was probably here to waste his time like Kai Wuliang, right? Someone shouted, "The director is here," and the surrounding students ran away. When Xiaochen saw that the situation was not right, he also ran away. He waited for Su Chuxia and Tian Wangsua at the school gate. He didn't want to be labeled as a bad student right after coming to school. It was better to avoid fighting. Director Chiu ran over with a black face, but Xiaochen had already run away. Lying on the ground were a group of people from the Surge Club. Kai Wuliang wanted to cry but had no tears. Now he finally knew how strong Xiaochang was. He was really a strong person. This fight was a little too ruthless. He rolled his eyes and saw Director Chiu. He hurriedly ran over. What happened? Who is fighting here? Who are these people? Director Chiu shouted at the students who had yet to leave. It was just that these students were just watching the show, and they didn't even know what was going on. Moreover, this matter involved Kai Wuliang, so they didn't dare to speak carelessly. Director Chiu, you're finally here. You have to uphold justice for me. Kai Wuliang ran over with a look of a victim. Kai Wuliang? What are you doing here? Did you find these people? Director Chiu didn't have a good impression of Kai Wuliang. After seeing him, he immediately frowned. Director Chiu, these people are indeed my people, but they were beaten up. Kai Wuliang said with a sad face, these people are from the Surge Club. They are all fitness trainers. Isn't today's exam dismissed early? I want to enrich the life of the 3rd year of high school for everyone. I asked my family's trainers to come over and give everyone a hip-hop dance, aerobics, etc., so that the students can enjoy and relax. I was just directing on the gymnastics stage. You? Looking for people to dance? Director Chiu didn't quite believe it. He looked at Kai Wuliang suspiciously. Really? If that's the case, why are they lying on the ground with their faces full of injuries? This matter has to start from the transfer student, Xiaochang. Kai Wuliang said. Xiaochang? What does it have to do with him? Director Chiu had personally handled the admission procedures for Xiaochen yesterday. He naturally had an impression of the name Xiaochang. Director Chiu, you don't know, right? The real reason he transferred here wasn't to study, but to pick up girls. Kai Wuliang started to defame Xiaochen. Did you know? Yesterday morning, in order to show off in front of Su Chuxia, he first beat me up, then threatened me, telling me not to go near Su Chuxia. Him? Beat you up? Director Chiu laughed. Kai Wuliang, are you joking with me? Director Chiu, everything I said is true. Moreover, these people on the ground were beaten up by Xiaochang. Kai Wuliang said, originally he was here to tell jokes to Su Chuxia and Tian Soren, but I said that my people wanted to perform a dance and asked him to step aside. However, in order to show off in front of Su Chuxia, he beat up my people. You mean he beat up a group of people by himself and these people of yours are your club's trainers? Director Chiu asked. That's right, that's right. Kai Wuliang nodded. Kai Wuliang, if you continue to talk nonsense, don't come to school anymore. Now take your people and get lost. Director Chiu was furious. This was really ridiculous. Was he joking? One person beat up a group? Others might not know, but how could Director Chiu not know? Kai Wuyang's family owned a dojo, and these people were all big and strong trainers. It was possible for them to beat up one person, but how could one person beat up a group? Don't, Director Chiu. Look, they're all injured. Moreover, you can ask the other students what happened just now. Kai Wuyang was a little anxious. To be honest, if he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he wouldn't have believed that such a magical thing could happen. Director Chiu frowned, but he still found two students and asked, "You two tell me what happened just now. Did Xiao Chang beat up all of them by himself?" Director, we don't know if it was Xiao Chang, nor do we know him. However, it was indeed a person who beat up a group of people. A student said truthfully. Yes, that student left with Su Chuxia and Tian Soran. The other student added. Oh. This time Director Chiu was confused. Could it really be as Kai Wuyang said that Xiao Chang beat up a group of people by himself? Then this Xiao Chang was really amazing. After thinking for a while, Director Chiu said to Kai Wuyang, "This was all done by Xiao Chang? You're not lying, right?" "No, absolutely not." Kai Wuyang nodded solemnly. "You said that he came to school not to learn, but to pursue Su Chuxia?" Director Chiu continued to ask. "Yes, that must be the case." Kai Wuyang nodded vigorously. "Alright, I got it. I will ask the other students again. If this is really the case, I will deal with this matter," Director Chiu said. "Alright, thank you, Director Chiu." Kai Wuyang nodded. "Hurry up and send these people to the hospital. Don't do it on the school field." Director Chiu waved his hand and went to find other students to verify. At this time, the ambulance also arrived and drove into the field. However, when the medical staff saw the situation, they were a little dumbfounded. Even this couldn't fit them? Are you a friend of these injured people? The ambulance can't fit them. Can only fit two people. The medical staff said. Try your best, one on top of the other. They won't die. Just stuff them all in. Although Kai Wuyang had complained about Xiao Chang, it was hard to say if it would have any effect. He was afraid that in the end he would only be punished. It was impossible to fire him directly. That's not good, right? These people are already injured. Some of them even have broken arm and leg bones. If they are stacked on top of each other, won't their injuries be even more serious? The medical staff was stunned and said, "It's okay. Listen to me." Kai Wuyang waved his hand impatiently. "That won't do. We have to be responsible for the injured." The medical staff said, "Damn it, we are from the Wave Club. If we tell you to stuff them, then do it. Don't talk nonsense. Hurry up or else your car will be smashed." Kai Wuyang felt that it was too embarrassing for these people to be lying on the field. It was better to take them away quickly. Moreover, he was the victim now. If these people continued to be an eyesore here and Director Chiu was unhappy, he would also be unlucky. When the medical staff heard that it was the Wave Club, his expression immediately changed. He hurriedly followed Kai Wuyang's instructions and loaded the car with all his might. He didn't even need the stretcher beds anymore. He just stacked them one by one like he was loading goods. After filling it up, it drove away with a whimper. And Kai Wuyang also drove back by himself. On the other side, Director Chiu was still investigating. However, after asking a few students, they all said the same thing. Director Chiu's expression became a little gloomy. "Have you practiced before?" Tian Xiaoring looked at Xiao Qin strangely. "No wonder you are so fearless. It turns out that you are so fierce. Xiaoring, are you leaving or not? If not, I'm leaving." Su Chuxia had already regarded Xiao Chang and Kai Wuyang as the same kind of people. They were both school bullies who wanted to pursue her. "Let's go. Let's go." Tian Xiaoring glanced at Xiao Qin and quickly caught up with Su Chuxia. Xiao Qin still followed behind. When Su Chuxia and Tian Xiaoring parted ways, he came to the bus stop with Su Chuxia. Then he stood behind her and waited for the bus together. Su Chuxia finally couldn't take it anymore. She turned around with a pair of big bright eyes. There was anger in them. "Xiao Chang, are you done? I can tell you now that I won't date while I'm still a student. You don't have to pester me anymore. It's useless." "Gosh, classmate Su, have you forgotten that we live in the same neighborhood? I'm going home now. How am I pestering you?" Xiao Qin smiled innocently. Su Chuxia was stunned. So that was really the case. Did she misunderstand him? She thought about it and felt a little embarrassed. So she said, "I see. Then it's fine. I forgot, and it's okay." Xiao Qin smiled. After a while, the 82 bus arrived. Xiao Qin and Su Chuxia got on the bus. However, after 2 stops, the young man who wanted to take advantage of Su Chuxia yesterday got on the bus again. However, this time he wasn't alone. Following him was a burly man wearing a training uniform. The words Wave Club were clearly printed on it. Chapter 535. Seeing this person, the passengers all avoided him. Obviously, this Wave Club had some reputation in Lon City, and it wasn't a good reputation. Otherwise, the citizens wouldn't stay away. When the young man saw Xiaoqin, he was immediately happy. Originally, he wanted to try his luck and look for Xiaoqin to see if he was in this car. If not, he would immediately get off and continue to wait. In his opinion, Xiaoqin, a student, would definitely take a car, but he didn't expect to see him in the first car. Brother Day, it's him. The kid next to the pretty girl. Yesterday he threw me out of the window. And I got it. The one called Brother De nodded. He separated the surrounding passengers and quickly walked towards Xiaoqin. Looking at Xiaoqin, he said directly, "Kid, you should know who I am, right? How about this, take out 5,000 yuan for medical expenses, and I can help you settle this matter. Otherwise you can just wait for death." Wave Club? Oh, I just beat up a bunch of people. They are all from the Wave Club. Xiaoqin smiled. What do you mean? Kid, you can't brag like this. You beat up a bunch of people? You mean you went to the Wave Club to challenge them? Brother De looked at Xiaoqin in amusement. What do I mean? Why don't you call Kai Wuliang and ask him? Xiaoqin smiled and said, You tell him that my name is Xiao Chong. Brother De was stunned. He didn't expect the person in front of him to know young Master Kai, and he said it with certainty. He hesitated for a moment and still dialed Kai Wuliang's phone. Damn it, what's the matter? As soon as Kai Wuliang returned to the club, he received a call from Brother De. This De was one of his club's more valued subordinates. He controlled the thief business in Lon City. These thieves also had to pay protection fees to the Wave Club every month, and the Wave Club would also help them solve some problems when necessary. After all, thieves made money quickly. There were always some people who coveted their income. The Wave Club was one of the gangs in Lon City and also one of the most powerful gangs. With their protection, it naturally saved a lot of problems. Brother De was taken aback when he heard Kai Wuliang's bad tone. He carefully said, Brother De, on my side I'm standing up for a guy we're protecting, but he's a little stubborn. He said that he just beat up a bunch of people from our club. Is he called Xiao Chang? Kai Wuliang was startled and quickly asked. Yeah. Brother De broke out in a cold sweat. Since Kai Wuliang knew this person, it meant that this person was telling the truth. Hurry up and come back. Don't clash with him. You're not his match. Kai Wuliang made a prompt decision. Let me study this matter first. Yes. Brother De was so scared that his legs were trembling. So what Xiao Chang said was true. He beat up a bunch of people from the club? In that case he was no match for him. Thinking of this, he hurriedly said, Young Master Chang, right? I'm sorry, there's nothing else. I'm going back. And take that guy away. Tell him not to let me see him again. The next time I see him, it won't be as simple as throwing him down. Xiaoqin said, You know me. I even dare to beat people from your club. It's normal for me to kill him. Yes. Brother De nodded repeatedly. Then he grabbed the young man's collar. Hurry up and apologize to young Master Chang. You provoked someone you shouldn't have, and you still asked me to stand up for you. I was almost beaten to death. Do you know that? Young Master Chang, I'm sorry? The young man wasn't stupid. If Brother De couldn't deal with him, how could he? He hurriedly apologized and got out of the car with Brother De. Su Chuxia glanced at Xiaoqin faintly. She didn't think much of it. Isn't it impressive? Beating up a bunch of people is something glorious? He even said it as a topic of conversation. On the other side in the Surge Club, Kai Wuliang looked at the group of men wrapped in bandages in front of him. He was furious. Raising a group of trash like you is 2F** king useless. This young Master Kai, you can't blame us. That Xiao Chang is too good at fighting. I don't know where so much dust came from. I couldn't see anything at all. I was beaten up and then I don't know anything. A man smiled bitterly. All right, I'll think of another way. Kai Wuliang turned around and entered the inner room of the Surge Club. Other than the core members of the club, no one could enter this place. There were a few people sitting here at the moment. It was just that the combination of these people was a little strange. However, Kai Wuliang was already used to it. He nodded to these people and sat beside a middle-aged man. This middle-aged man was Kai Wuliang's father, Kai Lehu. On the other side of Kai Lehu sat a young man in his 30s. This person was Kai Wuyang's brother, Kai Wujin. And there were two other people here. One was dressed like a Taoist priest, and the other was a man with a small mustache and shifty eyes. Mr. Kai, since we both need information on the research base, you want information on the development of new energy, and we want information on weapons. I think we can still cooperate, said the small mustache man. Humph, if you hadn't alerted the Supernatural Investigation Bureau and alerted them, increasing the difficulty of the matter, would you have come to me to cooperate? What did we talk about before? Now you're acting like a grandson in front of me? Kai Lehu sneered and said, Isn't your Sakura group awesome? Why can't it be this? The small mustache man coughed twice and said, Haha, I didn't expect Mr. Kai to be so powerful that you could even invite Taoist Master Lu Li. This poor Taoist is here to talk about cooperation with Mr. Kai. I hope that Mr. Kai can fund the renovation of our Taoist temple, said the Taoist priest. Haha, it's all the same. If this matter is successful, there will be a lot of money. Not to mention the renovation of the Taoist temple, we can even build a few more. The small mustache man laughed. Amateus, this poor Taoist can reluctantly participate for the sake of the people in the Taoist temple. Speaking up to this point, Taoist Master Lu Li suddenly changed the topic and asked, How much money can I get? Kai Wuyang, who was listening at the side, almost spurted out his saliva. This Taoist priest looked like an expert before, but he didn't expect that he would suddenly become like this when talking about money. However, Kai Lehu didn't care. Obviously, he knew the nature of Taoist Master Lu Li. What Mr. Yi Dao said is more or less the same. Okay, I'm in. Taoist Master Lu Li directly made the decision. We need to think about this matter at length. Kai Lehu waved his hand and said, If it was before, I would definitely welcome you to join us, Taoist Master Lu Li. But now Mr. Yi Dao has alerted us and wants to kidnap Su Chuxia. In the end, people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were attracted. Now, it will be difficult for us to get to the research base or to deal with Su Chuxia. Then what should we do? Taoist Master Lu Li couldn't help but sigh. Previously, this poor Taoist was in seclusion, so this poor Taoist couldn't make a decision. I have an idea here. That is to let my son get close to Su Chuxia. As long as he succeeds in capturing Su Chuxia, it won't be difficult for him to sneak into the research base as the son-in-law of the Su family. It won't be difficult for him to get the information. Kai Lehu said, However, this will be the credit of my son alone. It has nothing to do with you guys. Mr. Kai, didn't you want to cooperate with our Taoist temple previously? Taoist Master Lu Li said. That was before. Kai Lehu turned to look at Kai Wuyang and asked, How is it? Wuyang, didn't you say that you would soon catch up with Su Chuxia? Dad, something happened. Kai Wuyang said carefully with a darkened face. Something happened? What happened? Kai Lehu was stunned and immediately asked, What's going on? It's like this. Kai Wuyang carefully told him what happened today. Kai Wuyang's words made the eyes of Taoist Master Lu Li and Mr. Yi Dao, who were initially helpless, suddenly light up. What a twist. If Kai Wuyang couldn't handle Su Chuxia, they would need to work together. That Xiao Chang can fight? Even the coaches of our club are no match for him? Kai Lehu was a little surprised after hearing this. Those coaches were all inner force experts. Although their levels weren't high and they couldn't be compared to the core fighters of the club, they were already very powerful outside. Yes, Dad. You will know the situation when you go and take a look later. Kai Wuyang said with a bitter smile. So, that Xiao Chang is a martial artist? Could he be someone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? Kai Lehu frowned. If that was the case, then Kai Wuyang's plan to pursue Su Chuxia would definitely be affected. I don't think he's from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Although he can fight, he doesn't seem to have any inner force. He purely relies on brute force to fight. Although many of our people are injured, they are all from brute force, so the injuries aren't particularly serious. Kai Wuyang said, if he's a high-level martial artist, he would have killed one or two. After all, it's impossible to control his strength so precisely. So, this person is simply an admirer of Su Chuxia, right? Kai Lehu asked after hearing this. That should be the case. Kai Wuyang nodded. Kai Lehu nodded and said, Taoist Master Lu Li, Mr. Yi Dao, you heard it? This person is very good at fighting. If you want to work together, that's fine. Kill Xiao Chang or send him to the hospital. Just don't interfere with Kai Wuyang's business. This. Taoist Master Lu Li rubbed his chin and didn't answer immediately. Kai Wuliang said one thing but in reality it might be another. Moreover, he didn't know if Xiao Chang had any accomplices, so he wouldn't agree rashly. On the other hand, Mr. Yi Dao didn't even think about it and said, "No problem, leave it to me. I'll deal with him." "Okay, if that's the case, I won't treat you badly when the matter is done." Kai Lehu nodded. Chapter 536. Alright, then I'll go back and make some preparations. I'll take my leave first. Mr. Yi Dao was also very anxious. He stood up and was about to leave. However, Taoist Lu Li's eyes flickered. He thought for a while and didn't say anything. He stood up and left. He had come to Kai Lehu for sponsorship, but Kai Lehu hadn't agreed. Instead, he had asked him to be a fighter. Today, Taoist Lu Li had waited for his uncle master to come out of seclusion and agree to this matter. However, things had changed again and Xiao Chang had appeared. He didn't dare to make the decision and could only go back first. After the two of them left, Kai Wuliang looked at his father strangely and asked, "Dad, don't we have experts in our family too? Why do we have to get Yi Dao to help? If he helps, it will be equivalent to cooperating with us. Won't we still have to give him the resources?" Kai Lehu looked at his eldest son, Kai Wujin, and asked, "Wujin, explain to Wuliang the reason behind this." "Yes, father. I'll analyze it." Kai Wujin nodded his head. "Wuliang, the person called Xiao Chang that you mentioned is very suspicious. How could he defeat so many warriors with just brute force? Our family's coaches are all at the stage 1 or 2 internal force. Even if they were to gang up on a stage 3 or 4 internal force expert, they would be able to make them vomit blood, let alone a normal person. Now that they have been beaten up by someone else, do you think that Xiao Chang is that simple?" This. Kai Wuliang hadn't thought much about it before. He had only seen the surface. However, at this moment, after listening to his elder brother's analysis, he realized that something was wrong. This kid had ambushed him twice in a row and he had also beaten up those coaches. If this was all brute force, it would be too much of a coincidence. Thinking of this, Kai Wuliang said, "Then what you mean is that this Xiao Chang might have been sent by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau? That might not be the case. Maybe he's the same as us. Some force wants to take over the research institute," Kai Lehu said. "I see." Kai Wuliang slapped his thigh and said, "Damn, I was wondering why this person would go against me. So that's the case. So, I asked that idiot Yi Dao to test it out. Anyway, we won't lose anything. What we promised was just a futures contract. We'll give it to him when we get the information. If not, we don't need to give it to him." Kai Lehu said, "The information of that weapon is useless to us. We can't produce it, so it's better to give it to Night Island." "It's really brilliant." Kai Wuliang couldn't help but admire after listening. "What about that Taoist Lu Li?" "Don't worry about him for now. If Yi Dao can't do it, I'll let Lu Li take action." Kai Lehu said leisurely. "Dad, then now I..." Kai Wuliang looked at Kai Lehu. "Try not to directly clash with that Xiao Chang. Although we have people, this kid is a little strange. I keep having the feeling that he is from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau." Kai Lehu said, "So let someone else take the lead." "I understand. Should I still pursue Su Chuxia?" Kai Wuliang's pursuit of Su Chuxia was not purely because he had a mission, but because he really liked Su Chuxia. He transferred schools because of his family's mission, but after pursuing her for a few days, he realized that Su Chuxia was really not bad. It felt good to get her. "Actually, I don't care where that Xiao Chang came from. I'll just kill him with one punch and then capture Su Chuxia. I'll force Su Shufeng to hand over the information. There's no need to go through so much trouble." Kai Wujin stood up and stretched. "Wujin, you can't take the lead. You are the trump card of our Kai family. Your strength must not be exposed." Kai Lehu said, "Our Kai family's goal is to earn money and control the underground forces, not to fight for those superficial things. If your strength is exposed, then we will surpass the Shin family and become the #1 family in Lan City. That way, even if you don't expose the fact that you kidnapped Su Chuxia, the Su family will not let it go. I heard that the Su family has been making a lot of connections recently. They have connections with the Hong Chamber of Commerce and the Supernatural Investigation Bureau." "I'm just saying." Kai Wujin smiled. "It's really lonely. I thought that I would be able to do something big after I finished my studies. I didn't expect that I would still be tied down. The secular world is different from the pugilistic world. There are some things that we must be cautious about." Kai Lehu said, "Of course, when our Kai family unknowingly occupies half of Lan City, it will be time to declare war on the Su family. The title of the true martial family in Lan City will definitely belong to our Kai family. After Mr. Yashima returned, he began to think of a way. Yashima's full name was Yashima Kikuo. He was a small leader of the Sakura group in the Great Xia Kingdom. He was in charge of spying and collecting high-tech business secrets. Number 19 Mata Road was Yashima Kikuo's property. It was an independent villa, and Yashima Kikuo's identity was the chairman of Lan City's Sakura Restaurant Management Company Limited. He was in charge of developing Japanese cuisine. After entering the villa and lying on the sofa, Yashima Kikuo scrolled through his phone, thinking about how to deal with that Xiao Chang. Although he had promised, Yashima Kikuo was not stupid. It was impossible for him to send people over directly. The Kai family's instructors were all at Stage 1 or Stage 2 inner force. Even their leader was at Stage 3 inner force. Yet, they had been beaten to the ground and sent to the hospital. How could Yashima Kikuo send people to their deaths? Of course, there was another way, and that was to use the Polar Special Forces, which was actually the security team of the catering company. On the surface, these people were security guards, but in secret they had undergone strict karate training. Although the training method was different from the martial artists in Great Xia, the end result was the same. They all improved their strength through training. These people also had inner force and it wasn't low. However, Yashima Kikuo didn't want to expose this trump card unless it was absolutely necessary. Even Kai Lehu didn't know about it. If he was targeted by the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, he would have no choice but to commit suicide when he returned to the organization. After hesitating for a moment, Yashima Kikuo dialed a number. After a while, the call was connected and he said, "Qian Xue, come to my villa for a while." Yes. There was no hesitation on the other side of the phone, but it was a very pleasant female voice. Not long after, the sound of a car could be heard from outside the villa. A girl wearing tight clothes and a cool outfit walked in. Her tight trousers and patent leather high heels made the curves of her figure very attractive, showing the vitality and wild beauty of a young girl. The girl was about 1.65 meters tall. She had shoulder-length hair and a delicate face without any makeup. Her eyes were very big and bright. If it wasn't for her outfit, she would have been a cute girl. "Ling Qinxue, on behalf of the Cherry Blossom Organization, I will give you an important task." Yashima Kikuo glanced at the girl in front of him and greed flashed in his eyes. He had never touched this woman before. However, this kind of ninja who was specially trained by the organization would only be used when carrying out important tasks. Naturally, he wouldn't touch her at will. "Yes." Ling Qinxue replied loudly with a poker face. "Please give me your instructions, Master Yashima. I want you to get close to a man and then spy on his background. If he doesn't have any background, kill him. If he has a background, find a way to uncover it and try to gain his trust. Is there a problem?" Yashima Kikuo asked. "No." Ling Qinxue replied loudly. "Very well. If it is necessary to sacrifice your body, what will you do?" Yashima Kikuo asked. Ling Qinshue's originally expressionless and delicate face flashed with hesitation, but then she said decisively, "For the sake of Master Cherry Blossom, I can sacrifice everything including my life." "Well, very good." Yashima Kikuo was very satisfied with Ling Qinshue's answer. Then he said, "From tomorrow onwards, you will go to the High School of New Moon Academy in Lan City. You will be a transfer student, and your name in Great Xia is Ling Qinshu. Your target is called Xiao Chang. You will know when you get there." "Yes." Ling Qinshu replied loudly. After sending Ling Qinshu away, Yorishima Kikuo looked at Ling Qinshue's exquisite back and felt a burst of desire. A ninja like her would definitely be different if he were to play with her. She was much better than the two retired actresses that he secretly kept. Unable to suppress the fire in his heart, Yorishima Kishio directly went upstairs to look for the two actresses to play with. Looking at Xiao Chang who got out of the car with her, Su Chuxiao felt a headache coming on. She had already planned for Xiao Chang to be the same as Kai Wuliang. He had just arrived at school and was already causing trouble. Since yesterday morning he had inexplicably caused trouble for Kai Wuliang. Until now he had lost count of the number of fights he had gotten into. To be honest, Su Chuxia did not like such a person at all. In her opinion, students should study hard. What was the point of fighting every day? After taking 2 steps, she saw that Xiao Chen was still following behind her. Su Chuxia was very depressed. "Xiao Chang, you go first. I'm going to buy something." "Oh, that's great. I want to buy something too. Let's go together." Xiao Chen patted his head and said hurriedly. "Then I won't buy anything." Su Chuxia was a little speechless. I don't think I have anything to buy. I must have remembered wrongly, Xiaoqin said in a sudden realization. You. Su Chuxia was so angry that she stomped her feet. She ignored Xiaoqin and turned around to leave. However, she did not go in the direction of the neighborhood. Instead, she went in another direction. Near the neighborhood, there was a large comprehensive shopping mall. The nearby residents would come here to buy things. Perhaps because of the location, the things here were not expensive. The level of consumption here was very ordinary. Su Chuxia ignored Xiaoqin and hurried to the shopping mall. When she entered the door, she saw Xiaoqin still following her from the reflection of the revolving door. She was so angry that she almost kicked the door shut. This person is so shameless. He keeps following me. I don't know what he wants. He's even more annoying than Kai Wuliang. Chapter 537. At most, Kai Wuliang would pester her in school and not all the time. He would pester her once a day, sometimes once every few days. However, this Xiaochang would pester her every day. Furthermore, he would pester her even after school. Did she still have her freedom? Walking into the mall, Xiaoqin had been following Su Chuxia from behind, maintaining a safe distance. When Su Chuxia stopped to look at things, he also stopped and stood behind her. Su Chuxia had no choice but to turn a blind eye to it and start to seriously pick out the items. She didn't come to the mall just to get rid of Xiaoqin. The weather was a little cold now and she wanted to buy a scarf from last year. During the new year, she was watching the fireworks in the yard, but Tian Suruan released a small bee that landed on her and burned a big hole in the scarf. Su Chuxia was so angry that she almost set Tian Suruan on fire. After walking around for a while, Su Chuxia took a fancy to a scarf. This was a more popular pattern this year, but the real brand was too expensive. Su Chuxia could only choose a good quality and reasonable price. Excuse me, is this scarf made of pure cashmere? Su Chuxia pointed at the scarf and asked the owner of the stall. Yes, pure cashmere. Look at the fiber and quality. If you don't believe me, I'll burn it with a lighter. A fat woman said with a smile. Oh, how much is this? Su Chuxia touched it and felt that the quality was not bad, so she asked. 300, the fat woman said. 300. Su Chuxia felt that it was a little expensive. She thought for a moment and asked, can it be cheaper? Little girl, it's not expensive. Look, this is cashmere. If it were Ordos or Burberry, it would be a few thousand. I only have 300. How cheap is it? The fat woman said. Oh. Su Chuxia stood there hesitating. Is it for 100? Xiaoqin walked over and said. 100? Are you kidding? The fat woman was stunned and immediately said. Oh, never mind then. Chuxia, let's just buy it online. Look, it says here that it's going to be double 12th soon, and there's a promotion. It's 99 renminbi now, and you can use a 10 renminbi red packet on double 12th, so it's 89 renminbi. Xiaoqin said, it's the same as this one, really? Su Chuxia rarely went online. She was slightly taken aback when she saw the phone that Xiaoqin handed over. Then I'll sell it to you for 100 yuan? The chubby woman quickly offered when she saw Su Chuxia hesitating. Although it was a little less, she could still make 30 yuan. Otherwise, it would all be for nothing. Su Chuxia was speechless. She couldn't even convince him to say a single cent, but Xiaoqin reduced the price by a third with just one sentence. However, Su Chuxia found it a little hard to understand. Logically speaking, he should be a person who was very good at pretending and showing off. Why would he bargain when buying things? Shouldn't they be able to do whatever they want with money? Wouldn't that be more attractive to girls? Although, he didn't like it, many girls did. 100 yuan is more like it. Pay up, Xiaoqin said to Su Chuxia. Pay up. Su Chuxia was taken aback and she subconsciously said, aren't you going to pay for me? Me. Xiaoqin was also taken aback. Su Chuxia's face turned red and she was a little annoyed. She was tricked by Xiaoqin to the point that her thoughts were a little unclear. This was because Xiaoqin was always the one who rushed to pay for the things she bought before, so she subconsciously thought that Xiaoqin would also pay for the things he bought. However, Xiaoqin didn't do so, which made Su Chuxia feel a little puzzled. That was why she asked this question. However, after asking, she felt embarrassed. She quickly took out 100 yuan from her pocket to pay the bill, wrapped her scarf and quickly left. Xiaoqin smiled bitterly as he watched Su Chuxia leave. This girl was quite interesting, but Xiaoqin also knew that he couldn't have any other thoughts about her. This was a mission and his current identity was Yang Tan. Su Chuxia bought the scarf and went upstairs. On the second floor of the mall was a supermarket. Su Chuxia pushed a shopping cart into the supermarket, planning to buy some daily necessities. She lived alone and had to rely on herself for everything, so she had to go to the supermarket every once in a while. Today she happened to be here, so she bought some necessities. Xiaoqun also just rented a house, so naturally he also pushed a shopping cart and began to load the things inside. Su Chuxia watched as Xiaoqun also bought things behind him, and she didn't know what to say. The two of them walked and stopped. Not long after, the cart was full. When it was time to pay, Xiaoqun found a queue with about the same number of people as Su Chuxia. The purpose was to pay at the same time so he wouldn't lose Su Chuxia. Unexpectedly, Xiaoqun finished paying first. Su Chuxia waited for a while before she finished. She bought a lot of things and it was very complicated, so it took some time. After leaving the supermarket, Su Chuxia was obviously a little hungry, so she went to the fast food center opposite the supermarket. She bought a bean rice set and a drink, then found a place to sit down. As for Xiaoqun, he also ordered a spare rib rice set and sat at the table opposite Su Chuxia. Su Chuxia wanted to stand up and leave, but she remembered that she had already started eating, so she could only endure it. However, after eating 2 mouthfuls, she put down her chopsticks and stared straight at Xiaoqun. When her gaze made him a little uncomfortable, Su Chuxia finally said, "Xiaochang, do you know that doing this will only make me hate you even more? Don't even mention pursuing me, it's impossible for us to even be ordinary friends." Okay. Xiaoqun casually agreed and continued eating his spare rib rice. To be honest, this place's spare rib rice was quite delicious, much better than the noodles from yesterday. "Xiaochang, did you hear what I said?" Su Chuxia asked angrily. "Yes, I didn't pursue you," Xiaoqun said. "Su Chuxia, do you believe that there are many coincidences in this world? Only a ghost would believe that." Su Chuxia picked up her plate. Even though she was halfway through her meal, she still changed her position and sat down at another seat. However, Xiaoqun didn't care and continued eating his spare rib rice. He ate very quickly and finished his meal. Su Chuxia hadn't finished her meal yet, so Xiaoqun was waiting for her. After Su Chuxia finished her meal, she stood up. Xiaoqun also stood up. Su Chuxia sat down again and so did Xiaoqun. "Xiaochang, didn't you tell me that it was a coincidence? Then what do you mean now?" Su Chuxia asked angrily. "Now, it's a coincidence," Xiaoqun said shamelessly. Su Chuxia snorted and left with her things. Xiaoqun followed behind her. The two of them returned to the neighborhood one after another. Su Chuxia entered her unit, and Xiaoqun entered his rented unit. However, Su Chuxia didn't go upstairs. Instead, she hid at the window on the first floor and watched Xiaoqun. When she saw him enter the opposite unit, she frowned in confusion. Did he really live here? Did he really go shopping? Could there really be such a coincidence? Su Chuxia shook her head and returned home. The next morning, Xiaoqun coincidentally bumped into Su Chuxia as soon as he went out. Su Chuxia was already on the verge of a breakdown because of Xiaoqun. She pretended not to see him and allowed him to follow behind her. Today, Xiaoqun was a little surprised that Kai Wuliang didn't find fault with him. He successfully entered the school and entered the class, but he didn't encounter any difficulties. Could it be that Kai Wuliang was afraid of being beaten up and decided to give up? However, this was for the best. It saved Xiaoqun a lot of trouble. After entering the classroom, just as Xiaoqun sat down in his seat, Tian Suruan came over and sat on Xiaoqun's desk. Her 2 beautiful little legs swayed. Xiaoqun thought that it would be great if her skirt was facing him. "Xiaoqun, reimburse me. We agreed on the car repair fee." Tian Suruan took out a car repair receipt and handed it to Xiaoqun. Xiaoqun took a look. He didn't expect this car to cost a few thousand yuan just for a paint job. It was really expensive. However, this amount of money was nothing to him. He was about to pay when Li Yuanxiu walked over and snatched the receipt. She glanced at it and said, "Forget it, Suruan. I'll settle the bill with the 4S shop. Don't let Xiaochang pay." It's fine as long as you don't care about it. Sister Suruan can rest assured." Tian Suruan didn't care who had to pay as long as it wasn't her. And Li Yuanxiu didn't care about the car repair fee. Instead, she took the opportunity to sit beside Xiaoqun and said to him, "Xiaochang, tell me, are you a martial artist? Do I look like one to you?" However, Xiaoqun smiled and asked, "Also, I'll pay for the car repair fee. It's not much. You don't look like one. You didn't use your inner force yesterday, right?" Li Yuanxiu shook her head. "Forget about the car repair fee. My girlfriend's family is rich. She doesn't need this little bit of money. What I want to tell you is that if you're not a martial artist, it's best not to get involved in too many conflicts in the pugilistic world. The Kai family isn't simple. In this Lan city, those who offended them, other than the Shin family, were not retaliated against the others. The Shin family? Xiao Chen's heart skipped a beat. Does this mean that the Kai family is the second most influential family in Lan City? That's not it. What I mean is that the Kai family doesn't want to be taken advantage of. Even if they can't do it openly, they might use underhanded means. Li Yuanxiu said, "This Kai Wuliang used to be doing well in the sports school. I don't know why he suddenly transferred here and started chasing after Su Chuxia. He's really a troublesome person." Xiao Qin nodded. It was hard for these disciples of great clans to explain why they were doing something. Perhaps it was the intention of the clan, or perhaps there was some other deeper meaning. "Thank you for your kind intentions, but a grudge has already been formed. If they want to cause trouble for me, I'll just have to take it on. There's no other way." "That's fine too." Li Yuanxiu said, "There's one more thing. After you left yesterday, Director Chiu investigated what happened. No matter what, you were involved in the fight yesterday. I'm afraid Director Chiu will cause trouble for you. Director Chiu hates students who don't study and come to school to waste their time." Chapter 538. Hee, that doesn't seem to be me. I still love to study, Xiao Qin said. As he spoke, the bell rang. The form teacher, Miss Chen, walked into the classroom. Along with her was Director Chiu. Kai Wuliang was at the end of the corridor. He watched Director Chiu walk into grade 12 class 9 from afar. A hint of smugness flashed across his face. Even if he couldn't expel Xiao Chang, he would definitely punish Xiao Chang this time. "Everyone please be quiet. Before class, Director Chiu has a few words to say," Miss Chen said to the students in the classroom. The classroom suddenly became quiet. Then Director Chiu walked up to the podium, cleared his throat and said, "The next thing I want to say is about the new transfer student, Xiao Chang." Li Yuanxiu looked at Xiao Qin sympathetically and shrugged his shoulders. What he meant was, "Look, it's here, right? Chuxia, do you think Xiao Chang will be in trouble? I heard that Kai Wuliang accused Xiao Chang of beating someone up yesterday." Tian Sauer said, "Do you think Sister Sauer should stand up and reveal the truth? Who cares, he's not a good person." Su Chuxia thought about how Xiao Qin followed her all the way yesterday and couldn't help but say hatefully. From Su Chuxia's point of view, it was better to let Xiao Qin know. Otherwise, he would follow her every day and almost become her shadow. "Last night after school there was a vicious fight on our school field." Director Chiu paused and looked at Xiao Qin. Then he continued, "Our good student Xiao Chang was surrounded and beaten up by the unemployed people that Kai Wuliang organized. Luckily Xiao Chang ran away quickly. Then the people that Kai Wuliang found were in a mess and couldn't see clearly. They fought with each other and ended up in the hospital. This behavior is simply outrageous. Today I came to grade 12 class 9 to praise Xiao Chang for his decisiveness. I also want to say that everyone should learn from Xiao Chang. When you encounter trouble, don't fight head-on. Be smart and choose to escape. Alright, what I want to say next is that this time, student Xiao Chang obtained first place in the entire cohort in the monthly test. Now, everyone should congratulate him." The whole class was stunned. After all, this was the main point? This transfer student actually got first place in the whole grade? However, Li Yuanxiu, Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan, who knew the truth, were dumbfounded. Xiao Chang was the one who beat him up and sent him to the hospital. How could he be praised? However, when Director Chiu said that Xiao Chang was the top student in the whole year, Li Yuanxiu was not surprised. He knew Director Chiu's character too well. In Director Chiu's eyes, the only criterion for a good student was their academic results. A good student could cover up all the ugly things. Xiao Qin had good results, so he was a good student. The other bad things were done by others and had nothing to do with Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin was also stunned. When he heard Director Chiu talking about the fight last night, he thought he was going to scold him. He didn't expect that Director Chiu would praise him in the end. This really made him at a loss. No one was more surprised than Su Chuxia. She had initially thought that Xiao Qin was a bad student like Kai Wuliang. How did he suddenly become the top student in the entire grade? She couldn't believe it. A guy who fought all day and tailed a girl was the top student in the whole grade? However, it was impossible to say that he copied first place. Who did he copy from? Wow, Chuxia, we seem to have made a mistake. This Xiao Chang is really a strong person. Tian Suruan was also extremely shocked. I thought he was a poor loser, but he turned out to be a tall, rich, and handsome scholar. He's more like a school tyrant. Su Chuxia snorted and said with a bitter face, Suruan, you don't know this. He lives in the same neighborhood as me and follows me every day. I really can't take it anymore. You live in the same neighborhood? Is that true? It can't be? Tian Suruan looked at Su Chuxia in surprise. Why didn't you tell me? I thought that he said that because he deliberately followed me, but yesterday I saw him really enter a unit in the neighborhood. Su Chuxia said, do you think there's such a coincidence? Then it really is a coincidence? Tian Suruan was also very surprised after hearing this. Could it be that he deliberately went to your neighborhood to rent an apartment? It's possible. Su Chuxia was stunned. Why didn't she think of this before? Now that she thought about it, it was really possible. Thinking of this, Su Chuxia said, Suruan, why don't you stay at my place tonight and help me see what's going on? Go to your house. Tian Suruan frowned. There's nothing delicious in your house. I can't eat breakfast well and my dinner isn't delicious either. Sai, are you going or not? Su Chuxia snorted. Go ahead. Sister Suruan's life is so hard. Tian Suruan complained. Chuxia, can't you learn some culinary skills? I think the food I cook is very delicious. Su Chuxia said, it's you who's too greedy. You insist on eating meat. Sai, you don't understand how attractive food is to me. Tian Suruan said, why don't we go to your house after Xiao Chang treats us to barbecue tonight? Su Chuxia glared at Tian Suruan. Forget it. We'll just go to your house and eat something. Tian Suruan compromised. Actually, Xiaoqin didn't expect that he would be able to get first place. If it were Songning Second High School, he wouldn't be able to get first place with the same performance. It was probably because the pressure to enter a higher school in Lan City was relatively low that this happened. The most unfortunate one was none other than Kai Wuliang. Early in the morning, Director Chiu called him over and gave him a good scolding. He was even given a disciplinary action, warning him that he would be expelled if he gathered any more idlers in the school. Yesterday, Director Chiu clearly wanted to deal with Xiao Chang. Why was he the one in trouble today? Could it be that Xiao Chang really had a powerful background that even Director Chiu wanted to please? However, very soon his informant in grade 12 class 9 sent him news. It turned out that Xiao Chang's grades were too good, causing Director Chiu to look at him differently. He didn't believe that he was a bad student at all. Kai Wuliang must have been the one to complain about the fight after school. Kai Wuliang was really speechless, but there was nothing he could do. He could only wait for Yishima Kikuo to make his move. Alright, other than that, I would like to introduce a new student to everyone. As Director Chiu spoke, he waved his hand toward the outside of the classroom. At this moment, a cute kawaii girl wearing a pink woolen coat walked into the classroom. She had a shiny star hairpin in her hair and was carrying a delicate little backpack. The appearance of the girl immediately caused a commotion among the boys in the class. Such a cute transfer student who looked like a next-door sister made these boys salivate. Although Su Chuxia was also pretty, she was Kai Wuliang's. Moreover, Kai Wuliang might not be able to catch up to her. Su Chuxia didn't really like to talk to unfamiliar people. She also kept a respectful distance from the boys in the class and was very difficult to get close to. However, the girl in front of them looked very sweet and amiable. If they could get her as a girlfriend, it would definitely be a kind of enjoyment. Hello everyone, my name is Ling Qianxue. My father used to work in Japan and I went to school there. I just came back recently. My Mandarin might not be very good, so please give me some pointers. Ling Qianxue's Mandarin was indeed a little choppy, but it was very pleasant to the ears. Her tone was soft and sweet just like honey. As soon as Ling Qianxue's voice fell, there was a warm applause from the audience. It was much more enthusiastic than when Xiaoqin came. Cute girls always had a lot of people supporting them. Even some girls applauded for her. Ling Qianxue, do you have any requirements for your seat? Director Chiu asked. He had obtained the reference room. Ling Qianxue was also a good student who excelled in both academic and moral conduct. The file she had brought over showed that she had excellent grades in all subjects. Therefore, Director Chiu had a very good impression of her and naturally took good care of her. Ling Qianxue's face was slightly red. She said to Director Chiu, Director Chiu, I want to sit with a good student. Can you give me some pointers? Ling Qianxue is studying abroad. After she comes back, she might not be able to keep up with the progress of her studies here. Therefore, in order to allow Ling Qianxue to catch up with her studies as soon as possible, I think she should sit at the same table as Xiao Chang. There just so happens to be an empty seat there. Director Chiu nodded and said. When Director Chiu said this, all the boys in the class looked at Xiao Chen with envy. However, they couldn't be envious. This wasn't luck, it was because he really had the ability. Alright, may I ask which one is Xiao Chang? Ling Qianxue asked. Is this row the last seat? It's a bit behind, but he's the best student. He's the first in the entire year. Director Chiu introduced. Alright, thank you, Director Chiu. After Ling Qianxue finished speaking, she walked towards Xiao Chen and sat beside Xiao Chen. She said to Xiao Chen, Student Xiao Chang, please take care of me. Alright, take care of each other? Xiao Chen couldn't tell what Ling Qianxue's background was. However, he had just transferred to another school, so Xiao Chen felt that it was a little strange that another transfer student had followed him. However, Xiao Chen felt that he didn't have much interaction with the forces of Japan. Other than the time when the Xiao family was deceived by two foreign businessmen who pretended to be from Japan, he didn't have any other contact. During class, Xiao Chen pretended to listen attentively, but he was secretly observing Ling Qianxue. However, he discovered that there was nothing special about her. She had been listening attentively to the teacher's lecture. Xiao Chen was relieved. As long as this person didn't harm Su Chuxia, it wouldn't matter. Chuxia, that Ling Qianxue is so cute. She actually surpassed Sister Sour Sour. Tian Sour Sour was a little depressed. She was originally quite cute, and her skin was the color of wheat. In the class, other than Su Chuxia, she was the most outstanding. She didn't expect that there would be another cute student. I think it's quite good. She's sitting at the same table as Xiao Chang. Xiao Chang will pay attention to her, so he won't bother me. Su Chuxia was quite happy. Chapter 539. From Su Chuxia's point of view, Xiao Chang only cared about her beauty. Now that Ling Qianxue, who was on par with her, came back and was his desk mate, Xiao Chang should be able to change his target now, right? After class, Xiao Chen saw Su Chuxia leaving the classroom. He wanted to follow her, but Ling Qianxue stopped him. Hello, Xiao Chang. Oh, hello. Xiao Chen looked at Ling Qianxue strangely. What's the matter? It's like this. I want to ask you a question. Is that okay? Ling Qianxue's face was red, and her big eyes blinked as she looked at Xiao Chen. Her gaze was filled with anticipation. This made Xiao Chen a little reluctant to reject her. He thought about it. Su Chuxia was in school, so there shouldn't be any danger. If he directly rejected Ling Qianxue, it would be too abrupt. Thus he said, no problem. Go ahead. This is the question. Ling Qianxue picked up the exercise book in her hand and asked Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen looked at it. It was a somewhat complicated three-dimensional geometry question. Many times, people's three-dimensional thinking would lead to misunderstandings. This question was a misconception, so it was normal that Ling Qianxue didn't know how to do it. Xiao Chen took out a piece of toilet paper and quickly explained it to Ling Qianxue. Ling Qianxue was also very smart and understood many things with just a hint. She nodded repeatedly. I understand. Thank you, Xiao Chang. Thank you. You don't have to be so polite. We're desk mates. Xiao Chen was a little embarrassed by Ling Qianxue's politeness. And then, in order to express my gratitude, this is the sushi I brought for breakfast. I haven't eaten it yet, so I'll give it to you. Ling Qianxue said as she took out a lunchbox from her bag. There were a few very exquisite pieces of sushi in it. I've already eaten breakfast. Xiao Chen didn't expect Ling Qianxue to be so polite. However, thinking about it, it might be the custom of her time in Japan. He seemed to remember that in TV and anime, Japanese girls were very polite and often gave their classmates homemade snacks. Try it, Xiao Qianxue. This is Qianxue's gift. Ling Qianxue held the lunchbox with both hands and said firmly. Alright then, I'll try one. Xiao Chen couldn't refuse, so he opened the lunchbox, took out a piece of sushi and stuffed it into his mouth. Needless to say, it was not bad. This kind of thing didn't have much seasoning, but it was enough to show Ling Qianxue's dexterous hands to make it so delicious. At that moment, Su Chuxia walked into the classroom with Tian Yoshi. She saw Ling Qianxue holding a lunchbox and Xiao Chen stuffing a piece of sushi into his mouth. She couldn't help but frown. I didn't expect Xiao Chang to be so amazing. It's only one lesson and he's already eating with Ling Qianxue? Tian Saori was a little surprised. That's sushi. It looks delicious. Sister Saori wants to eat it too. Don't go and embarrass yourself. Su Chuxia pulled Tian Suruan back and said, don't stir things up. If Xiao Chang gets together with her, it will save me a lot of trouble. I thought you would be a little disappointed. Tian said sourly. What am I disappointed about? Su Chuxia was confused. According to the books, girls are all like this. If someone pursues them, they'll be annoyed. If no one pursues them, they'll be unhappy. Tian Sour said. That's you. Su Chuxia smiled. I love it. Tian Sour said, moreover, these little boys don't know how to appreciate it. My wheat-colored skin is the cutest and sexiest. Don't you see that many celebrities deliberately make their skin color like this? It's just that these little kids like big white beauties. Xiao Chen ate a piece of sushi and said, it's very delicious. Alright, you can eat the rest. Since it's delicious, I'll give it to you. Student Xiao treated as lunch. Ling Qianxue said. That's not good. This is your food. Xiao Chen refused. Student Xiao, if you don't want it, Qianxue won't be able to ask you questions next time. Ling Qianxue insisted. All right. Xiao Chen had no choice but to accept it. Then he said, however, I'll eat half. I'll leave the rest for you. Yes. Ling Qianxue didn't refuse this time. She nodded. Student Xiao, why are you so good at studying? Do you have any experience that you can pass on to Qianxue? This? Xiao Chen really didn't know what to say. He was a cultivator and had the ability to remember everything he saw. Naturally, his grades were good, but Ling Qianxue didn't. Is it hard to say? It's okay. Ling Qianxue saw that Xiao Chen wanted to say something, so she said it. It's not that. I just have a good memory. It's hard to have any experience when it comes to studying. Otherwise, the teacher would have told us long ago, right? Xiao Chen explained. Yes, student Xiao is right. I'm too eager for quick success. Ling Qianxue nodded. Student Xiao, you're so good at studying. Why are you sitting in the last row? I'm the same as you. I just transferred here a few days ago, Xiao Chen said casually. Ah, you also transferred here. Then which school were you in before? Ling Qianxue asked. I used to be in Songning. Xiao Chen said, I'm about the same as you. My family came here to work, so I followed. I see. I didn't expect you to get the first place when you just came. You're really amazing. Ling Qianxue said. You're also very smart. It's okay to work hard. Xiao Chen chatted with Ling Qianxue. Then can you tell me some stories about going to school here? Ling Qianxue said, when I was very young, I went to school in Japan with my father. I don't know much about the things here in Wuxia. This? Xiao Chen couldn't tell much. He could only randomly pick some stories about going to school in Songning, such as basketball matches, sports meetings, and so on. Ling Qianxue listened with great interest. From time to time she would ask some questions. Xiao Chen also answered her one by one. This class was a self-study class. Xiao Chen had nothing to do anyway, so he told Ling Qianxue stories. Until the end of the class, Ling Qianxue still wanted to continue. She said with some envy, unfortunately, I'm already in grade 12 now. These activities are gone. There should be. Xiao Chen didn't know much about New Moon Academy. He guessed that in New Moon Academy, if the pressure to enter a higher school wasn't that big, grade 12 should also have activities. I'm talking about my previous school. There isn't that much pressure to enter a higher school here. I guess there are still activities. NN. Ling Qianxue nodded. Oh yeah, what does student Zhao's family do? Why did you suddenly transfer to this school? Nothing much. My family is in business. It's just that my family's business moved here, Xiao Chen said. I see. It's about the same as Qianxue. Dad also came here because of company matters, Ling Qianxue said. Xiao Chen nodded. He felt that this Ling Qianxue was a chatterbox. Once she started talking, there would be no end. She seemed to love studying, but she was also a curious baby. She was curious about everything. At noon, Xiao Chen noticed that Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan had gone to the cafeteria for lunch. When he returned to the classroom, he found that Ling Qianxue was preparing for lunch. The table was filled with snacks. This made Xiao Chen a little surprised. Was she here for school or to eat? Her bag in the morning wasn't big. Could it be that it was filled with food and not a single book? That couldn't be. Then where did her exercise books come from? Classmate Xiao, come and eat with us. This is the lunch I brought. It's a little too much for me to finish. Ling Qianxue waved at Xiao Chen enthusiastically. Xiao Chen took a look. They were all cold sashimi, tuna, codfish, snapper, yellow pomfret, red clam, salmon, and so on. There were also some vegetables and rice balls. It was okay to taste these things occasionally. If it was eaten as a meal, Xiao Chen probably wouldn't be full. You prepared so much? Xiao Chen sat down and asked Ling Qianxue, who was still arranging the food. It's all right. My family is in the food business, so I've liked to make my own food since I was young. Classmate Xiaochen, let's eat together. Ling Qianxue arranged the last dish and then invited Xiaochen. Okay, then I won't stand on ceremony. Xiaochen ate some, but it wasn't enough. Fortunately, he was a cultivator, so it didn't matter if he ate a little. When Ling Qianxue saw that Xiaochen only ate a few mouthfuls, she asked, Classmate Xiao, are you not used to the taste? It's alright, but I still like to eat more traditional food. This kind of food doesn't feel full, Xiaochen explained. If that's the case, then Qianxue will prepare some food tomorrow, Ling Qianxue said. There's no need to trouble yourself. I'll just go to the cafeteria to eat. Xiaochen was shocked. This Ling Qianxue seemed to be a little too good to him. Was it just because he helped her with her homework? It's okay. Other than reading and studying, Qianshue's favorite thing is to make food, Ling Qianxue said. At this time, Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring returned from dinner in the cafeteria. They happened to see Xiaochen and Ling Qianxue eating a table of delicious food together. Tian Saoring's eyes were a little dazed. Saoring, can you not be so useless? Isn't it just some sashimi? What's so good about it? Don't embarrass yourself. Su Chuxia said, if you want to eat it, I'll go to the market tonight to buy you a salmon. You can eat it like salmon. Sister Saoring is really unlucky to have such a bad friend. Tian Saoring said gloomily, salmon isn't delicious. It's good enough that there's food. Su Chuxia was a little happy in her heart. It seemed that Xiao Chang had completely given up on her and had begun to look for a new target. The afternoon passed quickly. In the afternoon, Ling Qianxue didn't look for Xiaochen to chat anymore. Instead, she read her book and listened to the class seriously. It wasn't until school was over and when she was packing her things that she asked Xiaochen, Classmate Xiao, where are you going later? Chapter 540. Of course I'll take the bus back, Xiaochen said. Oh, Qianxue has a car. I can give you a ride. Ling Qianxue blushed and blinked her big eyes at Xiaochen. Oh, it's okay, I'll take the bus. Xiaochen was stunned. Ling Qianshue's family was quite wealthy. She had a car right after returning to the country. However, Xiaochen's mission was to protect Su Chuxia, not to play with Ling Qianxue. Naturally, it was not appropriate for him to take her car. Okay, then Qianxue will leave first. Ling Qianxue didn't insist. She nodded and left with her bag. The boys all stared at her until she walked out of the classroom. They all had perverted expressions on their faces. Xiaochen waited for Su Chuxia and Tian Saoring to pack their things before following them out of the classroom. Tian Saoring said as he walked, Chuxia, then I don't have to go to your house today, right? Xiao Chang has changed his target and is starting to pursue Ling Qianxue? I see. Just as Su Chuxia was about to agree, she subconsciously turned around and realized that Xiaochen was following them from a distance. She immediately fainted. Sour, didn't you say that he changed his target? Why is he still following me? Tian Saoring turned around and slapped her forehead. Oh my god, it seems like he didn't see Ling Qianxue. Then what should we do? Su Chuxia was a little depressed. Who knows? I can only go back with you, Tian Saoring said. Fortunately, tomorrow is the weekend. It doesn't matter. Let's sleep in and go play video games together. Chuxia, you haven't invited me to play video games in a long time. Why are you so poor? You should change your name to Poor Saoring. I really don't know how a young mistress like you is doing. Su Chuxia was a little speechless. Sister Saoring is in a difficult situation. Tian Saoring laughed dryly. The two of them walked to the bus stop. As expected, Xiaochen followed them. Tian Saoring sighed and went to find Xiaochen. Xiaochang, do you like Chuxia that much? I think that Ling Qianxue is also not bad. Tian sourly said. I think you're not bad, but I have to go home, right? Xiaochen shrugged and said. Go home. Tian sourly said, why don't you invite me to your house later? We'll have dinner at your place tonight. What do you want to eat? Xiaochen was surprised. Why don't you make something delicious? Tian sourly advised, if you serve Sister Sourly well, Sister Sourly will put in a few good words for you so that Chuxia won't hate you so much. Ah sure. Xiaochen wasn't interested in pursuing Su Chuxia anyway, so he didn't mind Tian Wanchuan's blatant attempt to scam him. Tian Suruan didn't say that he wanted Su Chuxia to like him. He only said that she didn't hate him. It was obvious that he didn't have any benefits, but this was the result that Xiaochen wanted. What are we going to eat? Shall we buy it later? Tian Wanchuan's mouth watered when he heard Xiaochen agree. Oh, we'll pass by the farmer's market later and buy some ingredients. I'll go back and cook, Xiaoqun said. Huh? Tian Wangchuan looked at Xiaoqun in shock. You cook? If I don't cook, you'll cook? Xiaoqun asked back. I didn't know that you know how to cook? Tian Wangchuan was a little surprised. No way? Are you a good man of the modern era? I live alone, of course I know how to cook. Xiaoqun didn't think there was anything strange about it. Doesn't Su Chuxia know how to cook too? Eh? How do you know she knows how to cook? Tian Wangchuan asked curiously. Oh, I guessed. She probably lives alone. Xiaoqun naturally couldn't say that he used binoculars to spy on her. Alright, then I'll try your cooking, Tian Wangchuan said. What do you know how to cook? I'll cook whatever you eat, Xiaoqun said. Huh? Tian Wangchuan's eyes widened. Really? Can I order then? Okay. Xiaoqun also wanted to serve Tian Wangchuan well. After all, she was Su Chuxia's best friend. With her help, it would save him a lot of trouble. I want to eat black pepper beef, sweet and sour carp, steamed eggs with oysters, vegetarian stir-fry, dried cauliflower, pork ribs, green beans. Tian Wangchuan listed a bunch of dishes and then looked at Xiaoqun proudly. Oh. Xiaoqun nodded. Do you remember all of them? Let me tell you, if you miss one, don't blame me for not keeping my promise. Tian Wangchuan said with a sneaky smile. Oh. Xiaoqun naturally knew what Tian Wangchuan was thinking. There were so many dishes and he couldn't cook them all. Even if he could, he might miss a few dishes. Then Tian Wangchuan could use that as an excuse not to help. This girl was a foodie. She wanted to eat, but she didn't want to offend Su Chuxia. After that, Tian Wangchuan turned around and returned to Su Chuxia. Wangchuan, why are you guys talking? What did you say? Su Chuxia asked quickly. Let's go to his house to eat later, Tian Wangchuan said. Go to his house? Su Chuxia looked at Tian Wangchuan in disbelief. Did you turn against him? No, he said he knew how to cook, so I was thinking let's go eat and see. I think he's just putting on an act, trying to make himself look like a good man of the new era. He wants to win your favor, but when the time comes, if he does badly, you'll have an excuse to ignore him. Tian sourly said, What do you think? My idea isn't bad, right? What if I do a good job? Su Chuxia retorted. Then we can also use the excuse that we don't like it and ignore him. Once and for all. Tian Wangchuan said. If that's the case. Su Chuxia thought about it and felt that something was wrong. However, she still nodded and said, Okay, then I'll listen to you. But if he says it doesn't taste good after eating his food, I don't feel good. Do you want to get rid of him? Tian Wangchuan asked seriously. Then, okay. Su Chuxia nodded. After a while, a Route 82 bus arrived. The three of them got on the bus together. This time, they didn't need Xiaoqun's protection. Tian Wangchuan took the initiative and said, Xiaochang, come here and stand behind us. Don't let anyone take advantage of us. Sister Wangchuan is very good at attracting wolves. Xiaoqun glanced at Tian Wangchuan and thought to himself, it would be strange if you don't attract wolves with your miniskirt. Especially with your black gal skin color, you look like a chick in a XX movie. On the way, because Xiaoqun stood behind the two of them, Su Chuxia didn't say anything to Tian Wangchuan. She just looked out the window. On the other hand, Tian Wangchuan kept scrolling through his phone. She didn't know what he was playing. When they arrived at the stop, the three of them got off the bus and entered a farmer's market. Since Tian Wangchuan had already agreed to Xiaoqun's request, Su Chuxia thought that it was a matter of success or failure. So, she didn't reject him anymore. Instead, she followed behind and watched Xiaoqun purchase one by one. However, what surprised Tian Wangchuan was that Xiaoqun actually bought all the ingredients for the dishes she mentioned just now. He didn't miss a single one. Tian Wangchuan couldn't help but admire him. As expected of a straight-A student. His memory was so good. But did he know how to make them? Su Chuxia couldn't help but wonder as she watched Xiaoqun buy things. Was this person a hedonistic son of a rich family? Not only was he good at studying, but he also knew how to buy groceries. Looking at Xiaoqun's proficiency in bargaining and choosing, it was simply something that a person who often bought groceries would do. This made Su Chuxia wonder if Xiaoqun wasn't a bad student. But even if he wasn't, Su Chuxia didn't want to be in a relationship. Firstly, she didn't want to be in a relationship. Secondly, she also knew some things about her father. She knew that some people who wanted to date and pursue her might have ulterior motives, so Su Chuxia was usually very careful. This was also the reason why. After buying the ingredients, Xiaoqun said to Tian Wangchuan, I bought everything you said. What else do you want to eat? I don't want to eat any more. Tian Wangchuan said weakly. It wasn't easy to mess with a straight-A student. She followed Xiaoqin into the neighborhood and went up to the 5th building. Finally they stopped at the 4th floor. This time Su Chuxia was really a little surprised. It was actually also the 4th floor? It echoed with her own room? Was this also a coincidence? Xiaoqin opened the door and said, "I'll go cook. You guys sit anywhere you want. You can watch TV. Oh, go ahead. Sister Wangchuan can do it herself." Tian Wangchuan waved her hand at Xiaoqin and dismissed him. Xiaoqin nodded and walked into the kitchen to busy himself. Tian Wangchuan fell on the sofa, turned on the TV and watched it. She found that Xiaoqin's house actually had an internet TV box, so she found her favorite TV and watched it. Su Chuxia was a little curious about the man's house, so she wandered around the house and walked into a room. It was obviously Xiaoqin's bedroom. However, when Su Chuxia saw the telescope by the windowsill, her face suddenly fell. This was because the telescope was pointed in the direction of her house. Su Chuxia suppressed her anger and walked over to look through the telescope. Sure enough, her room, living room and even dining room could be seen clearly. Now, Su Chuxia finally understood how Xiaoqin could accurately see her in the morning. It turned out that he was peeping. Although Su Chuxia thought that she was very careful and wouldn't let Xiaoqin see anything that he shouldn't see, the feeling of being watched really made her very uncomfortable. After hesitating for a moment, Su Chuxia couldn't help but quickly rush out of the room and went straight to the kitchen where Xiaoqin was. Tian Wangchuan saw Su Chuxia come out of the room and go to the kitchen, but she didn't care. She thought that she went to negotiate with Xiaoqin, so she continued to watch TV. Xiaochang. Su Chuxia glared at Xiaoqin. Xiaoqin was washing vegetables when he suddenly saw Su Chuxia rush in angrily. He was a little puzzled. "What's wrong? Xiaochang, you're so despicable." Su Chuxia said angrily. "Why are you so dirty?" "Me? Despicable and dirty?" Xiaoqin looked at Su Chuxia in shock. "What do you mean by that? You were secretly peeping at me with the telescope in your room, right?" Su Chuxia saw that Xiaoqin didn't know anything and was even more annoyed. "You're a big pervert." Chapter 541. This. Xiaoqin just remembered that he forgot to put away the binoculars. He didn't think too much about it before, but it would be strange if Su Chuxia didn't see it. He could only evade it. The landlord left it behind. "Think about it, how would I know that you live on the 4th floor across the street?" "Really?" Su Chuxia looked at Xiaoqin coldly and looked like she didn't believe him. "The landlord left it behind? Did you rent this apartment? Who knows why you rented it across the street from my house? It's a coincidence." Xiaoqin could only bite the bullet. "Tell me, Xiaochang. What do you want?" Su Chuxia couldn't take it anymore. If she went home and thought that someone was spying on her, how could she live? She felt like she was being watched every time she did something. How uncomfortable would that be? Therefore, Su Chuxia decided to have a showdown with Xiaochang. She had to end things with him. "I don't want anything. I already said it's a coincidence." Xiaoqin shrugged and continued to busy himself with the things in his hands. "Do you think I'll believe you?" Su Chuxia's expression was cold. "Coincidence? How can there be so many coincidences? On the first day after school, you followed me here and rented an apartment across the street from my house. Am I right? Don't be in a hurry to deny it. There's only one real estate agent near this area. I'll ask and I'll know." "You're right." Xiaoqin saw that he couldn't deny it, so he nodded and admitted it. "You don't just want to pursue me, right?" Su Chuxia stared at Xiaoqin and asked word by word. Xiaoqin was slightly shocked, but he maintained his composure. "Yes, I didn't want to pursue you either. I already said it was a coincidence." Speaking up to this point, even Xiaoqin himself felt that something was amiss. "You didn't pursue me, but you followed me here to rent an apartment across the street from my house. Aren't you contradicting yourself?" Su Chuxia questioned. "Xiaochang, you're good at studying and have strong life skills. You're also good at fighting. You're not a student, right?" "I really am a student." Xiaoqin smiled bitterly. "Do you want something from me?" Su Chuxia stared at Xiaoqin. "Then I can tell you directly. You won't get anything. Don't overthink it, I don't know anything. I think you know what I'm talking about?" Xiaoqin fell silent. Su Chuxia probably thought that he was someone who wanted to get some information from her. It seemed like she was very cautious. Even when she was warning him, she didn't say anything important. In other words, those who knew would naturally know, and those who didn't know would still have no idea what she was referring to. What are you talking about? I don't want anything. Xiaoqun took a deep breath and said, believe it or not, I won't harm you and you don't have to be hostile to me. You're here to replace Xiaomeng, right? Su Chuxia suddenly asked. Xiaoqun was stunned. He looked at Su Chuxia in surprise. He didn't expect Su Chuxia to think so much, and she even knew about Xiaomeng. As expected, you're not here to pursue me. Following me and monitoring me is your job. Su Chuxia sighed and was a little depressed. You can leave. I don't need you to monitor me. You can go back. Xiaoqun was a little stunned. A faint smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Although he was seen through, he felt a lot more relaxed. Otherwise, he would be misunderstood as a pervert all the time. That would be terrible. It's impossible to go back. I'm here to replace Xiaomeng. The Supernatural Investigation Bureau must be responsible for your safety. You know the nature of your father's job. Xiaoqun decided to tell the truth. Since the topic was already out in the open, there was no need for him to feign civility. I guessed it right? I only said Xiaomeng and you already knew. You even know about the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. One look and I know you're from there. Su Chuxia glared at Xiaoqun. She was very angry but also a little helpless. Don't worry. It's impossible for those who want to get information from me. I won't say anything. Moreover, I really don't know anything. It's not as simple as you think. Someone might kidnap you and use it to threaten your father. Or they might use other extreme methods. We received news that there are forces that want to deal with you. At least before the matter is resolved, I won't leave, Xiaoqun said directly. You'll affect my normal life. I'll feel uncomfortable if you follow me and monitor me every day. Su Chuxia was a little angry. Can't you consider other people's feelings? Sure. Anyway, I won't do anything to you. You can pretend that I don't exist. Xiaoqun said directly. Don't exist? Are you kidding me? You look at me with your binoculars every day and follow me to and from school. How can I pretend that you don't exist? Su Chuxia glared at Xiaoqun and said angrily, if you want to follow me, fine. If you know how to make yourself invisible, then I'll agree. If not, then you should leave as soon as possible. Invisibility is a little difficult. I need more practice to achieve it. I can't do it now. Xiaoqun said, I can make you invisible, but that's too troublesome. Su Chuxia almost burst out laughing when she heard Xiaoqun's answer. Practice? Do you think you're practicing spells? You can practice invisibility? Can you be more normal? I'm talking to you about serious matters. Xiaoqun shrugged. He really didn't lie to her. Cultivators could really make themselves invisible. The Elder Heaven Ancestor said that once he reached the first level of the Foundation Establishment stage, he could make himself invisible for a short period of time. I'm also talking about serious matters. You want me to give up? That's impossible. I have a mission, so I have to ensure your safety. Then I can only expose your identity. If you can't protect me just like little Meng from before, Su Chuxia threatened. Is there a point? Xiaoqun smiled nonchalantly. You said it yourself. Just like little Meng from before, I'm his replacement. If you get rid of me, there will naturally be someone else to replace me. This is the decision of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. It's not something I can change. At most, I'll just replace someone else. What do you think? This? Su Chuxia fell silent after hearing what Xiaoqun said. She wasn't stupid. Otherwise, she wouldn't have guessed Xiaoqun's identity. Since Xiaoqun said that, Su Chuxia understood that regardless of whether Xiaoqun left or not, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau wouldn't give up on this mission. He was only an executor, not the decision-maker. So, there's no point in arguing about this. If I leave, there will naturally be someone else. Maybe it'll be someone even more annoying? Xiaoqun finished washing the vegetables, placed them on the chopping board and skillfully cut them. That's true. That little Meng from before was even more annoying. He wasn't as good as you at acting. He found out so quickly. Su Chuxia nodded and said, but you have to protect my safety. Can you not affect my life? You don't have to follow me to and from school so closely, right? I'm not a child. If you do this, Kai Wuliang will think that you're pursuing me. If he thinks so, then so be it. What does it have to do with me? Xiaoqun narrowed his eyes. Could it be that you actually like him? And you're afraid that he'll misunderstand? Of course not. I'm just afraid that he'll keep causing trouble for you. Su Chuxia said. Whatever. I don't care about Kai Wuliang. If he's annoying, then I'll just kill him. Xiaoqun said calmly. You want to kill someone? Su Chuxia was a little surprised. You can't just kill people randomly, right? Little Ming can't, but I can. My rank is higher than his. Xiaoqun said directly. You? Higher rank than him? He looks like an uncle. Even if he pretends to be young, he still looks a little old. But you should be around our age, right? How can your rank be higher than his? Su Chuxia was a little confused. Ambition doesn't depend on age. Xiaoqun smiled. He's my subordinate. Since he failed, the higher-ups will naturally send someone with a higher rank. I don't believe you. Alright, let me see your work permit. How can it prove your identity? Su Chuxia seemed to have accepted this reality. She knew that Xiaoqun was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Even if Xiaoqun went back, he would still send someone else. She could only accept her fate. Xiaoqun took out his work permit and handed it to Su Chuxia. Yang Jianan? Your name is really despicable. You really live up to your name. Su Chuxia glanced at Xiaoqun's work permit and said sarcastically, Is this how you originally looked like? You didn't even look as good as you do now. One look and I can tell that you're a sinister person. Team C leader? You do look powerful. That's surprising. After Su Chuxia finished mocking him, she took the permit and examined it carefully. She checked several places for anti-counterfeiting before nodding. It's the same as my father's. Looks like you're the real deal. Xiaoqun put away the permit but wasn't angry at all. After all, she wasn't scolding him but that idiot Yang Tan. Even if she didn't scold him, he would. However, he didn't expect Su Chuxia to be so cautious. What a headache. In that case, don't interfere with my freedom in the future, Su Chuxia said. I never interfere with your freedom. Xiaoqun said, Since we've already spoken, cooperate with me. I'll pretend to pursue you. Don't reject me too much. Just keep a distance. I have to cooperate with you? Su Chuxia glared. I don't want to do this. Do you think I want to protect you? If it wasn't for little Meng, would I have come? Xiaoqun was a little speechless. He had to leave his hometown and she didn't want to? I don't have a choice. Cooperate with me. We'll quickly find the person who's after you. Then everything will be over and I can relax. Su Chuxia was stunned. She thought that Xiaoqun was protecting her because she was unhappy. She didn't expect that Xiaoqun was also full of resentment. She couldn't help but say, I've lived this long before you guys came. Haven't I been fine? Aren't you guys worrying for nothing? No matter how daring those bad guys are, they won't do anything to me in broad daylight, right? Chapter 542. You're oversimplifying things. That was in the past. Things are different now. The research base has reached a critical point, so I will follow you no matter what. You should think about how to deal with our relationship in the future, Xiaoqun said straightforwardly. Su Chuxia hesitated for a while and frowned. She said, Okay, I can cooperate with you, but why don't you chase after Sour? I feel like it's a little weird for me to cooperate with you. Chase after Sour? Do you think this suggestion is feasible? Xiaoqun asked Su Chuxia curiously. Why not? It's just a reason. Sour is easy to get along with. You can just treat her to meals more often. Su Chuxia suggested. I chase after her and I will follow you home? Can the two of you live together every day? Xiaoqun asked. I don't think so. Su Chuxia shook her head. That's right. So if you want less trouble and worry, try to cooperate with me. Otherwise, if you keep resisting and cause a commotion, it won't be good for anyone. Xiaoqun nodded and comforted her. Are you threatening me? After hearing Xiaoqun's words, Su Chuxia almost died of depression. Okay, I'm afraid of you. Let's do this, but don't go too far. Okay, I will try not to harass you in school, but you can't leave the school's perimeter. Don't go out of the school gate at noon. If you want to go out, you must inform me immediately, Xiaoqun said. Otherwise, I can only follow you everywhere. Okay. Su Chuxia thought about it and felt that Xiaoqun was okay. At least he was easier to talk to than Xiaomeng. That guy was stubborn. Can you tell Sour about this? Up to you, but it's best not to tell her, Xiaoqun said. Then forget it. Although she is my friend, it's better not to let her know about this. I don't want her to be involved. Su Chuxia shook her head and denied this idea. Okay. Xiaoqun nodded. Hurry up and cook. I'm hungry. If I starve to death, let's see how you explain yourself. Su Chuxia snorted angrily and left the kitchen. Even though she had gone against her will to accept reality, she still had some anger in her heart. Xiao did not bother to argue with her and continued with his work. Chuxia, why did you stay in the kitchen for so long? What did you say to Xiao Chang? Don't tell me you've thought it through and decided to give him a chance? Tian Suruan looked at Su Chuxia strangely. She had been watching TV for half an hour before Su Chuxia came out. Su Chuxia wanted to deny it, but she remembered her promise with Xiao Chen, so she said, I'll go and see if he really knows how to cook. And then? Tian Suruan looked at Su Chuxia curiously. It doesn't take that long to cook, right? I talked to him to see what he thinks, Su Chuxia said. Then what does he think? Tian Suruan asked. He didn't think much. He just said that if he wants to pursue me, I said it's not possible. He said that he won't force me to do anything, so let him be. Su Chuxia pretended to be very casual and said, if that's the case, then I don't care. It doesn't affect me anyway. Chuxia, why would you say that? Are you starting to like Xiao Chang a little and planning to give him a chance? Tian Suruan looked at Su Chuxia with a smile and asked. How is that possible? Su Chuxia could not help but be stunned for a moment. She quickly denied it. I just feel that he is very persistent, and he is not as annoying as Kai Wuliang, so I can't be bothered with him. What else can I do? I don't let him follow me and he said he would go home. Aren't I just looking for trouble? I might as well let him be. That's true. Tian Suruan nodded and was a little surprised. I didn't expect you to think it through, Chuxia. Then I can eat with peace of mind later. Otherwise I will feel burdened. If he asks me to help him pursue you, I will be in trouble. As the two of them were talking, waves of fragrance wafted out from the kitchen. Tian Suruan's eyes widened in an instant. Damn, Chuxia, Xiao Chang really knows how to cook? Right, this person is so strange. I thought he was a school bully, but now it seems that he is not. Su Chuxia frowned and defended Xiao Chen. Since she knew his identity, she naturally did not have her guard up and vigilance like before. However, whether it is delicious or not, we will only know after trying it. Tian Suruan nodded. After a while, a table of sumptuous dinner was placed on the table. The dishes that Tian Suruan ordered were all prepared by Xiao Chen and were placed on the table in order. Tian Suruan looked at the dishes on the table and was a little surprised. Xiao Chang, did you transfer from a cooking school? That's not right. Even those who graduated from a cooking school are not so good. I think you are a chef from a 5-star hotel, right? You really think too much. Su Chuxia did not think much of it. In her opinion, the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau were very mysterious. They were all a group of people with special abilities. It was not surprising that Xiao Chen knew how to cook. Then I won't stand on ceremony. I will eat first. Tian Suruan picked up her chopsticks and prepared to eat. Su Chuxia was actually a little hungry, especially since the food on the table looked good. However, she was a well-behaved person. She still sat down and waited for Xiao Chen. She would not eat first before everyone else was at the table. By the time Xiao Chen came over, Tian Suruan had already eaten quite a lot. There was only food in her eyes. She was too lazy to even speak. Suruan, can you be more mindful of your image? Su Chuxia looked at Tian Suruan, whose cheeks were bulging. She could not help but feel angry. This bestie was really embarrassing her. Fortunately, Xiao Chen was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. He was considered one of them. Moreover, he was not really pursuing her. Otherwise, it would be really embarrassing. Hey, Chuxia, eat too. It's very delicious. Tian Suruan ate so much that she almost cried. It had been a long time since she had eaten such delicious food. It was simply too delicious. Chuxia, I think we should be friends with Xiao Chang. He really didn't attend. Did he buy you over with just one meal? Su Chuxia could not help but glare at her. Then she picked up her chopsticks and slowly prepared to eat. However, Su Chuxia only took a bite and felt that something was different. Now she finally understood Tian Suruan's actions a little. Even someone like her, who had such a well-behaved manner when eating, had the urge to gorge herself at this moment. It was really delicious. However, fortunately, Su Chuxia still restrained herself. She looked at Xiao Chen and pouted. Then she continued eating. Xiao Chen smiled. Today's matter could be considered a happy ending for everyone. At least he did not have to continue being misunderstood by Su Chuxia. Although Xiao Chen made a lot of food today, in the end, they were all finished by Tian Suruan. Even Su Chuxia ate a lot more than usual. This time she heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Tian Suruan did not hate Xiao Chang anymore. This way it would be more convenient for Xiao Chang to follow them. Suruan, let's go back early after eating. Su Chuxia reminded him. was almost 8 o'clock. Were they going to sleep here at night? Oh, that's right. Then Xiao Chang, Sister Suruan will be leaving. Thank you for your hospitality. Sister Suruan is very satisfied. Tian Suruan waved her hand at Xiao Chen. Next time you cook a big meal you can call me. Chuxia and I are already here. Su Chuxia was so angry that she almost kicked Tian Suruan. Was she going to betray her so quickly? Fortunately, she knew what was going on with Xiao Chen, so she did not refute. While Tian Suruan bent over to put on his shoes, Su Chuxia pointed at Xiao Chen and said in a low voice, "Don't look at me with your binoculars again." Okay. Although Xiao Chen said yes, he did not think much of it. What if there was a cat burglar looking for them? At the very least, he had to pay attention to it regularly. After Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan left, Xiao Chen cleaned up the dishes and returned to the bedroom. He continued to observe the situation opposite him with his binoculars. He saw that Su Chuxia and Tian Suruan had already gone back. At this moment they were watching TV on the sofa. The two of them were chatting and laughing, but no one knew what they were talking about. "Chuxia, your attitude towards Xiao Chang seems to have changed a little?" Tian Suruan swung his legs and leisurely lay on the sofa. "What's there to change? Anyway, I will never be in a relationship," Su Chuxia said with a firm attitude. "Okay." Tian Suruan nodded. "Ah, the bathwater seems to be ready. I'm going to take a shower." As he said this, Tian Suruan quickly took off his clothes. In a few seconds he was completely naked. He even pulled down his miniskirt. "Huh? Suruan, what are you doing? Hurry up and put it on." Su Chuxia jumped in fright. She suddenly remembered that the curtains weren't closed yet, and Xiao Chen might still be peeping on them. Thinking of this, she immediately wanted to stop Tian Suruan. However, she did not expect Tian Suruan to move so quickly. In a few seconds he had taken off all his clothes. Then he ran to the bathroom, leaving behind a wheat-colored silhouette. Su Chuxia slapped her forehead and stood up in pain. She closed the curtains and hoped that Xiao Chen didn't see it. Otherwise, Xiao Chen was actually stunned as well. He did not expect Tian Suruan to be so ferocious. The speed at which she took off her clothes was simply too fast. Before he could react, she had already seen everything. It was impossible for him not to look. "Forget it, I didn't do it on purpose." Xiao Chen comforted himself. He did not expect Tian Suruan's skin to be so beautiful. Xiao Chen thought that it would be nice to have a girlfriend like this. It would give him a different feeling. I'm thinking too much. I should quickly finish my mission and return to Songning." However, since the two of them were fine, Xiao Chen also put down the binoculars. Then he sat on the bed and began cultivating. Chapter 543. Not long after he sat down, Xiao Chen's phone rang. To his surprise, it was the phone from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Moreover, it was an unfamiliar number. "Hello." Xiao Chen imitated Yang Tan's voice. "And?" The person on the other side of the phone was stunned. After a while he asked, "Are you Xiao Chang? That Yang Jianan? Su Chuxia?" Xiao Chen recognized Su Chuxia's voice, so he recovered his voice. Previously he had been using his own voice and not Yang Jianan's. Anyway, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau gave him a voice changer to carry out his mission. "Oh, it's really you. I thought I called the wrong number." Su Chuxia confirmed that it was Xiao Chang's voice. "Why is your voice different?" "Oh, I have a voice changer." Xiao Chen said, "What's the matter? Why do you have my number?" "Then don't worry about it." "Alright, what were you doing just now?" Su Chuxia asked. "Just now. I was washing the dishes." "You guys just left after eating, leaving a mess for me to clean up." Xiao Chen said doubtfully. "Why? Why do you care about me?" "Oh, it's nothing. I was just asking." Su Chuxia sighed in relief. Fortunately, Xiao Chen didn't see Tian Suruan undressing, so she said, "Suruan and I are going out tomorrow. We'll leave at around 9 in the morning. Get ready to follow us." In order to prevent Xiao Chen from monitoring her all the time, Su Chuxia directly told Xiao Chen their schedule. This way she could relax a little. Otherwise, she would have to constantly be on guard against Xiao Chen's peeping. "Okay, I got it. Happy working with you." Xiao Chen was very happy after hearing this. It seemed that Su Chuxia planned to cooperate with him. This way, he didn't have to worry about the conflict between the two of them getting worse and exposing themselves. Oh. Su Chuxia hung up. Xiao Chen looked at his phone and saved Su Chuxia's number. Su Chuxia probably had contact with the people from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, which was why she got his number. The reason why she called was probably because of sour. These days, Xiao Chen's cultivation had been stuck at the 9th stage of qi refinement. He was only one step away from the peak, but he just couldn't go any further. This made Xiao Chen depressed. However, Xiao Chen also knew that this was due to the lack of cultivation resources. Firstly, he didn't have the help of spiritual jades. Secondly, the devil scorpion fruit hadn't been planted yet, so the supplementary medicine couldn't be decocted. If Xiao Chen wanted to cultivate, he could only rely on the spiritual energy of heaven and earth. However, how much spiritual energy could there be in the city? Xiao Chen, you don't have to worry too much. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth here is sparse. It's not your fault that you can't break through. You can wait for the devil scorpion fruit to ripen or find other opportunities. With your current strength, unless you meet a very powerful person, you should be able to break through with this mission. The Elder Heaven Ancestor's voice sounded in Xiao Chen's ear, calming him down. Yes, his current identity was Yang Tan, and his strength was similar to Yang Tan's. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be in too much danger. Xiao Ming had protected him for a long time, but wasn't he still unharmed? Thinking of this, Xiao Chen nodded. It seemed like he had to stop pretending to be Yang Tan for a while. However, this was also a good opportunity. If he completed the mission well and continued to build a good relationship with Xia Chuxia, he might be able to secretly investigate the reason for his father's disappearance. One had to know that the Supernatural Investigation Bureau was very powerful. However, Xiao Chen couldn't do that now. It would be too easy to arouse suspicion. The night passed uneventfully. Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia lay in bed and chatted until midnight before falling asleep. When they woke up, it was already past 8 o'clock. Usually, they would wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. It's so comfortable. I really want to sleep in every day. Tian Suruan stretched and climbed out of bed. Chuxia, where are we going to play today? I'm going to Azure Mountain today, Su Chuxia said after looking at the diary on her phone. Why are we going there? Didn't we say we're going to play video games? Tian Suruan asked curiously. What's there to play? It's so cold and windy on the mountain. Sister Suruan is going to freeze to death. I'm going to Tianqing Temple to ask for medicine for Grandma. Her rheumatic legs hurt unbearably every winter. But Taoist priest Lu Li of Tianqing Temple has a type of celestial water that can treat it. It doesn't hurt as much after applying it. I ask for some for Grandma every year, Su Chuxia said. Temple? Tian Suruan frowned. Chuxia, your father is a scientist. Why do you still believe in this? Celestial water? Isn't that all a lie? Suruan, this Tianqing Temple isn't just any temple. I heard that the temple master, Taoist master Tianxian, is a truly powerful person. He's a cultivator. Su Chuxia explained to Tian Suruan. And their celestial water isn't like what you think it is. It's different if you put some paper ash in it. What they used was a medicinal liquid refined from some heavenly materials and earthly treasures. Oh, it's similar to the medicine refiners in the warrior guild? Tian Suruan roughly understood. Then why don't you just ask for the medicine refiners? Why bother looking for them? They focus on health and healing, but the medicine sold by the warrior guild is for cultivation. That's different, Su Chuxia explained. Suruan, you'll know when you get there. There are many people asking for medicine every day. Not everyone gives it to them. It costs money? Tian Suruan really didn't care about that. Su Chuxia used to go there herself and she only went once a year. Naturally, Tian Suruan didn't know. Money is secondary. The main thing is that you have to fulfill some conditions and these conditions change regularly. In short, it's very troublesome to ask for medicine, Su Chuxia said. Last year, I went there several times in a row before I got it. That's so troublesome. Sigh. Tian Suruan was a little depressed. Right? Didn't Kai Wuyang say that his family is very powerful in Lan City? Why don't we look for him? Let his family say something. That Taoist priest can't not give face, right? I don't want to trouble him. Su Chuxia was thinking that Xiao Chang was from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. Wouldn't it be easier if he appeared? However, he couldn't reveal his identity so easily. If he was exposed, the Supernatural Investigation Bureau would replace him, just like what happened to Xiaoming previously. All right. Is there any good food on the mountain? Tian Suruan slowly put on his clothes. Why do you only know how to eat? Why don't you die from eating? Su Chuxia was a little speechless. Food was everywhere they went. That's a scenic area. The food is very expensive. If you want to eat, you have to pay for it yourself. I don't have money. My money might not even be enough to get medicine. Hey? Right, why don't we bring Xiao Chang there? He happens to be pursuing you and he seems to be quite rich. How about giving him a chance to treat you? Tian Suruan suggested. Su Chuxia didn't know how to explain the coincidental encounter. She wanted to pretend that it had nothing to do with her, but if there were too many coincidences, there would be problems. She was also afraid that Tian Suruan would suspect that she was a secret. Since Tian Suruan took the initiative to ask, there was no problem. Thinking of this, Su Chuxia said, "Why bring him? If you want to bring him yourself." "That's what you said." "Then I'll bring him." Tian Suruan chuckled as if he had found the loophole in Su Chuxia's words. "I'll go find him." Alright, I don't have his number. Do you? I don't either." Su Chuxia shook her head. "Suruan, aren't you asking nonsense? How could I have his number?" "That's true. How about this? Let's go downstairs later. I'll press the doorbell and ask him to come down," Tian Suruan said after thinking for a while. Oh. Su Chuxia didn't object, but she didn't agree either. The two of them got dressed. Su Chuxia made some breakfast for Tian Suruan. Looking at the milk and bread in front of her, Tian Suruan frowned. "Chuxia, isn't your breakfast a little too simple? It's very nutritious. It's fine if you don't want it." Su Chuxia didn't want to spoil her. "Then I'll eat." Tian Suruan and Su Chuxia finished their breakfast and went downstairs together. Su Chuxia waited there while Tian Suruan pressed the doorbell. On Xiao Chen's side, he looked at the time. It was already 9:30. Just as he was getting dressed and preparing to go downstairs, the building's intercom rang. He pressed it and saw that it was Tian Suruan. He pretended to be confused. In fact, he was really confused. "Suruan? What's wrong? What's the matter?" "Xiao Chang, I'm here to tell you that Chuxia and I are going to Azure Mountain. Hurry down." Tian Sour said sneakily, "In order to repay me, let me tell you, you have to treat me to a meal later." "Okay, no problem." Xiao Chen pretended to be surprised. He didn't want to pursue Su Chuxia at first, but now for better acting he pretended to pursue her. Anyway, he already told Su Chuxia, "I'm going out to buy something. Wait for me, I'll be right down." Tian Suruan didn't have to wait for long before he saw Xiao Chen push open the door. However, Xiao Chen didn't see Su Chuxia, so he asked, "Suruan, where's Chuxia?" Tian Suruan turned his head and didn't see Su Chuxia either. He rolled his eyes and said, "She's not here yet. I called you secretly. She'll be here soon." Look. Sure enough, Xiao Chen saw Su Chuxia walk out of the unit door and looked over. In fact, Su Chuxia was afraid that it would be awkward to explain, so she went back again. "Suruan, where did you go?" Su Chuxia asked. "Oh, I saw Xiao Chang coming downstairs. I spoke to him and he said he wanted to go too," Tian Suruan said. Oh. Su Chuxia didn't say anything. "Chuxia, how are we going to get there? Don't tell me we're taking the bus? There's no direct bus there. We have to walk a long way," Tian Suruan asked. Chapter 544. Let's take a taxi. Su Chuxia did some calculations. It was hundreds of kilometers from here to Azure Mountain. Taking a taxi would cost a few hundred yuan, but she couldn't be stingy. "Let's go to school first. I left my car there," Xiao Chen said. "Huh? You have a car?" Tian Souring was stunned. Then she looked at Xiao Chen in surprise. "Why didn't you say so earlier? We had to take the bus yesterday. You should have told me that Chuxia and I would have taken your car." Ahem. Souring, what nonsense are you talking about? Even if I had a car, I wouldn't take it. Su Chuxia said, "But we have no choice today. Let's take a seat." "Thank you, Xiao Chen." "Then I'll go get the car. You guys go back and wait for me," Xiao Chen said. "Sure. Chuxia, let's go upstairs first. It's too cold outside," Tian Souring said. "Okay." Su Chuxia nodded. Xiao Chen didn't know that the two of them were going far away. If he had known, he would have brought the car back in the morning. Now he had to go there at the last minute. However, as a cultivator, Xiao Chen could run fast. He didn't have to wait for the bus. He ran directly to New Moon Academy and drove back to the neighborhood. When he was downstairs, he called Su Chuxia. Su Chuxia's phone rang. Tian Souring's eyes were sharp. She saw the name Xiao Chang on the caller ID and was stunned. Chuxia, don't you have Xiao Chang's phone number? Why did you say so earlier? Are you two having an affair?" "Huh. I know. It must have been that day when I met a pickpocket in the car. Xiao Chang found out, then he took my phone and secretly entered it. Su Chuxia explained. I see. Tian Xiaoring was just saying it casually. She didn't believe it and picked up the phone. Xiao Chang, I'm Sister Xiaoring. Have you arrived? Yes, I'm downstairs. You guys can come down, Xiaochen said. What car? Tian Xiaoring asked. Jetta, Xiaochen said. Huh. I thought it was a Porsche. Tian Wangchuan was a little depressed when he heard about the car type, but he had already returned the Maserati for maintenance. It was good enough that he still had a car. The two of them went downstairs. Su Chuxia didn't think there was anything wrong with the car. She wasn't a materialistic girl. As long as she could sit in a car, it didn't matter. After getting in the car, Tian Shosho felt that something was wrong. Xiao Chang, has your car been modified? Why was it so comfortable? There's no noise at all and it's so smooth without any jolts at all? Yes, I did. I spent the money to buy a Maserati, Xiaochen said with a smile. Really? Tian Sourso didn't believe it. You'll know when we get on the highway. Xiaochen laughed. On the other hand, Su Chuxia believed what Xiaochen said. Since he was the leader of the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, his car must have been modified to be bulletproof. Also, it should be like in the movies. The car should have some special functions such as turning into an amphibious vehicle with the press of a button. He drove the Jetta straight to Shanqing Mountain. In the city, it didn't show much of an advantage. However, once he got on the highway, it was immediately different. Xiao Chen's speed immediately soared to 200 kilometers per hour. Wow, 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 wow. Tian Shosho was a little excited. Oh my god, it's so fast. It's even better than a sports car? This time, Sister Sourso believes it. You're really a godly car. Su Chuxia frowned. Xiao Chang, don't drive so fast. It's too dangerous. Xiao Chang was just showing Tian Shosho. Very quickly, the speed slowed down to normal. Anyway, this car belonged to the Supernatural Investigation Bureau. No one would stop him, so he didn't mind. As Xiao Chen's speed slowed down, Tian Shosho suddenly felt less excited. She chatted with Su Chuxia casually. Chuxia, young people should know how to enjoy life. Racing is fun. It's so boring to drive so slowly. Tian Shosho still wanted the feeling just now, so she persuaded. Sister Sourso likes to chase after the feeling of speed. 9 out of 10 accidents are fast. The other one is an accident. Su Chuxia glared at Tian Shosho. Let's race to the arcade. Oh. Tian Shosho saw that there was no hope, so she could only give up. Alright, Chuxia, what are you guys doing here? It's winter, there shouldn't be anything fun, right? Xiaochen asked with some doubts. Sai, don't mention it. Chuxia wants to go to Shangqingwan Temple to ask for immortal water to treat her grandmother's rheumatic leg. However, I think it's just a scam. Maybe it's mixed with some rheumatism ointment. Anyway, I don't believe it's that effective. Even those hospitals can't do anything about it. How can Shangqingwan Temple cure it? Tian Shosho was depressed. Oh. Xiaochen was also slightly taken aback. He didn't expect Su Chuxia to believe in such things. However, he couldn't say anything, so he could only say, some things might be psychotherapy. Moreover, the elderly might believe in this. No, Xiao Chang, the immortal water here is really useful. As long as I apply it on my grandmother's rheumatic leg, it really won't hurt anymore. Su Chuxia said very firmly. If that's the case. Xiaochen nodded and didn't refute anymore. Anyway, his duty was to protect Su Chuxia from harm. As for whether she was tricked or not, it didn't have much to do with him. Xiaochen nodded and didn't say anything else. He continued to drive, but unexpectedly, Elder Heaven Ancestor said, Xiaochen, don't doubt it. There are many capable people in this aristocratic family. Aren't you a cultivator yourself? I'm a cultivator. What does that have to do with that Taoist temple? Xiaochen asked with some doubts. Cultivation refers to learning the Tao and cultivating one's true self. Discarding the false and retaining the true is called cultivation. Cultivation is also known as immortal cultivation and the cultivation of inner alchemy. Therefore, those true Taoist priests are also cultivators. Elder Heaven Ancestor continued to say, cultivators have existed since ancient times. The earliest can be traced back to the era of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. The so-called cultivation is just following a certain method to guide external energy into the body and purposefully temper one's body to achieve the goal of far exceeding the physical strength of an ordinary human. After that, it was Taoism who carried it forward. Since ancient times, there have been more than 80 cultivation sections. Depending on the sect, the cultivation methods are slightly different and ever-changing, but the goal is the same. It's just that most of them have declined since then. I'm not sure if what Su Chuxia said is true or not, but you are a cultivator yourself. Can you say that this profession is fake? Damn, so there's such a history. It seems like I'm ignorant. Xiaoqin was a little embarrassed. Yes, didn't he often use the Elder Heaven Ancestor's prescription to treat patients? There was an exit on the highway to Shangqing Mountain. Xiaoqin followed the direction indicated by the GPS and exited the highway. Not long after, a huge mountain appeared in front of him. The mountain peak was shrouded in mist, and it looked like it pierced through the clouds. It made people feel like it was a celestial mountain. It was very beautiful. Shangqing Temple was located halfway up Shangqing Mountain. The entire Taoist temple was extremely large. From the foot of the mountain, it looked very grand and imposing. This made Xiaoqin think of those celestial mountains and Taoist temples in those period movies. On the way he already knew Su Chuxia's purpose, so he drove up the mountain. He couldn't help but feel a little emotional. This Taoist temple is really big. However, when I look closer, it's a little rundown. From what you said, this Taoist temple should be very profitable. Why don't you rebuild it? Such a big Taoist temple and it's an ancient building. Renovating it would cost tens of millions. If there are any complicated places, it would cost hundreds of millions. Even if they wanted to earn money, they would have to think about it. Tian Wangsu said, but you're right. I heard that this Taoist temple is quite profitable. They specialize in scamming people like Chuxia. Hey Xiaochang, why don't we partner up and invest in one? Xiaoqin was a little speechless. Tian Wangsu's idea was really whimsical. Xiaoqin's car only drove a third of the way before it couldn't go any further. There was only a rugged mountain road above, and there was a large parking lot here. The other people who came here also parked their cars and walked up the mountain. What surprised Xiaoqin was that there were quite a lot of cars here. Moreover, many of them were luxury cars. It seemed that this Taoist temple might not be a scam. Otherwise, there wouldn't be so many people. Of course, he couldn't rule out the possibility that it was a scam. Even Su Chuxia was attracted to it, so one could imagine. After all, Xiaoqin felt that Su Chuxia wasn't the kind of person who would trust people easily. From the fact that she wanted to check his ID yesterday, he could tell that she was very vigilant and careful. The parking spaces here were almost all occupied. Xiaoqin looked for a long time before he finally found a parking space to park. However, he didn't expect that a Land Rover would cut in diagonally, and at a very fast speed, it wanted to occupy that parking space. The speed of the Land Rover was very domineering. It had no intention of slowing down at all. If Xiaoqin didn't stop and continued to drive to the parking space, he might be hit by the Land Rover before he could reverse his car into the parking space. This kind of person was actually relying on his arrogance and wishful thinking. He felt that others wouldn't dare to go head-on with them. Moreover, he also felt that his car was big and Xiaoqin's car was small, so he didn't dare to go head-on with him. However, if he met other people he might have avoided it. However, Xiaoqin didn't care at all. He didn't speed up and continued to reverse slowly. Ah! Tian Wangsu screamed. She also saw the Land Rover that was driving crazily and was shocked. Su Chuxia also closed her eyes in fear. She blamed Xiaoqin in her heart. Why couldn't he avoid it? You're from the Supernatural Investigation Bureau, yes, but the other party doesn't know. The driver of the Land Rover obviously didn't expect the Jetta to not avoid it and continue to reverse into the parking space. This made him a little scared. He had never encountered such a situation before. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.